Summary.
Lucy, or Lou as most called her, grew up in a not-so-friendly pack. Being an Omega made her the lowest-ranking member in the pack and brought a lot of extra work with it. As Lou got older, all she could think about was finding a mate and how she hoped he was from a different pack so that she could leave this place. Will she get her wish?
Chapter 1.
Lou's POV. Haven't you made breakfast yet? The beta screamed angrily at me. I just finished it, beta. I just need to put the plates out, I answered shakily. Fine. We'll be waiting, he said before storming off. What's his problem? He always acts like that towards us. My wolf Lilac said in my head. You know it's because we're the only Omega. You think people would be excited to finally have one in the pack, but no, they wanted to make sure I followed the traditional role of servant, I replied to Lilac. We just have to hold out for our mate. Hopefully he is from a different pack, Lilac sighed. Well, there is a ball that we have to cook for tomorrow. Maybe there, I thought. I grabbed the dishes and raced to set them out. I usually did the food buffet style because I didn't have help, so it was easier this way. Usually the alpha is the one asking about breakfast, but he is on some sort of trip until the ball tomorrow. At least Alpha is nicer than that jerk, Lilac huffed. He'll be back tomorrow, I replied to her with a smirk. The pack members at breakfast started putting food on their plates. I waited and watched. If I was lucky, there would be leftovers, so I would actually get to eat this morning. Usually the pack members insisted that good food shouldn't be wasted on someone of such a low rank and gave me the scraps from their plates. As a result of this, I was a lot thinner than I should be, since they usually tried not to leave me anything, even though I started making larger portions. At least she won't be at the ball other than to serve food, I heard one of the she-wolves scoff. As if the alpha would allow that. He ignores her for a reason, another chimed in. If you ask me, he should have just kicked her out. Having an Omega makes us look weak, the beta said angrily. What made them hate us, Lilac? I asked for the millionth time. It's our rank. I'm sorry that it's like this for us, Lilac whimpered. It's not your fault. I'm happy you're my wolf, I tried to encourage her, and thankfully it worked. I was broken from my thoughts when one of the glass plates came flying at me, crashing against my chest and shattering into little pieces. I was in too much shock to feel what had just happened, as I saw small trickles of blood coming through my dress. Clean this mess up, I heard one of the warriors say as the she-wolves laughed at me. The shock had worn off and I groaned in pain as I walked over to get the broom. I quickly swept up the glass as everyone started filing out of the room. I waited until they had all left before I started cleaning off the table and doing the dishes. I sighed, realizing that this was my nicest dress, which was now ruined from the blood stains. It will get better, Lilac encouraged me as I put the last of the dishes away and headed to my room in the attic. Hopefully they'll be in a better mood tomorrow, I grumbled to Lilac while trying to get the stains out of my dress. At least with Lilac I was able to heal fast enough that these cuts would be gone by tomorrow. They should, I mean it's a party. Lilac yipped excitedly. That hasn't changed their mood before, I reminded her sadly. What is the point of this one anyways? I asked. Probably to welcome the alpha back home, Lilac answered. Probably. These people sure love their parties, I mumbled. Yes, but now that you turned 21 we can finally have a chance at meeting our mate. Lilac reminded me. He's our only chance at getting out of here, I groaned. There's no way the alpha would let us leave the pack because Omegas were very rare these days. For some reason they have become rare, and any pack that has them, especially female ones, considers them good breeders. Most alphas want to keep Omegas to add more numbers to their packs since they can get pregnant easily and go into heat more often. Not to mention that Omegas are very loyal and submissive. Lots of alphas like the idea of them to add members to their ranks that won't challenge them for their place. We'll just have to keep hoping for tomorrow, Lilac sighed. The next evening, I'm so excited. I know today we will find our mate. I can feel it, Lilac said excitedly. If you say so, I replied skeptically as I kept working at making the food. I had prepared all of the alpha's favorites in large quantities for everyone. I was told to double the amount because of all of the visiting wolves. I had started cooking at 5 a.m. and was just finishing up at 6 p.m. It would be a lot faster if they'd give me some help. I brushed my hands on my dress and started carrying the trays upstairs into the ballroom. I had to take a lot of trips because I was the only one carrying them up. Luckily, all the chores I did kept me in shape, so the stairs were no problem. I was bringing the last tray when the door to the room swung open and the alpha came in. I froze. Thankfully I had set the tray down because I was not expecting this. I smelled the most amazing scent of applewood and pumpkin spice. My eyes locked with the alpha's and I felt the bond in my head when Lilac shouted, "Mate." No, this can't be. How can we ever leave the pack now? Will he even accept us? I watched in horror as the Alpha stormed over. He's never heard us before, mostly just ignored us. We'll be fine, Lilac tried to reassure me. I gulped nervously when he approached. I shifted my gaze down respectfully when he stood next to me. I shivered at the amazing smell that he was giving off, not to mention that I knew he was good-looking. I felt a blush on my cheeks at the thought, but it quickly disappeared when the Alpha spoke. You, he shouted in disbelief. Look at me, Omega. He barked at me. I looked up at him and saw his scowl. Yes, Alpha, I said submissively, Lilac whimpering in my head at being so close to our mate. I, Alpha Chase Santos, reject you, Omega Lucy Stella as my mate. His voice boomed through the room and I fell to the floor, clutching my chest in pain. I, Lucy Stella, accept your rejection, I whispered. You are hereby banished from the pack. You'll be considered a rogue. Now get off of my territory. I can't believe the goddess put me with you. The Alpha spat out as I raced out of the building with Lilac whimpering in my mind. We got out the front doors and I gave Lilac control, feeling myself shift as we ran towards the border of the territory. Lilac howled in pain as we crossed the border, leaving the only home we had ever known. I didn't bother grabbing anything from the attic, knowing I had no belongings except for some ratty old dresses. I'm so sorry, Lilac, I muttered sadly. I wish our mate could have been someone else. Lilac just whimpered in response as we continued to wander under the light of the moon. I'm sorry, Moon Goddess. I sniffled, looking up at the sky. I'm not sure what I did, but I know the rejection is my fault. Please let Lilac be happy, I said a silent prayer as Lilac's paws ran lightly over the snow-covered ground. If I wasn't in wolf form, I know I would have been freezing to death. Lilac ran until she was exhausted, the pain of the day catching up with us as she crawled into a small cave. Thank you for bringing us here, Lilac, I said to her. Of course, you're my human, Lou. We're in this together, she replied sadly. How did it come to this? I sighed. Where would we go? Most people don't take rogue wolves into their territories. How are we going to survive out here? After hours of keeping myself drowning in my thoughts, I finally started to feel sleepy. Maybe we can choose a mate, Lilac whimpered. But who would want us? I replied before drifting into a restless sleep.
Chapter 2.
Unknown POV. Another challenge. I growled. I'm sorry, Alpha, but after what happened, people wonder if you really are a capable leader, my beta sighed. Just because I'm blind doesn't mean I'm incapable. I snapped at him. I know, and it's a shame that you have to keep proving that you're a great leader. If people were smart, they wouldn't dare challenge you for your title. My beta bowed slightly. You're a really great friend. I'm glad you were with me through everything and called me out of my pity party, I said sincerely. We both know that Martha would kill me if I didn't look out for you after everything, my beta said sadly. I know. I appreciate your loyalty. It will never be forgotten, and neither will your sacrifice. I nodded at him thoughtfully. Thank you, Alpha, he bowed slightly. You know you don't have to call me that when we're alone, right? I teased. Yeah, but you have a powerful title. May as well use it, he chuckled. Besides, I don't want to be on your wolf's bad side. What time is the challenge? I sighed. The challenger has asked for high noon, my beta replied. Very well. Have everything arranged. Afterwards I am going to go out and check the patrols, I explained. Sounds good, I'll go with you, he offered. You know I can handle it, I argued, raising an eyebrow at him. I know, I just could really use a run, he replied, and I could hear the smirk on his face. All right then, I'll meet you down shortly for the challenge, I said, and I heard a yes, Alpha, before the door closed. I leaned against my desk, rubbing my temples lightly to ease my headache. Are you ready for another fight? I asked my wolf Braxton, aka Brax. I'm always ready for a fight. I'll show all of these losers how powerful we are, sightless or not. He growled in response. Thank you, I replied. You know I'm not going anywhere, we're in this together. Ready to add some more battle scars to our collection. He joked. You know we don't get those anymore, I chuckled back. Yeah, but we have a lot of them. He grumbled angrily. Let's go down there and kick some butt, I said, trying to distract him. Thought you'd never ask, Brax growled happily. I closed my custom laptop and started heading downstairs. Good morning. I heard my sister squeal happily and I opened my arms to brace for the bear hug I usually get. She leapt into my arms and I hugged her back. Where are you going? Lunch is gonna be ready soon, she asked. I have a challenge, I grumbled as she released me from the hug. I wish those dummies would stop that nonsense. Everyone knows you're the strongest fighter. I could hear her eyes roll, but also sense she was worried about me. I'll be fine. I'll see you after for lunch, I asked. Okay, fine. Just come back without blood dripping everywhere, she scolded me. Okay, I chuckled as I walked out of the front door. I made my way over to the battlefield confidently, feeling a wave of submission from several wolves, except one, who I assume is the challenger. I walked over until I was only a few feet away from the challenger. I could smell who it was and frowned. I guess it was to be expected that one of the younger warriors would challenge me. Ready? I heard my beta ask and I nodded. Begin, he shouted, and I started walking in a circle, going clockwise. I heard a footstep and knew the attacker was coming from my left. I quickly dodged out of the way. I heard more movement, running this time. I knew he would try and leap on my back, which was turned to him, so I waited until he was right there and then bent over, flinging him over my back and onto the ground. I heard a crack, followed by a growl before there was more movement. I heard him shifting into his wolf, so I did the same, letting Brax free. Brax let out a loud growl full of power. I heard the paws on the ground to my right and knew what the next attack was. I waited until they were right in front of me, leaping out of the way and snapping my jaws onto their neck as they went to fly past me. I kept my grip firm, bringing my front paws up to pin the man down. Submit, Brax roared through the mind link. I felt him struggle for a bit longer before I felt the wolf shifting back. I kept the human form pinned until I heard him whimper, I submit. I got off of him and stood up, feeling a pair of pants hit against my chest. I quickly slipped them on. Let this be a lesson. Don't underestimate your alpha. I can still keep this pack safe. And that is what I intend to do, I shouted and felt a wave of submission hit me, this time with no resistance. Satisfied, I started walking back to the house, treading over the familiar ground. That was awesome. You finished him off so quickly, my beta cheered as he handed me a shirt. I heard his arm moving, so I took the shirt from him and slipped it on, hiding the multiple scars that I knew littered my back. All in a day's work, I replied with a smirk as we went inside. I smelled bacon and eggs, breakfast for lunch. It smells delicious, I said out loud and heard my sister's voice. Just for you, brother, to celebrate your victory, I heard my sister chuckle at me. Before I knew it, we had finished lunch. When are you going to find a Luna? I heard my sister ask and I froze. I know, after Martha. But I cut her off. I'm going to go check the patrols, I said as I stood up, heading outside. I took off my clothes and tucked them behind a tree before shifting. She knows not to ask that. I don't know what's gotten into her lately, I complained to Brax as we started running to the border fence. Probably because she is thinking about finding a mate again, Brax grumbled sadly as we kept running. I know it's been 3 years, but she was our mate. I sighed. It doesn't mean we can't choose a mate if we wanted. After all, we are a desirable alpha, Brax said proudly. But who would want to deal with a blind mate? I replied. Brax simply huffed at me as we got to the border. Welcome, Alpha, I heard one of the warriors greet me. Thank you, I've come to inspect the border patrols, I mind-linked the warrior. Of course, Alpha, right this way, I heard the warrior say, and I followed the sound of his footsteps in the snow. Alpha, Alpha, I heard another warrior yelling, so I turned my head in that direction. A rogue has been spotted on the other side of the fence, he added. How many? I growled through the mind link. Only one, Alpha, we're not sure if it's a male or female. I didn't go close enough to check, the warrior panted. Lead me to the area, I demanded through the mind link and heard the sound of paws running on the ground. What is a rogue doing in our territory? Brax asked me. I don't know, but we'll find out. There could be more on the way, I answered as Brax kept running behind the warrior.
Chapter 3.
Lose POV. We've been wandering around in circles. Lilac growled at me. Well, where are we supposed to go? It's not like we're trying to go anywhere specific, I snapped back. SHHH. Someone is coming, I heard Lilac. I froze, sniffing around, but it was already too late. I saw wolves step out of the shadows, surrounding me. What is an Omega doing out here all alone? I heard a low voice laugh at me. I was just headed back to my pack, I lied nervously. Oh really? The man smirked knowingly at me. Yes, I was just out gathering some food for the dinner I was going to make later, I gulped. Well, maybe we can help you, the man said, gesturing to the wolves around me. I could tell they were rogues based on their smell and the way their fur was all matted together. No thanks, I'll just be going, I said as I started to walk, trying to get out of the circle of death. I stopped when one of the wolves snarled at me. Come now, we're just trying to be helpful, the man tisked at me. You should be grateful for our protection. After all, lots of wolves would love to prey on an Omega, the man said with a smirk that gave me the goosebumps. The man walked closer and I lashed out at him, partially shifting as my claws slashed his chest. He stumbled back slightly but wasn't deterred as the wolves all started closing in on me. This is bad. There's no way we can fight them all, we have to make a run for it, Lilac said to me. But before we could move, I felt myself being tackled to the ground by one of the other wolves. Lilac snarled at them as she kicked and squirmed trying to escape. If you cooperate and come with us, it won't be so bad. We can give you shelter, water, food, clothes. The man started rhyming off. I kept struggling to get away, the wolf's teeth and claws digging into Lilac, causing us to yelp in pain as blood started leaking from our leg onto the white snow. I let out a whimper of pain, still struggling. Then when they least expected it, I kicked a leg back, hitting one of them in the crotch. I used the distraction to escape, running as fast as I could with an injured leg, leaving a trail of blood behind me. I jumped into the freezing water to hide my tracks and scent. Dashing onto the other side, I noticed the rogues had stopped following me. She's their problem now, one of the men chuckled. But I wanted to take her, another wolf whined. We would be a fool to fight them. You've heard of their alpha, the other man snapped back angrily. I kept running because my life depended on it. I could feel that I was on a pack's territory, but I couldn't tell whose as I raced forward. The wind was picking up, and with the injury I knew I couldn't go much further. I heard Lilac whimper in my head in pain as we stumbled under a large spruce tree for some shelter. I'm sorry, Lou, I can't hold this form with the injury, Lilac said shakily. That's okay, Lilac. We got away. You can rest, I'll try to find a way to keep warm, I said to her, and felt her relax in the back of my mind as I shifted back to human form. It really was freezing out. Usually wolves are more immune to the cold than this. I looked at my wounded leg and winced. It was most likely broken and it was still bleeding. Even with wolf healing, this would take a couple of weeks. I curled myself into a ball, snapping off a tree branch to use as a blanket, considering that I was stark naked. I really wish I had stopped to grab some clothes. I sighed, curling closer to the tree trunk. I felt my eyes drooping closed, exhausted from the injury and the escape. I tried to fight it, but my body was shutting down in the cold. My eyes fluttered closed against my will as I fell into a deep sleep, exhausted from all of the day's events. A while later, I was startled awake by the sound of paws. Lots of paws coming towards me. I asked Lilac to shift, but she was still asleep from running so much. I went to stand, but my leg protested and I collapsed with a wince. This is bad. What if it's the rogues again? I tried again and stood up, running out from under the tree and looking for a better hiding place. I realized it was pointless when I heard a growl close behind me. I went to turn around, facing a naked man. Why are you here, rogue? He yelled at me. I didn't mean to trespass. I started to defend myself. How many others are there? He screamed at me. None. I'm alone, I shouted back, trying to hide my more private parts from his gaze. I don't believe you, he started, but was cut off by a large dominant growl. My head bowed on its own and I knew it was an alpha. I collapsed onto my knees and started to cry, knowing I couldn't escape. I managed to look up and saw a tall man. He had jet black hair and was dressed simply, yet it showed off his muscular figure. He had broad shoulders and long legs as he walked towards the man who was shouting at me. I looked at his face and noticed 4 large, angry scars slashed across his face, and his eyes looked clouded over, like a blue lake under a thick sheet of ice. I whimpered a bit as the pain in my leg spread. I saw the man's eyes snap to me, but it was as if he wasn't seeing me. I fell onto my stomach and stole one more glance at the strange man before I passed out cold. Maybe I'll be lucky and he won't kill me.
Chapter 4.
Unknown POV. Alpha, this is the rogue. We managed to track it down easily because of its injury, one of my warriors said to me. When did it get here? I growled. It crossed the border about 30 minutes ago, he answered. And I nodded. I'm going to go check it out. I think it's unconscious based on the sound of its breathing, so I shouldn't have any trouble, I told the warrior, who responded with a quick yes, Alpha. I walked towards the rogue, not knowing what to expect when I suddenly got a whiff of the stranger. An Omega. What is it doing outside of a pack? They're really hard to find these days, Brax growled. And a female one. This makes no sense, I replied as I walked cautiously towards the rogue. I didn't feel threatened, but I didn't want to startle it too badly. I know a bunch of packs who would kill to have a female Omega. They're the best breeders and an easy way to add numbers to the pack, Brax replied. I walked closer, listening to the sound of light breathing. I crouched down, reaching out and touching the rogue. I only touched her arm when I realized that she was freezing and naked. Someone give me a shirt. I growled. I heard footsteps approaching and reached my hand out as someone passed me the clothing. I picked the rogue up gently. She was light. Too light, as if she had been starved for some time. I growled a bit as I leaned her against my chest and slipped the shirt over her head. I noticed as I did this that there was a strong smell of blood. I reached down again, gently sliding my hand over the rogue's side until I reached her leg. I felt the blood on my hand and felt confused. These felt like bite marks, fresh ones too. I wrapped my arms around the rogue, scooping her up into my arms and pressing her against my chest. As I suspected, she was as light as a feather. I'm taking her to the pack doctor. She can't be interrogated if she's dead, I answered the curious eyes I felt staring at me. Being this close to her, her omega scent was sweet to me, calling me to her. No wonder omegas are so highly sought after. I started walking back to the pack house, mind linking the doctor to meet me there. I didn't walk too fast, not wanting to jostle the injured rogue too much. I don't know why I'm being so careful with this rogue, I grumbled to myself. Usually they're dragged by their hair to be questioned. Because she's an omega, we have a strong urge to protect her, especially in this weak state, Brax replied. I walked into the pack house and felt eyes on me again. I growled in warning before walking upstairs to my room. I opened the door and walked in, smelling that the doctor was already waiting. I set the rogue gently on my bed and turned to the doctor. Who is this? He asked as he walked over to the bed. A rogue. Found trespassing, I stated sternly before I heard the doctor take a deep breath. He started, but I cut him off. An omega, yes, I stated as I listened to him rustling around. Wow, I've never treated an omega before, they're so rare. And a female one, he said excitedly, and I felt a low rumble in my chest. What was she doing running in our territory? And why is she not in proper clothing? He rhymed off questions. The warriors told me she ran, injured, into the territory as a wolf. She must have shifted because when I got there she was naked, I replied. I heard more rustling before the doctor spoke. This is a pretty nasty break. She was clearly attacked by another wolf. Probably on her way here, possibly another rogue. It will take a couple of weeks to heal. Her wolf is weak, he explained. When will she wake? I asked. Well, based on the trauma she's in, it could take a few days. A week at most. I can sense that she has been through something emotionally traumatic, but I'm not sure what. I've bandaged the wound. It will need to be cleaned twice a day to avoid complications, he explained as I heard the click of his bag closing. Thank you, doctor, I mumbled. I'll be back tomorrow to check on her. Until then, I recommend someone stay with her. She might be startled when she wakes up. I heard the doctor's footsteps, followed by a door latching, and I knew he had left. I mind-linked my beta. The rogue is a female. And an omega. What is she doing outside of a pack? People would kill to have a girl omega, my beta replied. I'm not sure and I can't ask. She's unconscious and the doctor said it could be a week before she is alert again, I growled. He also mentioned some kind of emotional trauma, I added. Well, something obviously happened. What are you gonna do with the rogue in the meantime? He asked. I'm going to stay and keep an eye on her. I don't want her going crazy and killing everyone in the way when she wakes up, I mumbled. I doubt an omega would do that. Their instincts are to care for others, my beta chuckled. Either way, I'm going to stay and keep an eye on her, I replied as I pulled up a chair beside the bed. Very funny. Shouldn't you get someone else to watch her? My beta joked. Quit your teasing. You know I'm the best person to do this. Who knows what the other males would do if they were alone with an omega, I explained. Are you jealous? Do you like her? My beta asked with surprise. No, I mumbled, even though I didn't know the answer to that yet. I'm quite drawn to her. She's such a fragile little omega. Brax said to me. I know. Who would neglect such a treasure like this? I sighed. Do you think she has a mate? Brax asked. Let me check. I leaned forward and took a deep breath. Then I leaned in and ran my hand gently around her neck. But I quickly moved my hand when I heard her make a soft whimpering noise. I didn't feel a mark and I don't smell a male wolf on her. A pure female omega. This is a find, Brax said excitedly. Maybe we can take her for ourselves, he added happily. I sat there in shock. Brax had never taken interest in anything female after Martha. This omega must really be something special to have him acting like this. And I feel drawn to her too. What does this mean? Is it just because I'm an alpha and she's an omega? I leaned my head in my hands. I wonder what she looks like. Brax sighed and I started to wonder that myself.
Chapter 5.
Lose POV. I groaned, stretching my arms as my head screamed at me from a pounding headache. I fluttered my eyes open, only to close them again from the bright light. I moved my hands to my sides. Where am I? I felt a bed beneath me and sunk further into it. It smells so good and it's so comfy. I willed my eyes to open and tried to sit up, only to feel a sharp pain in my leg. Ouch, I grumbled as I propped myself up on some pillows. I could tell I was wearing a shirt, thank goodness, but my lower half was bare underneath the blanket. What happened? I asked Lilac. I don't know. We were running and some wolves found us. Our leg got hurt and then there was a very attractive alpha with strange eyes. Lilac answered. An alpha? What could he want with us? I asked her nervously as I finally took a look around the room. I froze when I saw the alpha from the forest. The claw marks across his face and his glossy blue eyes staring right at me. He's blind, Lilac gasped, and I took another look at his eyes, realizing it was true. Alpha, I said, bowing my head and showing my neck towards him submissively. There's no way I can fight him, and maybe if I submit from the start he won't be so hard on me. Why were you on my land? His low, sensual voice washed over me. I shivered at the sound of it and gulped nervously as he sat in the chair beside the bed. I was running from a group of rogues that attacked me. I'm sorry, Alpha, I didn't mean to trespass, I said shakily. Are you a rogue? He asked. I was. Kicked out of my old pack, I answered vaguely. Why? He asked, his eyebrows furrowed. My mate rejected me, I whispered, feeling tears in my eyes when the Alpha growled angrily at me. But you're an Omega. Why would someone reject you? He growled. How did you know I'm an Omega? I asked with wide eyes. You're sent. Now why did he reject you? The elf asked sternly. He was an alpha and I am just a weak Omega. I guess he needed someone higher ranking, I whimpered. He was still tense but seemed to understand as he nodded. How long have you been a rogue? He asked. Only a few days. How long was I out for? I bit my lip nervously as I looked at the attractive man in front of me. A week. The doctor was worried you wouldn't wake, the alpha said sadly. Do you mean to harm my pack? He grumbled. No, Alpha, I'll leave and be on my way if you would rather I was cut off. Where would you go? He asked, seeming concerned. I don't know, I sighed. Parents, other family? He asked and I shook my head no before I realized he couldn't see me. I wanted desperately to know what happened to him, but I knew it would be an insult to ask. No one, I answered softly. Then you'll stay here, the Alpha said, leaving no room for arguments as he used his dominance on me. Yes, Alpha, I whispered. This is the Evergreen Pack. I am Alpha Troy and my beta is Terrence, he started explaining. I had heard rumors of the Evergreen Pack and a blind alpha. Where will I stay, Alpha? I asked curiously. I'll have a room made up for you across the hall, he replied roughly. I looked him over again. Even with his scars I found him attractive. But when I looked closer I saw a faded mate mark on his neck. I guess he's taken, I said to Lilac, who whined sadly in my head. But he seems nice and he is so hot. Plus, why is his mark faded? Lilac quipped. Why are you staring? He asked, catching me off guard. I'm sorry, Alpha, I bowed my head. How did he know? I could feel your eyes on me and hear the way your heartbeat changed, he answered my unspoken question. I gaped at him in amazement and I saw a small smirk on his face. Won't the pack be angry if I stay? I am technically a rogue, I sighed. They have no say in it. Besides, I think they'll be happy to have an Omega in the pack again, he explained. Yet maybe the males, I mumbled angrily. Ever since I hit puberty the male wolves would always try to do things. But the alpha would never allow it, and that's the only reason I escaped unharmed. I didn't know if it would be the same here. He growled angrily. No males will touch you here. This is the alpha's apartment. Only Terrence and I come up here. And your mate, I added, and he frowned. I don't have a mate. I'll have someone arrange your room and some clothes. Until then stay here while I explain to the pack, he muttered angrily. What pack are you from? He asked. Blue Moon, I answered, and he stormed angrily out of the room, slamming the door behind him. How can he not have a mate if he has a mark? I thought out loud. His mate either died or rejected him after the marking process, Lilac explained. You can be rejected after marking. I gasped. Yes, but it's very rare. And with how handsome he is, I bet his mate is dead, Lilac said happily. That must have been terrible for him. I sighed sadly. But it means we could have a shot at him as our chosen mate, Lilac purred. What if there's another male who catches our interest? I teased. I don't know. I could feel his wolf, Lilac said with confusion. Probably because he's an alpha. He won't want us with his rank. We should probably just move on to someone within our reach, I lectured her. I can't help it. He's so dreamy, Lilac yipped. I wonder why he's blind, I suddenly asked. We could always ask him after he is more comfortable around us. I think it has something to do with the scars. And if his wolf couldn't heal him, it means Silver was involved. Lilac cringed and I shuddered. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Come in, I shouted. The door opened to reveal a strange man with blonde hair and gray eyes. He had a friendly smile on and was walking towards me with a bundle of clothes. "Hi, I'm Beta Terrence, but most people call me Terry," he said as he set the clothes beside me and held his hand out for me to shake. "Nice to meet you, Beta," I bowed my head. "You sure got the alpha upset," he chuckled. My face paled. What did I do? "Oh no, I have to apologize," I babbled nervously as I pulled the blanket back and went to stand, only to find myself tripping. I cringed at my sore leg and braced for the fall, but it never came. Instead, I was wrapped in a pair of strong arms and placed gently back on the bed. "You didn't do anything. As an alpha, he feels a stronger need to protect you because of your rank as Omega," he explained, but I was still confused. "He is upset at the way your old pack kicked you out," he added with a smirk. "Why would he be upset?" I was baffled. The Beta shrugged. "I know my alpha and I say he likes you," he smirked at me. "What? But..." I opened and closed my mouth a few times. "Oh my gosh, you like him too." Terry laughed a bit as my face turned red. "Why is he letting me stay here?" I tried to change the subject. "Well, other than the reason he likes you. Because you're an Omega and those are really rare. Any pack would be lucky to have one. We used to have one in our pack, but he was killed in an attack a few years ago," he said sadly. "You have a mate?" I asked curiously. "I did. He was the Omega I mentioned," Terry said with a bit of a blush, followed by sadness. "I'm sorry," I said softly. "Never mind me, we have to get you dressed and take you out to get some essentials." Terry smiled at me. I went to stand up again to go get changed but cursed when I stumbled again. I squeaked, worried I would hit the floor when I once again felt arms around me, only this time it wasn't Terry. "Alpha, I'm sorry," I bowed slightly as he tightened his hold on me a bit. "Why are you apologizing?" he asked, and I didn't answer. "Terry, we should give her some privacy to get changed," he said as he set me gently on the bed. I shivered a bit, enjoying the gentleness of his touch. "I don't think that's a good idea. This is the second time she has almost fallen in the span of 15 minutes, Terry chuckled, and I glared at him. "Fine, I'll stay and help. You go get the contact information for the Blue Moon pack," he ordered, and Terry stood up. "Shouldn't I be the one helping her?" Terry asked with a raised eyebrow. "Out," Troy growled, and Terry raised his hands in surrender, closing the door behind him. "Why are you contacting my old pack?" I asked nervously, my whole body shaking. "Will you get changed while we talk?" he asked, looking at me. "I don't know if I can. With you watching," I mumbled nervously. He laughed a deep belly laugh and I smiled at the sound. I felt myself blushing a bit in embarrassment. "You know I'm blind, right?" "I won't see anything," he reassured me. "I know, I just feel like you can still see me," I admitted shyly. "I guarantee you I can't. But I really wish I could." He said the last part so quietly I barely heard him. "Okay, fine." I sighed as I slipped the shirt off and pulled the other shirt over me. I went to stand up to put on the underwear when I felt myself tripping again. Troy's hands rested on my bare hips, keeping me steady. I blushed at the intimate position, feeling slightly turned on by his closeness. I quickly sat on the bed, pulling the panties on, then the shorts. I breathed a sigh of relief when I was finally covered, but I quickly felt nervous again when I saw the alpha's passionate expression.
Chapter 6.
Troy's POV. I may not be able to see, but I can smell. I was helping hold her up because she was going to trip again when I whiffed the most amazing smell. I had never smelled a female Omega's arousal before, but I could already tell that it would be addicting. I was already struggling to control myself before this, but I was distracted when I rubbed my thumbs along her hips and felt scar lines. "At least we know she thinks we're hot," Brax chuckled. "What's your name?" I asked, ignoring my wolf's smart comments and trying to change the subject. "Lucy, but I go by Lou," she said softly, and Brax purred at the sound of her voice. "And your wolf?" I raised an eyebrow. "Lilac," she replied without hesitation. I was amazed at how trusting she was after only knowing us for a short period of time. "I can't wait to meet her wolf," Brax purred. "That won't be anytime soon," I growled at Brax. "Why are you letting me stay?" she asked cutely. "I think it's safest for you here, and I know you can't return to your old pack. But if you would rather leave, I won't keep you. You're not a prisoner here," I said honestly. "What if she leaves now?" Brax growled angrily. "She needs to know she has freedom or she'll never trust us." "I'm hoping she chooses to stay," I admitted. "Then why contact my old pack?" she asked. "I want to hear their side of what happened and let them know you're not their concern anymore," I gritted out. "Thank you for the clothes," she whispered. "You're welcome. The cook will be taking you tomorrow to get any other items you need. Your room should also be set up by tomorrow night," I explained. "Where will I sleep tonight?" I could feel her frown. In here, I'll stay in my office, I explained. No, she squeaked and I raised an eyebrow at her. She quickly tumbled onto the floor, kneeling painfully in front of me. Forgive me, Alpha, I never should have spoken to you like that. I heard the tremble in her voice. She's afraid of us. Brax whined. It's okay, just tell me why you don't want to stay in my room, I asked as I picked her up and set her on the bed again, which was easy because of her weight. She stumbled over her words and I suddenly got hit by the strong scent of her arousal. I took a few steps back towards the door to calm myself down. I can't kick the Alpha out of his bed. I'll sleep on the floor, she tried to compromise. Absolutely not, you're injured, I growled at her. Yes, Alpha, I heard shuffling and assumed she was bowing to me again. I sighed, raking my fingers through my hair. Come, I want to introduce you to the pack, I said as I held my hand out to her cautiously. I felt her hand touch mine and I shivered a little. It felt nice. I shook the thoughts up, propping her up with my arm so she wouldn't walk on her bad leg. I carried her down the stairs before putting her back down. I smiled when I smelled her arousal again. She definitely likes us. I held her tight to my side as I lead her to the yard where I had instructed the pack to gather. There's too many people, I felt her tug on my shirt nervously. You'll be fine, I whispered to her and felt her nod beside me. I walked in front of the group and set Lou down gently. Evergreen Pack. I am announcing this she-wolf, Lucy, as a new member. She will be staying with us from now on and I don't want anyone bothering her. Yes, she is an Omega, but I don't want everyone interrogating her. Make her feel welcome, I shouted. Yes, Alpha, I heard the group say as people started whispering about an Omega. I was leading Lou back through the crowd when a group of male warriors approached. I felt her grip my shirt tightly and I pulled her further into me. She has clearly had some bad experience with men or new people, hard to tell. Alpha, they said as they bowed their heads respectfully. I nodded back, recognizing their sense. Hi Lucy, I'm Sam and this is Joe and Jacob. One of them spoke to her as he gestured at the others. Hi, Lou said quietly, clearly uncomfortable. Any chance you have some spare time? We could show you around the pack. Jacob offered. It's fine with me if you want to go, but take this, I said as I handed her a cell phone programmed with my number and Terrence's number. But she started, but I cut her off. They won't hurt you. I just have to go make some calls and then I'll be back, I said softly to her so the others couldn't hear. Yes, Alpha, she said as I felt her shift in my arms, probably bowing to me again. I gently passed Lou off to Matt, who helped hold her up. Brax growled in my head, jealous that someone else was touching her. Oh, calm down, she needs friends and they wouldn't be dumb enough to hurt her, I said to Brax. Thanks, Alpha, Jacob said as all of them bowed to me. She comes back any differently than she is now and it will be bad news for all of you, got it? I growled at them and they all quickly nodded as I smelled their fear. I'll see you back at the house soon, Lou, I said to her and felt her silently nod before the warriors lead her away. We should stay with her. How can we trust other men around our little Omega? Brax yelled angrily. She isn't our Omega, I sighed. But we both want her, I can tell you like her too. We should pick her as a mate, Brax purred. Do we really want to trap her with a blind guy? I said sadly. She doesn't seem to mind that. Brax said honestly and I couldn't help but think about it. Here, the Blue Moon Pack is on the line, Terry said as he handed me the phone. Good afternoon, Alpha Chase. This is Alpha Troy from the Evergreen Pack, I started casually. Good afternoon, Alpha Troy. What can I do for you? Chase asked. I just wanted to confirm that an Omega has left your pack recently. I questioned. There was a slight pause before he spoke. Yes, she left the pack, he confirmed. Well, she came here and I was wondering if I could have any of her belongings or files sent over since she is transferring to my pack, I explained calmly. What? He growled. Why don't you come here with her and pick up her things? Chase asked angrily. I'm afraid that isn't possible. You know where my pack is. When shall I expect the delivery? I pushed. I won't approve her transfer, he rumbled. I don't believe you have a say in the matter after you rejected her as your mate and banished her from your pack, I gritted through my teeth. There was another long pause. Very well, I'll have it sent by tomorrow night. What do you want with the Omega? He asked. She came to us actually. I offered her the chance to stay with us, I said vaguely. All right, thanks, Alpha Troy, he said before hanging up. I wonder what that little Omega is up to now, Brax asked curiously. Then I received a frantic mind link. Alpha, come quick. Something is happening with Lucy. It was Matt. I raced out of my office and into the yard, following their scent. I told you we should have been with her. Brax growled. She better be okay or some heads are gonna roll, he added, and I agreed with him.
Chapter 7.
Lou's POV. This is the Pack Hospital. Matt continued the tour. This place is huge. Lilac shouted in my head. We had spent at least an hour walking around looking at the territory, and I was trying my hardest to remember where everything is. The warriors were nice, but I felt myself constantly thinking about what Troy was up to. I told you like him, Lilac purred. Do you know what job you would like in the pack? Jacob asked. Well, I have always loved to cook, I admitted shyly. I'm sure they could use a hand in the kitchen for group meals. We tend to eat a lot, Matt laughed. I chuckled along with him when I felt a small cramp in my stomach. I brushed it off as hunger since I don't remember when I had food last. Speaking of which, I am starving. When is dinner? I asked when another cramp hit, a bit stronger this time. Is this what I think it is? I asked Lilac, who whimpered in my head. Yes, it's the heat. We have to get away from everyone and fast, Lilac whined. I doubled over, falling onto the grass. It wouldn't be long until all of the males picked up my scent and came to try to mate with me. I clutched my stomach tightly, ignoring the pain in my leg. This cannot be happening. I groaned in pain as I saw Matt mind-linking someone. Alpha is on his way. Hold on, Matt said gently. Then everything changed. You see, an omega's and heat scent is so much stronger than a regular wolf's that it draws any unmated male within a huge radius. It makes them go crazy, and if omegas aren't careful, it can lead to rape and other attacks. Usually I take medicine to suppress it, but since I wasn't expecting to be banished, I didn't have any with me here. I looked up and all of the warriors' pupils had dilated. Their mouths were slightly opened and they were staring at me like I was a juicy steak. I whimpered in pain. This isn't fair. I don't want this, especially for my first time, I yelled at Lilac, who was also hurting. Alpha will save us, Lilac reassured me as a crowd of men had started to gather around me. Joe was the first to attack, followed by Jacob, although Matt was fighting with himself. I felt them pulling at my clothes and trying to kiss along my neck. I whimpered, completely helpless in this situation. Then I heard a loud growl and felt a huge rush of power and dominance. Everyone fell to the grass, lying submissively on their backs. What is going on here? I heard the familiar voice of Troy and breathed a sigh of relief. Help! I shouted, knowing he couldn't see me. He ran over and I could tell he smelled it too. His nostrils flared and his mouth opened and closed a few times. You're going into heat, he stated obviously as he picked me up and started running like a crazy person. Luckily, the hospital was right behind us. He dashed me into the building and locked us in a room. He gently set me on the bed, and as soon as we lost physical contact, I yelped in pain. I hadn't realized that the Alpha's touch had been helping so much. I started crying and clawing at my clothes, a burning feeling spreading across my skin. The Alpha thankfully sat on the edge of the bed and held his hand over mine. It helped a little bit, but not enough to really take the pain away. I'm sorry, I whimpered. Usually I have medicine to avoid this. I'll go find a nurse. Maybe they have something that will help, the Alpha said as he let go of my hand. No, please don't leave. I don't know what will happen and you're helping, I whined. I'll only be a minute. Just wait here, the Alpha replied, and I nodded, trying to take deep breaths, knowing it would only get worse. I heard the door latch and struggled to hold still as I squirmed around the bed. Why does this always happen at the worst times, I mumbled to myself. Luckily, the Alpha appeared with a female nurse in a few minutes. Oh my, an omega, the nurse said as she scrambled over to me. The Alpha closed and locked the door behind him as the nurse started hooking me up to an IV. Now just try and relax, dear. This should take a bit of the burning away. Do you have a mate who can stay with you? She asked, and the Alpha growled. No, I groaned as I waited for the medicine to kick in. Are there any males you can trust to stay with you during this? It may last a few days, the nurse said, looking at me sadly. I'll stay, the Alpha said, stepping forward from the door. Alpha, an omega's scent can be overwhelming for any male. Is there anyone else you would trust? The nurse asked hesitantly. I am Alpha and I say I can handle it, Troy said through gritted teeth. Yes, Alpha, forgive me, the nurse bowed. She should be given a cold bath to help with the skin, and she'll need you to keep some sort of physical contact at all times. Hopefully, because of your rank, basic contact will be effective. If you need anything at all, just contact me by pushing the button on the wall above the bed, the nurse explained. Make sure no one except Terrence enters this room, the Alpha ordered the nurse. Yes, Alpha, she bowed before leaving the room. I whimpered out, clawing at my skin again. Please, make it stop, I cried. The Alpha came over immediately, placing his hand over mine again. Let's get you that cold bath, he mumbled before he lifted me up and brought me to the bathroom. I clung to him like a pup, curling into his chest to help ease the burn a bit. He managed to set me down, his nostrils flaring, sensing that my smell had gotten stronger. I quickly stripped from my sweat-soaked clothes and climbed into the tub. The alpha must have heard me because he turned on the cold water right after. I winced a bit as the water started hitting against my butt, my injured leg hanging over the edge of the tub. He left momentarily to grab a washcloth and I hissed in pain at the lack of contact. Thankfully he got the hint and ran back over. He started patting the cloth along my face and neck gently. It felt nice, but I really need more contact, please. I need you, I said tiredly. I can't. Not like this, the alpha replied, dabbing my forehead again. We don't have to. Just hold me, I begged. Troy nodded, moving behind me as he wrapped his arms around my shoulders into a hug, leaning his chin on top of my head. Is this helping? He asked softly, stroking my collarbone. Yes. Don't let go, I asked breathily, feeling overly aroused from his simple touches. I won't unless you order me to, he replied, and I could sense his honesty. Can you talk about something? Anything to keep my mind off of the pain? I asked hopefully. I felt him tense a bit and waited patiently to see what he would say.
Chapter 8.
Troy's POV. It was hard to be in the same room as Lou. Scent of her heat was driving Brax crazy. I guess the only reason I have any control is because I used to have a mate. I was helping Lou by hugging her from behind as she laid in the tub. I knew her body was demanding sex, but there is no way I'm giving that to her. Yeah, at least while she's like this, but after she's free game. You owe me for controlling myself like this, Brax muttered angrily. We'll see, who knows if she even likes us. And I can't trap her with us, we're blind. I replied sassily. Our eyes may be blind, but the heart sees, Brax said before closing communication with me. I mentally rolled my eyes at him and dabbed Lou's face again. I was surprised when she asked me to talk about something. What could I even say? So I thought I would use this opportunity to learn more about her. When the nurse asked, you said you have no one. What happened to your parents? I asked. She sighed. They died when I was young. I never really knew them. Oh, I'm sorry. I used to be close with my parents, I sighed back. What happened? She asked me cutely. They died in an attack when I was 19. We were caught by surprise and the enemy had planned for everything, I growled. Is that how you got your scars? She asked softly. Yes, I was protecting my mate when we were surrounded, I started angrily. They told me they wouldn't harm my mate if I surrendered myself to them. So, I stepped away from my mate and agreed, but as soon as I moved I gulped. They grabbed her and killed her in front of me. That was the last thing I saw before one of them slashed my face with their claws, which were dipped in liquid silver and coated with silver powder, I sighed sadly. That's horrible. I can't imagine finding a loving mate only to have them taken from you. And your eyes. I'm so sorry, she sniffled. What happened after that? She asked. They took me and tortured me for information. When that didn't work, they forced me into a fighting ring. They said if I could win a battle as a blind wolf, they would release me. So I trained. It took me a year before I could finally beat an opponent. I learned to rely on my hearing a lot during battle, I explained. Then they let you go? She asked hopefully. Yes, I still fought my way out, but I ran. I headed back to Evergreen and saw that the pack was rebuilding. Terrence told me about all of the things I missed and I went to visit my family's and mates' graves. Even though I had fought my way out, I felt trapped when I returned. All I could see was my mate's murder over and over again. I fell into a depression and everybody feared I wouldn't recover and end up dead, I said honestly. So what made you come out of it? She questioned. Terrence. He lost his mate during the battle too. A male Omega named Daniel. He told me that the pack needed an alpha and that all of the wolves who lost their lives for the pack and for me would have wanted me to step up as alpha. And you did. She sounded unsure. I did. And there were a lot of challenges for the title. Everyone said a blind alpha could never protect the pack. I used to be challenged a few times a day, but now it's only occasionally, I shrugged. People still challenge you after everything. She gasped, tugging me closer by my arms. Sometimes, but I always win. My sister thinks they're silly to keep challenging me. 3 years later, I chuckled a bit thinking back to her reaction after my last challenge. Well, they should learn to stop questioning you. Your pack seems happy, prosperous. You seem like a loved alpha, she rambled. I try my best to prove I can protect everyone. There hasn't been an attack since then and the people who attacked last time are all dead, I said proudly. You're an amazing alpha, she purred. We should get you out of the water, I mumbled, draining the tub and drying her off. She whimpered a few times when my hands slipped onto her skin. I tried my best to shake it off and handed her her clothes. I waited until the rustling stopped before I picked her up and set her on the bed. I was going to stand up and sit in the chair, but she had me in a vice grip and I didn't want to hurt her by prying her off. I sighed, laying beside her and breathing in her intoxicating scent as a tent formed in my pants. I groaned uncomfortably and her grip suddenly relaxed. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you," she rushed out quickly. "You're not hurting me," I said, trying to mask the arousal in my voice. "So, what was your old pack like?" I asked and she tensed. "They are very traditional," she chose her words cautiously. "What do you mean?" I pushed. "They believe in classic roles, like women being housekeepers, omegas being servants, warriors being solely for battle." I cut off her rambling. "Wait, did you say omegas as servants?" I asked in shock. "Yes," she stiffened. "What did they make you do?" I growled. "Clean, cook, run errands," she sighed. "But you're an omega. There are so few of your rank left. You should have been treated like a princess, not a slave," I said angrily. "Did they ever do anything to you?" I asked hesitantly. "Not sexually. The alpha wouldn't allow it. But sometimes the pack members could get a bit violent," she said nervously. "Show me," I grumbled. "But you can't," she started sadly. "I can feel, tracing the injuries shows me what they look like," I explained. I waited until her little hand grabbed mine. She brought it over shakily to her chest. I could feel her heart rate go crazy as I started feeling a bit below her collarbone. Her breathing came out in pants as I traced several small lines with my thumb. "What are these from?" I quizzed. "The day I left there they threw a plate at me. It shattered," she said breathlessly. I moved my hand back up to her face and she snuggled into it. "Why?" I asked. "Why would anyone do this to you?" "I don't know. And when the alpha rejected me, what do I do now?" She sniffled. "I already told you, you can join this pack if you want. And you can do any job that you feel passionate about," I reassured her. "I know, but I meant more about a mate. I don't want to be alone forever. I don't want to go through heats alone. I want someone to come home to." She started crying. "Well, you can always choose a mate. There are several male warriors who lost their mates for one reason or another. I'm sure any one of them would like to be with an omega." I tried to comfort her. "Don't encourage her. We want her to pick us." Brax growled at me. "She still could. I'm just trying to open her to the idea of a chosen mate," I defended, and Brax huffed in annoyance. "But I'm so weak. Omegas are the lowest rank there is," she mumbled. "Omegas are special and rare. I know if you asked any unmated male they would take you up on it," I cooed. "Any unmated male?" she asked curiously. "I think so. They would be a fool to reject a female omega," I said sternly. "Can I meet these men you're talking about?" "Maybe. If I get to know them I can choose one," she asked, and I clenched my jaw angrily at the thought of her surrounded by other males. "I want her to be happy, but not with another man." Brax shouted at me. "I want her to be happy too, even if it isn't with us," I replied. "I can get them all together for you, but not until after your heat. It would be too dangerous otherwise," I said firmly. She rolled onto her side, cuddling her face into my chest. I wrapped my arms around her, rubbing her back. I could tell she was getting tired. Her heartbeat was steady and her breathing was starting to even out. "Okay, on one condition," she yawned. "What is it?" I raised an eyebrow at her. "You have to be in the group too," she said, and I widened my eyes in shock. "You want me there?" I gasped. "Yes, you said all the unmated males, and wouldn't that include you?" she asked. "That is if you want to. I know as an alpha you will probably need a stronger ranking female, but I would like to get to know you better," she rambled. "Okay," I sighed. "Really?" she asked softly. "I'll be there when I can," I replied sadly, as she hugged me tighter. Brax purred at the feeling of her tucked safely into our arms. "I want her," Brax said decisively. "But you haven't wanted any she-wolf since Martha," I frowned. "This one is different." Brax sighed. "All right, we'll try, but if she doesn't choose us we have to leave her alone," I lectured him. "Okay, fine. But I fully intend on making her pick us," Brax said arrogantly. "That's all I want," she mumbled before falling asleep against me. I couldn't wipe the grin off of my face after her admission.
Chapter 9.
Lou's POV. I was so glad that my heat had finally ended. The alpha was so nice to stay with me during the whole thing, helping me with baths and rubbing my back to help with the pain. He didn't leave my side for 3 whole days while Terrence handled pack matters. Today was the day I finally could leave the hospital. But I really didn't want to because it meant that the alpha and I would go our separate ways again. I liked it when he stayed with us, Lilac whined. "Me too. I miss him already," I sighed. "At least today he said we could meet some other mateless wolves looking for love," Lilac said cheekily. "Yeah, I only took him up on that because I want to spend more time with him. Hopefully he'll be there," I said excitedly. "Oh, he will. I can tell that his wolf already likes us, Lilac yipped. He's probably just caring for us as the alpha. I shrugged. We'll see. But you know I want him, Lilac reminded me. I know. I want him too, but we can't trap him with our rank. He needs a strong she-wolf to lead the pack, I said firmly. We are strong. Besides, if we both like him, I say we go for it, Lilac said happily. Well, at least try and give the other male wolves a chance, okay? I sighed in defeat. Okay, fine, she grumbled. You ready? I heard Troy ask as he opened the door of the hospital. I nodded, taking a few deep breaths to catch his scent before stepping out. As promised, there were a dozen male wolves around my age waiting for me on the lawn. What is this for? I asked Troy. They wanted to meet you. They all have interest in being your potential mate, Troy said sadly. Oh, will you be staying? I asked. I have a lot of pack work to catch up on over the last 3 days. He rubbed the back of his neck nervously. Oh, well, thank you for staying with me. I don't know how I would have survived without you. I smiled at him and he smiled back after hearing my words. Can I meet you later tonight? I asked pleadingly. Sure, I'll meet you at your room after dinner, Troy said happily, and I hugged him tightly. He was surprised but hugged me back briefly before turning and walking back to the pack house. Hi, one man approached me. He looked a bit older than me and was very well built. His muscles showed through his shirt and his red hair was gelled back neatly. His green eyes bore into mine and I couldn't help but smile at him. I'm Liam, it's nice to meet you, he said with a killer smile. Lucy, but I go by Lou, I said as I stuck my hand out for him to shake. He shook my hand firmly. Wanna go for a run? He asked. This guy is interested in us. Really? He is so hot. Lilith purred. I guess so, but I thought you liked the alpha, I smirked. I do, but it doesn't mean I can't enjoy looking, Lilac quipped, and I mentally rolled my eyes at her. That sounds nice, but I don't know how well it would go with my leg, I replied with a sigh. Maybe a walk then? Liam asked hopefully. Sure, why not, I said as he grabbed my hand and started walking me along the lawn to the trees. I heard a chorus of groans and growls from the other guys since I had been dragged off so quickly. Is there something going on between you and the alpha? Liam suddenly asked, and I almost fell on my face. He was just helping me through some stuff, I replied. So you two aren't together? He pushed and raised an eyebrow at me. No, I answered honestly. But you like him? He asked, and I snorted out a laugh. Is it that obvious? I chuckled. Well, yeah, and the alpha never lets anyone hug him. Besides his sister, Liam explained. He has a sister. My eyes widened. Yeah. Now listen, I have a deal for you, Liam said as he stopped. We were now away from everyone else in the woods. What kind of deal? I asked skeptically. I'll give you information about the alpha and what it was like before the attack. I'll help you end up as mates, Liam started. And what do you get? I asked curiously. Well, you see, I like men, Liam admitted with a blush, and I stared at him in amazement. And I have a huge crush on Terrence. I was hoping that you could help me get closer to him. He asked hopefully. And you don't have a mate? I asked. I had to be sure. No, my mate was killed in a battle a long time ago, he said sadly. All right, you have yourself a deal, I smiled, holding my hand out to him. He shook it eagerly and I asked, so how do we start? Well, first you have to get rid of all of those other guys. Then we can go to the pack house and hopefully sneak into the alpha's apartment, Liam started enthusiastically. Actually, I'm staying in the alpha's apartment. My room is across from his, I admitted with a blush. This is perfect. We're going to be great partners in crime, he smirked, and I nodded, laughing at how excited he was. Let's do this. He grabbed my hand and we ran back onto the lawn towards the pack house. The other male wolves had mysteriously disappeared, so we had no issues. I guess they all thought I had chosen Liam. We got to the pack house and I lead the way up to my room. I was surrounded by the alpha's delicious scent as we reached the top of the stairs, and I took a deep breath. I felt surprisingly comfortable around Liam, probably because I could see us being great friends. Liam laughed at me for my reaction as we walked to my room. We were a couple doors away when a door flew open and Terrence came out with some papers, bumping directly into Liam. I am so sorry, Beta, Liam said with a bow, a light blush covering his cheeks. Terrence looked at him a moment before saying, no problem, Jesse, let me get my papers. Liam and he bent down at the same time, picking them up together. Terrence thanked him for the help before he asked out of nowhere, you're one of the new patrols, right? Yes, Beta, Liam replied with a nod. How do you two know each other? Terry asked skeptically. We just met this afternoon. Liam offered to help me in the kitchen later, I covered, and Liam eyed me curiously. I'm making a surprise for the alpha to thank him for looking after me the last few days, I added, and Terry smiled at me. He is going to be so surprised. The only one who ever cooks for him besides the regular chefs is his sister. Terry chuckled. Any hints on what I should make? I asked. Anything with lots of sugar. He has a huge sweet tooth, Terry said before looking to Liam again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Liam, he said excitedly. And will you be coming by often, Liam? Terry asked, and Liam visibly shivered when he heard his name. They would be so cute together, Lilac said to me, and I nodded in agreement. I'll probably be inviting him over to help quite often, I jumped in. Liam is a great friend, I added with a smile, making sure Terry knew I wasn't interested in him as a mate. All right, I'll make sure no guards stop you on the way in. Usually Alpha doesn't allow visitors here, but I'll allow it since Lou seems happy. Terry smiled at us. Thank you, Beta, I bowed slightly. None of that. Call me Terry, he demanded. Thanks, Terry, I smiled at him and he nodded back at me. It was nice to meet you, Liam. I'll be seeing you around, Terry said, and Liam bowed respectfully, trying to hide the blush on his cheeks. Oh, and do make sure you tell the Alpha. He doesn't like surprises, Terry said before walking away. That was awesome, Liam said excitedly. I know. He knows your name now. Progress. I smiled at him and he sighed. You'll get there. Now come on. We have to go tell the Alpha. I grabbed his hand and started dragging him to the Alpha's office. Do I have to? Can't I wait in your room? The Alpha scares me, Liam whined. Yes, you have to. I rolled my eyes and dropped his hand, knocking on the door to his office.
Chapter 10.
Troy's POV. I had just finished signing some pack transfer papers when I smelled Lou outside of my office. That was good timing, Brax said excitedly. Come in, I shouted as I stood behind my desk. I had a huge smile on my face when I heard her footsteps come into the office, but it was dropped when I smelled a male with her. Did she really find a possible mate? Brax growled at me. I don't think she would have found one that fast, I replied nervously. Hello, Alpha, I heard Lou snap me out of my thoughts with her sweet voice. Hello, who is this you brought with you? I asked immediately. This is Liam, he is a good friend, she said, stressing the word friend. I looked in her direction with confusion. It's a pleasure to meet you one-to-one, Alpha, Liam said with a bow. Are you one of the new patrols? I asked curiously. Yes, Alpha, Liam answered. I was hoping that it would be okay if Liam came over sometimes. I wanted his help in the kitchen with some recipes I want to try out. But I wanted to see if it was okay first since most pack members aren't allowed up here, she rambled cutely. That's fine, as long as you clean up after yourselves and Liam doesn't cause any trouble for Terry and I said honestly. I heard small footsteps approach me and I didn't move from behind the desk. I felt Lou tug at the sleeve of my shirt, so I turned to face her. Thank you, Alpha, she said sweetly before throwing her arms around me in a hug. I stood still for a moment since she caught me off guard. Then I wrapped my arms around her and hugged back, enjoying her sweet omega scent. You're welcome, I mumbled, sensing the surprise coming from Liam. Lou released me from the hug and Brax whined from loss of contact. Meet me in my room in a couple hours, she asked cutely. Sure, I replied with a soft smile. She knows we can't say no to her, right? Brax grumbled. Will we be meeting alone? I suddenly asked. Yes, Liam has patrol tonight, she said sweetly, and I smiled at her. Why? I just had some things I wanted to discuss about your past, I said vaguely, not wanting to expose too much in front of Liam. Okay, she said sadly. Thank you for allowing me to come in, Alpha, Liam said, and I heard the sound of rustling, implying he was bowing. You're welcome, I replied sternly, shifting my gaze in his direction as I smelled the fear coming off of him. I listened to their footsteps as they headed down to the kitchen. I wonder how they became such close friends, Brax asked. I'm not sure. Do you think he wants her as a mate? I asked. If she does, she is really good at hiding it. She didn't indicate attraction in him at all, and her wolf didn't seem excited by his presence like she gets with us, Brax thought. I guess that's a good sign. I'll have to ask her about it later, I replied as I sat back down at my desk. It wasn't long before another knock sounded at the door. Come in, Terry, I shouted. How do you always know it's me? He chuckled as he walked in, sitting across from me. The way that you knock and the sound of your footsteps. Not to mention your awful stench, I teased with a smirk. As if, you're the smelly one, he defended. Did you meet the new guy Lou brought? He asked. I clenched my jaw. I did. And? He prodded. And what? Lou said they were friends, so if spending time with him makes her happy then I won't ban him from the pack house. She has been through a lot, I grumbled. Do you think she likes him as a mate? Terry asked. I didn't get that sense from her. Why? I deflected. Well, I think he's pretty hot, Terry sighed. Wait, you like Liam? I asked with wide eyes, my mouth hanging open slightly. I mean, I could if I got to know him. He seems sweet, but I don't know if he likes guys, Terry frowned. And it isn't something I can just go ask him, he added in frustration. I say we see how they act around each other, that should give a clear indication, I thought out loud. All right, I'll keep an eye on them, Terry nodded. Are you sure about this? You haven't been interested in anyone, I asked curiously. Yeah, there is just some sort of spark there that I want to explore. As crazy as that sounds, Terry chuckled. It doesn't sound crazy, I mumbled before getting back to work on some pack files. Terry and I were interrupted about an hour later by the sound of roaring laughter and high-pitched squeaking. What on earth are they doing down there? Terry grumbled. Lou said something about baking, I shrugged. I'm going to investigate. Terry stood, walking abruptly out of the room. She does sound happy, Brack stated longingly. It didn't take long for Terry to storm back into the office, but he smelled oddly like dough. Whatever you do, do not go down there, Terry warned. Why? I asked curiously. They're having a food fight and I got caught in the crossfire, Terry complained, and I burst out laughing. I'm glad someone thinks this is funny, he mumbled. Well, as long as they clean up after, I don't have a problem with it, I shrugged. You know, she said she has a surprise for you, Terry teased. Oh? I asked, my interest piqued. Yeah, although I have no clue what it is, Terry shrugged. Did Liam look like he was making any moves? I asked. No, they were just playing around. There wasn't even physical contact when I walked in, Terry said thoughtfully. I breathed a sigh of relief. Thanks. You know, you could just ask her to be mates, Terry sighed. It has to be her choice. I can't burden her with a blind mate, not when she has been through so much, I said sadly. I really don't think she cares about that. You should see the way she looks at you. It's obvious that she likes you, Terry smiled. If she does choose you, will you say yes? He pushed. I probably would, yes, I admitted sheepishly. Well then, congratulations on your new mate. The pack will finally have a Luna, Terry said excitedly. How can you be so sure? I growled. Why would she want me? I am sure that she wants you. Did you know she didn't even talk to any of the mateless males outside of the hospital after you left? Terry raised an eyebrow at me. What? I asked in shock. Yeah, the other guys mind-linked me and said Liam just snagged her away. And she didn't seem interested in any of them, Terry explained. Wow, but she hasn't even known me long. Why would she? I was baffled. Because she likes you. I say you two stop wasting time and get together already, Terry laughed. Not yet. She has to come to me, I mumbled. Okay, but when she does, you better not reject her, Terry warned. I would never, I yelled, shooting out of my seat. I could feel Terry's grin. Told you so, he said smugly before walking out of the room. A while later, it was finally time for me to meet Lou in her room, and I was a ball of nerves. I took a few breaths before knocking on her door. I heard the pitter-patter of footsteps followed by the door opening. Hi Alpha, she said softly, come in. I heard her shuffle away from the door as I walked through. I have a surprise for you. I could feel her smile and I couldn't help but smile back. What is it? I asked curiously. Then I felt her hand grab mine as she tugged at my arm. I followed her over to the seating area in the corner when the smell of cherry pie hit my nose. I made you something to try, she said nervously, as I heard some dishes scraping. Trust me, she asked, and I nodded. Open your mouth, she asked, and I was so surprised that my mouth dropped open. She placed what felt like a fork in my mouth and I tasted the cherry pie, cleaning off the fork. That is really good. Is this what you and Liam were working on? I asked, but I already knew the answer. Yes, Liam is coming by again tomorrow to apologize to Beta for throwing dough all over him, she chuckled as we both took a seat. I heard about that. Terry was quite upset about it. I felt a plate being set in my lap, so I grabbed it. I apologized a bunch already, but he insisted it was okay. He seemed more angry with Liam. She muttered quietly as I started eating the pie. I wanted to ask about something, I said, feeling my anger surface again. Okay, she asked worriedly. I asked your previous pack to drop off your things. I started and heard her sigh. They only brought one cardboard box. Did they take your things for themselves? I asked, clenching my jaw. No, that's all my things, she said softly. What? I asked in disbelief. But the clothes, and there were just rags, and the only other thing there was your medicine. Yes, that's all I had, she sniffled. But your old pack is very well off. Surely they could afford to buy you real clothes, I said angrily, setting the plate down on the table as I stood up and started pacing. I mean, where are all of your family things? Pictures, heirlooms. I huffed, Brax pacing in my mind as well. He was furious. I didn't need much, she whispered shyly. But you deserve at least some decent clothing. And every parent leaves some sort of heirloom or dowry of some sort. You should have had. I mean, I growled, still pacing. Alpha, it's fine, she said as I heard her stand up. Did they even give you a bed? I growled, rage flowing through me. Alpha, why are you so angry? She asked shakily. Answer the question, I grumbled. I had a room, she said vaguely. Did it have a bed? I quipped. There were some pillows. She started and I was ready to lose it. My whole body was shaking. Omegas should be treasured and protected, not treated like some prisoner. I could feel Brack struggling to get out when Lou wrapped her arms around my waist, pressing her face into my chest. It wasn't that bad, she sniffled. Tomorrow I am taking you to town and we are getting you some new things. No arguments, I mumbled, wrapping my arms around her as I started to calm down. Yes, Alpha, she said quietly. I sighed. Thank you for the pie. It was really delicious. I smiled softly at her as she released me from the hug. You're welcome, Alpha, she mumbled. I have some paperwork for you to fill out. Your official pack transfer papers. You don't have to sign them now, but if you decided to stay, sign and give them to me. That way no one can dispute that you're part of this pack, I explained as I handed her the papers. Thank you, Alpha, she said shakily. I'll stop by your room tomorrow morning so we can head to town. Terry will be joining, so if you want to invite Liam you can, I said stiffly. Yes, Alpha, she replied with a bow. Good night, Lou, I said softly as I walked to the door. Good night, Alpha, she replied, and I sighed, closing the door behind me. I wish she would call me by my name.
Chapter 11.
Lou's POV. Well, that could have gone better, Lilac huffed. At least he liked the pie, I chuckled. Why do you think he got so upset about me not having many things? I questioned. It's probably his instinct to care for you as an alpha, Lilac replied. I feel bad that he's upset. And he just left the room after, I said sadly. Maybe you feel bad because we like him, Lilac asked hopefully. I just don't like seeing him hurt, I defended. Because that's the only reason, Lilac said disbelievingly. Well, what am I supposed to do? Yes, we like him, but he's an alpha. He would never want someone so weak, I snapped. How will we know if we don't ask? Besides, his wolf seemed jealous when he smelled Liam with us, Lilac purred. I can't just go up to him and ask him to be our mate, I complained. Why not? Lilac quipped. I wasn't sure what to say, but luckily I was saved by a knock at the door. I could tell that it was the alpha from his scent. I raced to the door and opened it. Thankfully I had gotten ready a while ago. Good morning, are you ready to go? Troy asked with a smirk. Yeah, I was ready a while ago. Liam said he would meet us there, I explained nervously. All right then, let's go, Troy said, holding his hand out in front of him. I wasn't sure what to do, so I stood there. He frowned and lowered his hand before turning and heading towards the car. I had to jog to keep up with him and he was clearly upset. He wanted to hold our hand. Why did you reject, dummy? Lilac yelled. I didn't know that's what he was trying to do, I whined. Well, we better make it up to him. And by we I mean you. Now grab his hand. Lilac pushed. I can't just go up and grab him. What if he gets startled and hits me because he can't see me coming? I sighed. Then wait until you're in the car, Lilac said, and I reluctantly agreed. I was so distracted that I hadn't realized we were already at the car. Sneaky wolf, I mumbled and heard her laughing at me. Troy opened the door for me like a real gentleman. Thank you, Alpha, I said with a slight bow before getting into the car. He quickly closed the door and ran around to get into the other side since Terrence was driving. The car started moving, but Troy and I were stuck in place. He hadn't said a word to me since I unknowingly refused to grab his hand. I was about to ask him about it when the car came to a stop. We're here, I heard Terry say from the front seat. The Alpha quickly got out of the car and Terry raised an eyebrow at me. How was I supposed to know I was supposed to grab his hand? I huffed. Then my door opened as Troy waited for me to get out. I stepped out, thanking him again but with no response. I sighed as we walked up to the mall, but it was replaced with a smile when I saw Liam at the front doors. Liam, I shouted before running up and tackling him in a hug. Hey girlie, ready to shop till we drop? He asked with a wide grin. Of course, but you should probably try to apologize to Beta first. I reminded him. Okay, he sighed. I released him from the hug as we walked back to Terry and Troy. Alpha, Beta, Liam bowed respectfully. Thank you for inviting me along, but may I have a word with the Beta alone? Liam gulped nervously and Terry seemed surprised. Sure, the Alpha and I should start on shopping anyways, I said as I walked up to Troy. I stood directly in front of him, leaving only a few inches between us. I heard Troy take a sharp breath before he nodded. I grabbed his hand, he stiffened reflexively. I smiled when he relaxed, a soft smile on his lips. Once we were away from Terry and Liam, Troy spoke. Okay, buy whatever you need to feel comfortable. Don't worry about the price, he started. What? Alpha, I can't ask you to do that, I protested. I believe I said no arguments. He raised an eyebrow at me. Yes, Alpha, I sighed. He frowned, looking torn about something. I need to stop into this store first, I said, hoping to distract him. What store? He asked. I blushed a shade of deep red, realizing that he couldn't see that we had stopped in front of an underwear store. The one in front of us. I'll just go in by myself. You can't. I need to come with you to buy your things, the Alpha chuckled. But Alpha, I started. No arguments, Lou, Troy said firmly, and I shivered at the sound of my name. Yes, Alpha, I sighed, dying from embarrassment. I tugged his hand, leading him into the underwear store. I let go of his hand to start picking out things in my size. I tried to be as fast as possible, which I could do since I already knew my size. After I had picked everything, I grabbed Troy's hand again and gently tugged. What is it, Lou? He asked with concern. I'm all done in this store, I whispered, and he nodded. We walked hand in hand to the counter, Lilac purring happily in my head. I set the things down and the sales lady eyed Troy suspiciously as she rang my items through. Troy took out his card and paid for it all without any questions, and the lady gave me a horrible scowl as she watched us walk from the building. Thank you, Alpha, I stuttered. What store were we in? Troy asked obliviously. I said nervously. All right, I won't ask again, Troy chuckled. Lead the way to the next store, he added, gesturing in front of him. I giggled and tugged his arm, walking over to look at some clothing and shoe stores. Troy was very patient with me and didn't seem to mind while I took forever to try things on. I feel horrible spending his money, so I'm trying to keep it to the basics and not buy too much. I walked out of the dressing room, looking at the mirrors, but when I looked up I gasped in horror. Alpha, Chase was here. I looked around for Troy, but he was on the other side of the store. I cursed when Chase saw me and tried to scurry back to the dressing room. Unfortunately, I wasn't fast enough. Lou, I heard his voice and shuddered with fear. What are you doing here? He growled. Some friends insisted that I come shopping, I said vaguely. Oh, making buddies in your new pack already, he said darkly. Did they feel sick looking at you in those rags? He teased. Why are you here, Alpha? I asked nervously. Actually, little Omega, I came to see you. I've tried to visit you at your new pack, but the Alpha keeps denying me entry, Chase said angrily. We need to talk privately, he growled as he put his hand on my lower back and pushed me into the dressing room, locking the door. Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have rejected you. I was angry and didn't understand it, but I need you, he said with a sigh as he placed a hand on either side of my head, trapping me against the wall. I know now. The moon goddess gave you to strengthen the pack, he said with a sick smile. What do you mean? I stuttered. We will strengthen the pack by making many pups, Chase chuckled, and my face paled. Actually, let's start now. He started pulling my shirt up, rubbing his hand over my bare stomach. No, you rejected me and you can't just take it back, I snapped at him. I really shouldn't have, because next thing I knew Chase was slapping me across the face. I whimpered out in pain as he wrapped a hand around my throat with one hand, as the other hand worked on undoing my jeans. I tried to yell and scream, but his grip on my throat stopped any noise from coming out. You'll enjoy it, I promise. Now let's get a pup in you, he chuckled as he tugged my pants and underwear off all at once. But I'm not in heat, I whimpered out weakly, my throat hurting with each word. But it was the only thing I could think to say that would make him stop. Well then, this will be practice, Chase said as he bit at my neck, but thankfully didn't break the skin. No, I still tried to struggle, but I was no match for an Alpha's strength. Chase was about to say something when there was a knock on the door. Lou. It was Troy. I almost cried in relief as Chase tugged his pants back on, cursing under his breath so Troy wouldn't hear. Answer him and don't you dare say anything to tip him off, Chase mind-linked me using his Alpha dominance. I'm okay, Alpha, just trying on a few more things, I shouted out the lie. Lou opened the door, Troy grumbled. Please. I'm half naked, Alpha. Let me get dressed first, I replied. Fine, but if you're not out in 2 minutes I will break the door down, Troy said before I heard him walking away. This isn't over. When your heat comes I'll be back to finish what I started, Chase threatened before rushing out of the dressing room. I crumpled into a ball, sitting on the floor. I started to cry, but thankfully I had managed to put my pants back on because Troy was back. Lou, what happened? I can smell another male wolf. An Alpha, Troy growled angrily.
Chapter 12.
Troy's POV. I was pretending to look around the store when I realized that it had been a long time since Lou had left the dressing room. I told her I would be back in 2 minutes, so I was. Well, maybe it hadn't been a full 2 minutes yet, but I was worried about her, and when I went back I heard her crying. I followed her scent to the dressing room and was surprised when there was no door to knock on. because it was open. I could smell that another male wolf had been here, and an alpha. I felt the rage in my chest as I questioned her about it. She continued crying and I needed to make sure that she was all right. Was she seeing someone else? But then why would she be crying? My heart cringed with jealousy. I squatted down and slowly approached her. I didn't want to upset her more than she already was. Lou, I'm going to touch you. Just to check for injuries. I can't look to see if you're okay, so I need to do this. I promise I won't touch anywhere inappropriate, I said cautiously. Lou, I need your permission, I said painfully. Yes, Alpha, she said through a broken voice. I reached forward to her face and she flinched, backing away slightly before allowing the contact. I felt the tears on her cheeks, but otherwise her face seemed okay. But when I got to her neck, I could feel marks, bruises. It felt swollen and hot as if someone had tried to strangle her. Bastard. Brax growled angrily in my head. Who did this? I slowly checked her arms and legs and thankfully her throat seemed to be the only thing hurt. Lou, who was here? I asked, trying to control my anger. Alpha Chase, she said weakly. What did he want? I growled. He said he regretted rejecting me and he wanted me back, she spoke, her cracked voice hurting my heart. Why? I sighed. He wants to use me too. She started, trying to choke down her sobs. To what? I asked, losing patience. To make pups to strengthen the pack, she whimpered. I'm going to kill him. Brax growled viciously. I hadn't heard him this angry in a while. My rage matched his, my mouth tightening into a thick line. Is that what you want? I had to ask. No, I tried to stop him, she said shakily. I scooted closer and pulled her into a hug, brushing my nose against the crook of her neck to calm myself down. He won't get you. I'll make sure of it, I said with determination. He said he will try to take me during my next heat. To make sure she said with disgust. Don't you take medicine for that? I asked, trying to distract myself from the rage flowing through my body. Yes, she whispered. You'll be okay, I'll protect you. You'll be safe with the pack, I said, trying to convince her and myself at the same time. Thank you, Alpha. I'm sorry I ruined our shopping trip, she said, failing to hide her pained voice. Let's go. I already mind-linked Terry to meet us at the car, I explained as I helped her up. We'll pay for anything you picked out and then go, I said, and I heard her nod. I heard her grabbing some things as we walked to the counter, my hand on her lower back protectively. I quickly paid for her things and grabbed the bags as I lead her out of the store and towards the entrance. When we got there, I heard Terry's surprise and his mind link. What happened? He growled. What happened? Are you okay? Liam asked, rushing over to Lou and pulling her into a hug. I growled reflexively at him, not wanting anyone to touch my little Omega right now, especially after she was attacked. Alpha Chase found her and threatened her. We have to go back to the pack for Lou's safety, I snapped out, and Liam and Terry both growled angrily. Liam grabbed the bags from me and we all walked to the car. Lou and I sat in the back with Terry driving and Liam in the passenger seat. Lou curled tightly into my chest, clinging to my shirt as I inhaled her scent, trying to relax myself. It hurts me to see her upset like this. I know it's early, but I feel for her, and that scares me. Thankfully, Lou managed to fall asleep during the car ride. The ride was silent except for her occasional whimper until we reached the pack house. I mind-linked Terry and asked him and Liam to bring the things Lou got to her room. They didn't mind and I picked up Lou gently, trying not to wake her. I held her to my chest, carrying her up to her room. I was at her door when I had an internal battle with myself. I can't just leave her alone after all of that, but if I stay and she finds me next to her, she might panic. Don't you dare leave her side or I will take control and stay with her, Brax yelled angrily at me. I don't want to scare her, I sighed. She isn't scared of us. We have to protect her, Brax grumbled. All right, fine, but she better not hate us for this. I caved as I turned and walked into my room. I set her down on the bed and went to get changed into more comfortable clothes. But before I could, Lou whimpered and clung to me desperately. No pups, I heard her shout in her sleep. I sighed as I laid down beside her, her arms wrapped around my neck. As soon as I laid down, she curled into my side, seeming to relax into me a bit. I guess I'll stay, I said as I gently pulled the blankets over us. As if you could leave, Brax rolled his eyes at me. Yeah, you're right, I replied as I closed my eyes, trying to relax. But all I could imagine was Chase strangling Lou and the terrible things he threatened. I knew it would be a long night.
Chapter 13.
Lou's POV. I woke up in shock when I felt my hands on a hard, warm chest. I quickly scrambled away. Had Chase got to me? What happened? I started hyperventilating. I smell, Troy, Lilac whined. We can't be with Alpha Chase, she reasoned. Lou. I heard the groggy voice of Alpha Troy. I relaxed, breathing in his calming scent. What happened? I asked, not remembering anything after I had been attacked. I brought you back to the pack house. You fell asleep in the car, he stated factually. My medicine. I need to take it. I panicked, trying to race out of the bed only to realize I wasn't in my usual room. I froze when I felt Troy's gentle hand on my arm. I brought the bottle in here. I knew you would probably want one when you woke up, Troy said as he handed me the bottle of pills. Thank you. I sighed, swallowing it. Do you want to talk about it? Troy asked gently. Why am I in your room? I changed the subject and thankfully Troy didn't question it. When I tried to set you down you grabbed me, so I figured I would bring you here because the bed is bigger, he said nervously. I'm sorry. I should have brought you to your regular room, he said. No, it's okay, Alpha. I just feel like I shouldn't be here, I sighed. I couldn't just leave you alone after what happened. I apologize if sharing a bed with me caused you any distress, he said sincerely. You mean we slept together? I blushed. In the same bed, yes, like I said you wouldn't let me go and I couldn't leave you unprotected, he said calmly. Why do you care so much? I looked at him curiously. As Alpha, I care for all of my pack members, he stated. So you have brought others to your room before? I questioned. No, only one other, he said sadly. Is that your fated mate Mark? Do you mean her? I asked gently. Yes, other than that and my sister no female has ever been in my room. Until you, he said, gazing in my direction. I know he couldn't see me but I felt as if he could. Oh, I said, unsure of what to say to that. Can I ask you something personal? He suddenly asked. I nodded at him and he must have heard my movements because he asked, Are you and Liam involved? What do you mean? I asked, confused. Are you and Liam mates? He clarified nervously. No, Alpha, I replied quickly. I do not want Liam as a mate, I stated clearly, and Troy relaxed. I walked over to the bed and sat on the edge of it, my throat still feeling a bit sore from yesterday. Thank you for your honesty, he said quietly. And I nodded at him again. I had all of your things from yesterday brought to your room, he added. Thank you, Alpha, for everything. I smiled softly at him and he nodded his head at me. Will you be okay here by yourself while I go check patrols? He asked me as he stood from the bed. Is there anyone who can stay? I don't want to be alone, I admitted sadly, feeling weak for asking. Do you want Terry to stay? I would ask Liam but he has patrol today and I want his help on strengthening the boundaries, Troy explained. Yes please, I said, and the Alpha stood still and quiet for a moment, most likely mind-linking Terry. He'll be here in a few minutes, the Alpha said as he walked towards the door. Wait, I shouted, grabbing his arm gently. He turned and looked in my direction expectantly. When will you be back? I asked, letting go of his arm. I really shouldn't be grabbing the Alpha like that. Probably not until after dinner, he answered. Please be careful, I whispered. I will be back, don't worry, he said with a soft smile before he left the room. Luckily I didn't have to wait long until Beta showed up. Hey Lou, Terry said with a soft smile. How are you holding up? He asked as I flopped onto the bed, hugging one of the pillows to my chest and breathing in the calming scent of the Alpha. As good as can be expected, I mumbled. Do you want to talk about it? Terry asked as he came and sat beside me. No, but I would like to know if you forgave Liam. I changed the subject. Terry chuckled. Yes, I did. I know he didn't mean to cover me in dough. That's good, I replied with a smirk. Are you and Liam together? Terry suddenly asked. No, we don't like each other like that, we're just friends, I stated firmly. Oh, so then why did you turn away all of those unmated males who wanted to meet you? Terry asked and I groaned. There's someone I like already, I blurted out, and Lilac cheered at me for admitting it out loud. Oh, Terry asked, raising an eyebrow at me. Yes, but he is such a high-ranking wolf that deserves a strong mate. Not a weak Omega, I sighed sadly. I'm flattered, but I like men, Terry chuckled teasingly. Not you, silly, I smirked back. Then who? The Gamma, he prodded. I shook my head. No. Delta, he continued, and I shook my head again. Alpha, he asked, and I froze. I opened and closed my mouth a few times, but my reaction told him what he needed to know. You like the Alpha? He teased, and I turned bright red in embarrassment. Yes, I admitted, rolling my eyes at him. Have you told him you want to be mates? Terry asked, a huge smile on his face as if he knew something I didn't. No, I don't want to be rejected again, I sniffled. He won't reject you, Terry said firmly, and I looked at him questioningly. I am gonna tell you a secret that you can't tell anyone. He stared at me and I nodded. I need you to promise, he said firmly. I promise, I asked curiously as I sat up on the bed. The Alpha wants to be your mate, Terry said, and I gasped. Why would he want someone like me? I was in shock. He is drawn to you, his wolf loves you, he adores everything you do. In fact, I have never seen him so happy. Terry sighed. But he's an alpha and I muttered. Why hasn't he said anything to me about it? I asked, if he really liked me wouldn't he ask me to be mates? He wants you to choose him of your own free will. He doesn't want to pressure you and he feels that his blindness would burden you, Terry explained. What? But I don't mind that he is blind. I still feel like he can see me, I said, and Terry chuckled. I tried to tell him that, but he's really insecure about it, Terry shrugged. So if I asked him, I said questioningly, he would say yes. You have my promise on that, Terry said confidently. I told you he likes us. Lilac purred. I really want to, but I'm still nervous. If I get rejected I don't know if I'll survive it, I said honestly. It's okay to be nervous, but once you ask him everything will fall into place. Terry placed his hand on mine to comfort me. But as an alpha he needs an heir and I'm not ready for pups anytime soon, I said nervously. You don't have to worry about that until later. I'm sure Troy will want to wait, Terry laughed. Okay, I'll ask when he is back from patrol. BT, if he rejects me and I die it's on your conscience, I warned him. And I have a condition, I started. Oh, Terry asked, seeming confused. You have to take Liam on a date, I smirked. Liam is so going to thank me for this. Terry's eyes widened. You mean, he's into men? He seemed surprised. Yes, I stated, and I could see Terry's face light up. He stuck his hand out and I shook it while chuckling. You have a deal, he smiled at me. I can't wait to have a mate. Lilac purred happily.
Chapter 14.
Troy's POV. I walked around the borders of the pack in wolf form, inspecting all of our security. I won't let that bastard sneak in and steal Lou away from me. I spoke to all the scouts, trackers, and warriors, telling them to stay sharp and keep an eye out. I fixed a couple of holes in the border walls and did a run around the whole property, not once but twice. I had to be sure that Chase was nowhere close and that Lou would be safe. Thankfully none of my pack members questioned me and they all obeyed, amping up security well. We placed a bunch of traps outside the border fence in case anyone got too close. Alpha, we can confirm there is no threat in this area, Liam said to me as he bowed. Well done, Liam. Would you like to come back to the pack house with me after I speak to the head warrior? I mind-linked him. Yes, Alpha, he replied with a bright smile. I nodded at him, then mind-linked the head of the warriors. I explained that someone may try and attack in the next month, and that they are after one of the pack members, although I didn't say who. I wanted to say the Luna, but Lou isn't mine. Not yet anyways. I'm really hoping that she'll come forward and ask me soon. It's so hard to stay away from her sweet omega scent. She'll ask us. I know she will. I can tell her wolf likes us a lot, Brax reassured me. I just hope we don't go crazy before that. It was really hard to keep my hands to myself last night, I sighed. I turned to Liam and signaled it was time to head out. I thanked all of the warriors and told them to mind-link me if they see anything out of the ordinary. I know that I am a lucky alpha to have such a great pack, and the pack could benefit from a Luna. I had looked after I recovered from Martha a bit, but no one caught my attention or seemed right for the pack. Not to mention I didn't have a lot of options because no one wanted to be with a blind alpha. I got back to the pack house around 7 and couldn't wait to go see Lou. I know Terry kept her safe, but it doesn't hurt for me to check on her. I shifted and so did Liam as he tossed me some clothes that we had left here earlier. After we were both changed, we headed up to the alpha apartment. I took the steps with ease, knowing where every creak is in the old wood. I really do rely a lot on my hearing now that I can't see. Liam followed silently behind me as we approached Lou's room. I knocked on the door but got no response, and when I opened it and it was empty, I started to panic. Where is she? I yelled at Terry through the mind link. Your room still. She didn't want to leave. I think she likes your scent, Terry responded with a chuckle, and I breathed a sigh of relief that she's okay. I went down the hall to my room and opened the door without knocking. I heard footsteps and recognized Terry's scent as he approached me. He patted my shoulder before turning to Liam behind me. Want to go make some hot chocolate? Terry asked Liam, who responded eagerly. I smiled as they made jokes with each other on their way to the kitchen. How did your patrol check go? I heard Lou's sweet voice, but she sounded nervous. Good, nothing was out of place, but I have told everyone to be alert. If Chase gets anywhere near the pack, I'll know right away, I explained, and I could hear her heartbeat calming a bit. That's good news, she chuckled shakily. I walked into the room and sat in the chair beside the bed. What did you and Terry do all day? I asked curiously. We made dinner and watched a movie, but mostly just talked, Lou replied gently. What did you talk about? I prodded. I was actually asking for advice. I could tell she was fidgeting based on all of the rustling. She was still nervous. Oh, I asked, still confused about what Terry could give advice on. Sit with me, she asked cutely, and I smirked at her. I sat beside her on the bed and breathed in her scent, Brax purring in my head. She took a deep breath before placing her little hand gently on my cheek, turning my head towards her. Then she moved her hand down to mine, brushing it over my chest on the way down, and I sucked in a breath. I want to ask you something, she started, and I nodded. You can ask me anything, I stated as she squeezed my hand a bit tighter. Just hear me out until the end before you say anything, okay? She asked nervously, biting her lower lip. I nodded at her, looking at her curiously. Ever since you found me when I stumbled on your territory, I've felt drawn to you. I was hurting because my mate rejected me, but you made me feel a bit better. Every day you have been helping me, treating me like a princess, really, she chuckled nervously. And I smiled at her. My wolf and I both like you so. She took a deep breath and I waited patiently for her to continue. I know I am only an omega, and you probably need a stronger person, but I was wondering, if you would, will you be my chosen mate? She stumbled over her words and I sat there in shock. Did she just ask to mate us? I checked with Brax to make sure I heard right. Yes, Brax yipped happily. I was not expecting that. I was shocked. She really likes us. Say something, you dummy. Brax growled at me. Are you sure? I don't want to burden you with my blindness, I asked her. I hated to do it, but I had to know that she was sure. Yes, I'm sure, she said firmly. I sat there a minute. This feels a bit selfish, to keep her restricted like this. Not being able to see will always get in the way. I use my other senses so I can generally function fine. Just kiss her already. Brax snarled at me. I raised my hand to her cheek. Please say something, she said, on the verge of tears. I brushed her cheek with my thumb before I leaned in and pressed my lips to hers. She tastes amazing, and her lips are so soft. I nibbled on her bottom lip and I could tell she was surprised, but thankfully she snapped out of it and started moving her lips against mine. I smiled into the kiss and made an audible groaning sound when she pulled away to catch her breath. Is that a yes? She asked hopefully. Yes, Lou, I smiled at her and she esqueaked, tackling me so that I was laying on my back on the bed, with her on top. I wrapped my arms around her, leaning in close and placing kisses along her neck. She moaned and squirmed a bit on top of me, the rubbing motion driving me crazy. Mark, mate. Mate is ours, Brax demanded. I have to ask first, I replied to Brax. Well, hurry up. I want mate. Brax snarled. I want to mark you, I stated. Right now? She asked, seeming surprised. Yes, I'll complete the whole mating process now if you want, I smirked at her and felt her heat up against me, most likely blushing. I'm not ready for that. After what happened, she mumbled. That's okay, Lou, but can I at least mark you? I pleaded. Please. Depends, Alpha. Can I mark you? She asked cutely. Please. Call me Troy. We're mates now, I chuckled at her and I felt her nod against me. Yes, you can mark me, I said excitedly. Will it hurt if I go over your old mark? She asked sadly. I don't want to hurt you. No, I promise I'll only enjoy it, I smiled at her, rubbing my thumb gently across her cheek. Should I go first or she started, but I cut her off by peppering her neck with kisses. She moaned and relaxed on top of me. I wrapped my arms around her and flipped us over so I was on top. She esqueaked when she was pinned beneath me, squirming against me as she grabbed my shirt in her hands. This will hurt, but only for a second and then it'll feel good. I promise, I mumbled, kissing her neck to find her sweet spot. Okay, she said breathlessly. I smiled, kissing above her collarbone. I managed to find her sweet spot in the crook of her neck on her left side. Are you sure? I asked one more time as my canines extended. I scraped them lightly against her sweet spot and felt her shiver beneath me. It can't be undone. Once I do this, you're mine forever, I explained, pausing my assault so she could answer. I'm sure, Troy, she said softly, putting her hand against my cheek. Hearing my name out of her mouth was a serious turn on. I leaned down, unable to hold off any longer as I sunk my canines into her neck, marking her as mine. She squeaked a bit at first, tensing against me, but it quickly turned to moans as she started grinding against me. I licked the wound to heal it, then peppered more kisses on her neck and cheek before pulling up to give her some breathing room. I heard her panting before she used her tiny hands to push against my chest. I took the hint and rolled onto my back. I grunted when she straddled me, grinding slightly against my crotch as she hovered over me. I could tell she was nervous, so I wrapped my arms around her and pulled her closer. She hesitantly started kissing along my neck and I made moaning and grunting noises. Then she kissed over my faded mark and I took a sharp breath. She nibbled on it a bit, making sure it was the right spot as I hardened painfully against her. I tiled my head to the side to give her more access. She brushed her canines against my neck and I gripped her tighter. Then she sunk them into my neck and I bucked against her, a small sting of pain followed by overwhelming pleasure as our souls connected. She licked at my neck, closing the wound before laying still on my chest. We were both panting messes as we lay there happily. I rubbed circles on her back and she let out a yawn. "That was amazing," she said sleepily. "Yeah," I said breathlessly. "Are you tired, Lou?" I asked and she just mumbled at me. "Sleep," I said, and she stiffened a bit. I could feel that she was anxious. "I'll be right here when you wake up," I reassured her. And she relaxed. It didn't take her long to fall asleep on my chest. I ran my fingers through her hair, inhaling out slightly entangled scent. I brushed my finger over her mark, feeling the outline of two hearts with a wolf in the middle. She shivered under my touch, moaning unconsciously. I moved my hand to my neck, rubbing my finger over the newly forming mark. It was a moon with two wolves in front of it. I smiled. "I have a mate again." I hugged Lou tighter. "I'll do whatever I can to make sure she never regrets this decision. She is going to be spoiled, even if she tries to tell me not to. I can't wait to have the Luna ceremony and introduce her to the pack." Our mate Brax purred happily and I relaxed, feeling Lou's happiness flow through the bond.
Chapter 15.
Lou's POV. I woke up and felt warm tingles flowing through me and a heavy arm draped over my waist. I slowly opened my eyes and looked around, but I couldn't see anything since my face was buried into a hard chest. I started to get confused until I remembered the events that happened before I fell asleep. I felt my cheeks heat up as I thought about how good it felt. "We have a mate," I mumbled to Lilac in disbelief. "We do, and he is so hot," Lilac purred happily as I took in Troy's scent. "You two are funny," I heard Troy in my head and I froze. "You could hear that?" I gaped at him. "Yes, now that we're mates we have a mental link," Troy chuckled as he rested his chin on the top of my head. "When do I get to meet Brax?" Lilac asked suddenly. "When do you want to meet him?" I replied. "Obviously as soon as possible." "I bet he is a black wolf, they're so sexy," Lilac yipped. "Lilac wants to meet Brax," I told Troy and I felt him stiffen. "Sorry, I had to give him a warning. I don't want to let him out and have him complete the mating process," Troy sighed. "He'll meet Lilac as long as he gets to rub his scent on her." Troy looked apologetic. I chuckled. "I think Lilac would like that," I said over the loud purring in my head. "A possessive alpha. And he's all ours," Lilac yipped and I smiled. "He's the possessive one." I chuckled at her and she huffed at me. "Do you want to go get them acquainted now?" Troy chuckled. "I don't see why not. How long have I been out for?" I sat up, stretching my arms. "That was the best sleep I have ever had." "Only a couple of hours," Troy shrugged. "Where is Liam?" I asked, remembering that I saw him walk in with the alpha after he got back from patrol. "He and Terry went out for a run. I think they're starting to become friends." Troy smiled at me knowingly. "Wait, is Terry into guys?" I looked at Troy with wide eyes. "Yeah, he is," Troy chuckled, kissing my cheek lightly as he sat up. "This is great." I jumped off the bed happily. "Oh, care to share?" Troy smirked at me as he also stood up. "Well, I'll tell you, but you can't tell anyone or I won't ever forgive you," I said seriously. He raised his hands in surrender. "I won't tell anyone, I promise." I could tell that he was holding back a laugh. "Liam has a crush on Terry," I admitted shyly. "Really?" Troy seemed genuinely surprised. "Yeah, I think they would be an amazing couple. Actually, that's why Liam started talking to me in the first place," which obviously I said yes because I realized I was rambling and stopped when I realized I was about to mention the deal Liam and I made. "Because?" Troy asked, walking slowly towards me, his muscles flexing in his arms and chest. He looked like a predator and I was the prey. "Oh, it's nothing," I shyly backed away from him. "But I want to know how you and Liam started talking," Troy said lowly. "Well," I started nervously as I backed up against the wall. Troy moved in and placed a hand on either side of my head, effectively keeping me in place. I shivered at the closeness, trying to hold back a moan from how good he smelled. "Everything about him is just irresistible." "Yes?" Troy asked as he started kissing my cheek and slowly making his way down to my neck. I squeaked, shaking a bit from how good it felt. "We made a deal." I sighed. "What kind of deal?" He raised an eyebrow at me, continuing his assault on my neck. I moaned and grinded myself against him, earning a growl. We agreed to help each other convince Terry and you to be our chosen mates. He paused the assault on my neck, leaving me breathless as he looked directly at me. I know he couldn't see me, but it really felt like he could. Well, isn't my mate sneaky? He smiled at me and I melted at the fact that he called me his mate. Maybe I should punish you for this plan you had instead of just telling me you liked me sooner, he said teasingly. What? I gulped. In the past, punishments had never been good. I've only been his mate a few hours. Is he going to hurt me? I started panicking, taking shallow breaths as I felt tears threaten to fall. He looked at me as if someone had just died. I am so sorry. I didn't mean anything in a bad way. I would never hurt you, said sadly as he hung his head a bit. I didn't mean it as. He sighed as he pulled me into a hug. I resisted a bit at first until I managed to calm down a bit. I'm sorry. At my old pack they just punishment never meant anything good, I said weakly. I shouldn't have worded it like that. I'm sorry, he said again. It's okay. Let's just head outside. I pleaded, hoping he wouldn't ask questions. Thankfully he nodded, lacing his fingers with mine as we walked down the hall. Anyone we passed looked shocked and bowed respectfully to us. We made our way through to the kitchen and heard Terry and Liam laughing their heads off. When they heard us come in, Liam looked at me with wide eyes, so did Terry. You too? He looked back and forth between us as my face turned bright red. Oh my gosh, Liam said as he jumped up and ran to give me a hug, but before he could wrap his arms around me, Troy growled at him and he stopped. Troy, it's Liam. He's allowed to hug me. I rolled my eyes at him as he rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. Sorry, he grunted as he released my hand and Liam wrapped me in a hug. Brax and I are just on edge since we haven't completed the process yet, he admitted, and my face turned even more red. You are so lucky, Liam whispered to me and I nodded. So when should I plan the Luna ceremony? Terry asked with a smirk and Troy looked in his direction before turning to me. Whenever Lou is ready. But hopefully very soon, Troy smiled at me. Maybe next week. I squeaked nervously. Sure, Liam, will you help me plan it? Terry asked, tilting his head, and Liam blushed a bit. I would love to, Liam smiled. Now if you'll excuse us, we are going for a run, Troy said with a smile, as he grabbed my hand again and led me gently outside. I smiled back at him as we went into the trees. He started to strip and I quickly turned around. He chuckled at me. You're allowed to look, you know, we are mates after all. Was all I said before he spoke again. You can put your clothes with mine once you take them off, Troy smirked knowingly. I can't just, I started to protest, but Troy cut me off. He came up from behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist, his very naked body pressing against mine as I felt his arousal. Why, I can't see anything, although I really wish I could. I know you're beautiful, Troy said, and I blushed. Okay, I gave in and he stepped back, allowing me to take my clothes off. I set them with his and heard some cracking, assuming he was shifting. I turned around and found I was right. There was a very large, gorgeous black wolf standing in front of me. Wow, Brax, you look amazing, I smiled as the wolf carefully approached me. I let Lilac have control and she shifted into our much smaller, white wolf. The process wasn't painful anymore and I enjoyed feeling Lilac be so happy. She yipped playfully, running around Brax, who was sniffing her intently. Then Brax started brushing his fur against ours, clearly scenting us. Lilac purred and rubbed back against him with equal affection before Brax nipped playfully at her ear. She took off running, Brax hot on our trail as we followed some sort of dirt path. I kept running before I heard a panicked Troy yell in my mind. Stop. There's someone close by, he warned. I stopped. I was a fair distance ahead, so I started running back to him and froze when he was surrounded. Troy, I shouted through the link. Go back to the pack house. He growled as the wolves started to attack him. I couldn't just leave him. What if he gets hurt? Unfortunately, my worst fears came true as one of the wolves bit his front leg and Troy let out a growl. Troy was strong. He took down at least a dozen wolves before they overpowered him. I watched as one of the wolves shifted and I hid when I noticed it was Chase. What is he doing here? I asked Lilac. Where is she? Chase growled as Troy squirmed. He wants us, Lilac said in shock. We have to do something. They're hurting him, I pleaded. He told us to go back to the pack, Lilac whined in my head. I watched in horror as Chase approached. Brax looked in his direction as Chase reached down and grabbed his throat, slowly squeezing the life from him as I felt the pain through the mate bond. I shifted back, not caring that I was naked as I ran forward. No, stop, please. It's me you want, I begged. Lou, good to see you again, Chase said with a sick smile, his hand still on Troy's throat. Let him go, I screamed. Oh, you care for this alpha then? He asked teasingly. Yes, please don't kill him, I said softly, and Brax growled at me. And what do I get if I don't? He asked smugly. What are you willing to give up for him? He said, eyeing my neck knowingly. I'll go with you, but you have to promise not to hurt or kill him. And you can't attack this pack, I said firmly. Very well. I'll agree to your terms, Chase said as he released Troynek. I heard Brax panting as he fell to the ground, looking at me pleadingly. All right then, let's go, Chase said, holding his arm out to me. I walked sadly towards him and Brax growled angrily. I'm sorry. I can't lose you, I said, tears falling down my cheeks. Don't do this, please. I can't lose you either, I heard Troy say in my head, feeling his pain through the bond. I can't let them kill you, I replied. There has to be another way. If you just stall them a few minutes longer, backup will be here, he pleaded. I'll try, I said nervously. Why are you here? You rejected me, I spat at Chase. You're my mate and I realize that you can pop out my pups faster than anyone else. Not to mention more of them, he chuckled, and Troy snapped at him. We are not mates, I said firmly. Well, you aren't his mate either. I can smell that you haven't completed the bond. A mark can be easily removed, Chase explained. I gasped, crying harder now. Don't worry, you'll be looked after, he chuckled. It will feel good, he said as he put his hand on my arm. I cringed and stepped back. Never, I growled. I will never get pleasure from you. Don't forget about your lover boy, Chase smirked, pointing at Troy who was still pinned down, shaking with rage. I'll kill that bastard. I heard Troy yell in my head. Then a loud howl sounded nearby, signaling the warriors. Best get going then, Lou, Chase said as he went to grab me.
Chapter 16.
Troy's POV. I felt like a total failure. My mate was being stolen right in front of me and I was pressed to the ground with my face in the dirt. Granted, it took at least 6 of them to hold me down based on the amount of hands I felt on me. Brax was snarling and biting at them as I heard the retreating footsteps of my mate. I can't lose a mate. Not again. I tried as hard as I could to shake them off, but I was stuck. After what felt like forever, they started releasing me one by one and I felt myself being able to get up. I clawed and bit at everyone close to me. They all managed to dodge me except for the last one. I bit hard into his arm, the metallic taste filling my mouth. I kept shaking, rage taking over as I heard them trying to run from me. Unfortunately, with my wounded leg, I wasn't fast enough to stop them. I let out a loud, pained howl and waited for backup, which should have been here a lot sooner. I was such a fool to take Lou out for a run when there was someone after her. Granted, I thought he rejected her so she wasn't being searched for. I heard someone approaching and snapped in their direction before I heard Terry shout in my head, "It's us. Stop attacking." I stopped my assault and shifted back painfully, feeling the blood run down my leg. They took her, I growled. Who? Terry asked as I felt his hand pressing on my leg, causing me to wince. Lou. They took her. Chase and his pack, I explained angrily. What? Liam snarled. What did he even want with her? He rejected her, he said. He wants her to produce pups. I barely got the words out, shaking angrily. It's not your fault she's gone. From the looks of it, you took down about 14 of their warriors. We know you tried to protect her, Terry said calmly, knowing me better than anyone. We have to get her back. I can't lose another mate. I can't, I said softly. I know. Now let's get your leg looked at and then we can go get her, Terry responded as he helped me up. What took the warriors so long? I growled. We were having a patrol meeting on the other side of the border to go over defense plans. We didn't think there would be a risk this close to the pack house, Terry sighed. You should know better than to leave any area of the pack undefended after what happened years ago, I growled. Sorry, Alpha, it won't happen again, Terry said firmly, and I sighed. We walked back to the pack house, Brax growling at me. She isn't even fully ours yet. We don't have much time before he lays hands on what's ours, he kept repeating. I know. He'll try to erase our mark. We have to get to her fast, I agreed. We don't have much time. He'll erase my mark and put his own on her to trap her with him. If we don't get there in time, I said as we reached the hospital. We will. Your wound should be healed by tomorrow and then we can go, Terry started. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. Just patch me up and then we'll go, I yelled. You're no good to her if you're dead. And you can't fight with that injury, Terry shouted back. I know he's right, but I can't stop thinking about Chase attacking our mate, taking her by force. I can't wait. I'll go crazy, I growled. You have to. It's just for the night and then your leg will be better, Terry argued. At least send some warriors to keep an eye on her. I sighed. All right, Liam and I will go with a group and keep an eye on her until you can get there. Don't worry, we won't let him take your mark, Terry said firmly. All right, but as soon as my leg is better I'm going after her, and if anything happens to her, I threatened. Let's go. I heard Liam shout and the shuffling of multiple footsteps. I felt someone looking after the wound on my leg, probably the pack doctor. How long? I asked him. Overnight, probably about 10 hours, maybe 12, the doctor replied knowingly. The beta will look after our Luna, he added as I felt him stitching up the wound. It felt good to hear him refer to Lou as the Luna. I hobbled back to the pack house and up to my room, wincing at the pressure I was putting on my leg. I didn't realize that I was still naked until I got to my room. Werewolves aren't generally shy about nakedness, so no one would care I wasn't wearing anything. I made my way to the closet and pulled out a pair of shorts and a basic t-shirt before flopping on the bed. Mate Brax whined in my head. I know, we'll get her back. The only reason she went with him was to protect us, I sighed. She doesn't even have our scent fully. We should have finished the process, Brax grumbled. You know we can't force her. She'll hate us forever if we do that, I replied firmly. Fine, Brax growled before he curled up in the back of my mind. I tried to sleep. Really I did. But all I could think about was Lou. I was too worried and stressed to get any rest, and although Terry and Liam were there I knew they couldn't stop the other pack without me. After what seemed like forever, my leg finally felt good enough to walk on. I put some clothes into a bag and shifted, giving Brax control. He picked the bag of clothes up with his snout and flung it around our neck before bolting from the room. I followed the stench of chase and some blood all the way to the other pack. I knew the land pretty well and did my best to sneak in the side way. I crouched low when I heard someone else coming, but relaxed when I smelled Liam. Alpha, Chase has her on the top floor. We heard some screaming and swearing, but we haven't seen him try anything sexual yet. He filled me in. Thank you for the update, Liam. I still feel our bond, so I know he hasn't removed my mark yet, but I have felt pain from her, I admitted. On the way here I had felt several different kinds of pain, everything from a stinging in my face to pain in my heart. I knew he was doing something to her, and now that I was closer maybe our mind link would work again. Lou, I reached out hesitantly. Troy, I heard a weak response. Are you okay? What has he done? I asked quickly. She started to say, but the link was suddenly cut off, meaning she had gone unconscious. We have to get in there now. I growled lowly at Liam. This way, Alpha, he replied, leading me over to Terry and the other warriors. What is the best way in? We need to go in now. She's unconscious, I mind-linked Terry, and his wolf growled slightly. There is some sort of servant entrance in the back by the cellar. If we go in there we should be able to get through most of the house without being noticed, Terry explained. Lead the way, I replied and followed the sound of their paws. I will get you back, Lou. I'm coming for you, and Chase will pay for what he did.
Chapter 17.
Lou's POV. I walked away with Chase, trying to ignore the pained howl of Troy as I was forcefully dragged away. Lilac growled angrily in my mind, feeling nothing but rage as she scolded me for leaving Troy. I kept explaining that we had no choice, that Troy would have been killed if we stayed. Eventually she saw how worried I was and agreed to disagree, but insisted that we fight as much as we could. I told her I would try, but as an Omega there was a very slim chance that we could outrun or overpower all the wolves with us. We could try to hide somewhere, Lilac suggested. They would smell us. I replied, it's worth a try, we can't let them take away our mate Mark. Troy would never recover and I'm not sure that we could handle losing him either, Lilac whined. Okay, I'll say we have to use the restroom and then we'll run and hide from there, I decided. Okay, but be quick, I can already sense we're at the edge of the pack territory, Lilac warned, and I silently nodded. Alpha, I have to go to the restroom, I stated politely. You can hold it, we won't be much longer, he grumbled. Please, Alpha, I begged. Fine, but if you try anything you'll be sorry, he warned, and I nodded. I walked off to go behind one of the bushes when one of the other wolves grabbed me. It's fine, let her go, Chase sighed. But Alpha, we aren't far enough from the pack yet, I heard the wolf argue as I walked away. I was careful not to run until I knew they were distracted. When I saw the opportunity I ran as fast as I could towards the edge of a river. I quickly smeared myself in mud to mask my scent and bolted to a waterfall that was downstream. I climbed in behind it, hoping the water would block my scent. Come out now or your punishment will be way worse, I heard Chase yell loudly. I kept as still as I could, praying that I had hid myself well enough, but to my dismay I felt myself being yanked by my hair out of the waterfall. I shrieked in pain as Chase threw me to the ground. I landed with a hard thud and whimpered, realizing that I was once again trapped. Alpha, there's a building nearby, it looks secure, like it would be a good hiding place, one of the other wolves shouted. The alpha grabbed my arm roughly, yanking me up as he dragged me up the slight slope I had run down. There was a large building in front of us, but for some reason I couldn't recognize it. I was glad that it wasn't too far from Troy's pack because it meant he could rescue me sooner. That place is too obvious, but if we play it right maybe we could lure Troy here and plan an ambush, Chase said thoughtfully. Alpha, there's some scouts following us, one of the wolves whispered. Chase growled loudly and pulled me up as we made a dash for the building. I was shoved past a bunch of other wolves, who looked to be servants. Chase took me to a strange room and pushed me to the floor. Leave us. We have to start the process, he said to the others with a sickly smile. What about Troy? One of them asked. He was wounded and an injury like that will take a few hours to heal. I have some time to play, Chase chuckled darkly. Yes, Alpha, they said as they scrambled from the room. You rejected me. Why can't you just leave me alone and let me be happy? I asked sadly. He took slow steps towards me as I backed against the wall. Because you and I are soulmates, I can't just let that go. Besides, we'll make such beautiful pups together, he purred, and I felt bile rise in my throat. I don't want to have pups with you, I spat. That statement was followed by a sharp slap across my cheek. Well, you will. And with the way your heat is, I'm sure you'll be begging me for it, Chase mocked. The only one I would ever beg to make a pup with is my chosen mate, Troy, I hissed. Well then, we'll see if I can change your mind once that mark is removed and mine is there instead, Chase said as he approached me. Before I knew what I was doing, I kicked Chase as hard as I could, making a mad dash for the door only to find it locked. My heart sank as Chase's heavy footsteps came up behind me. He yanked my head to the side and licked the skin on my neck where Troy's mark was, causing a painful feeling to tear through my body. Lilac, you have to block Troy out. I can't let him feel this. I don't want to hurt him, I pleaded. I will. But only temporarily, Lilac sighed before I felt a wall build in my mind. Get off me, I screamed as I kicked backwards. Unfortunately, I was easily overpowered and Chase slammed me into the door face first. Why do you fight it? You know we had a bond once and we can have it back, Chase purred in my ear. I don't want it back. I want Troy, I shouted. I heard Chase curse loudly behind me before he ranted. Why did you even pick someone like him? He's blind, Chase growled. He sees me more than you ever have. I spat out. You'll change your mind after we mate. Then you won't want anyone but me. I'll make sure of it. He snarled angrily, his hand roaming down to squeeze my butt. I'm not even in heat. You know I can't have pups right now, I defended. Practice makes perfect, he chuckled smugly as he spun me around. I fought as hard as I could, kicking and screaming. Then Chase slammed my head back against the door and my vision started to feel fuzzy as I got lightheaded. I heard Troy's voice in my head and desperately reached out. Troy, I think, he replied. He wanted to know what was happening, I think. But before I could say anything else, Chase slapped me across my face again and I fell to the floor, darkness taking over as I prayed he didn't take me while I was unconscious.
Chapter 18.
Chase's POV. Darn it all. I wasn't trying to knock her out, I want her to be awake to see her struggle. I know I reacted a bit harshly by rejecting her, but how had she moved on so quickly? It's like the bond disappeared for her instantly, while I still had bits and pieces of it. I scowled at her naked form as she lay collapsed against the door. Why did the moon goddess do this to me? She granted me with such a weak mate. I guess she did it so I can have a bunch of pups. But now with that blind alpha, Troy, in the way, I'm not sure how to get pups out of her. I can use Troy as leverage, like I did before, because I know she is desperate to save him. But unless I captured Troy and threatened him repeatedly, she won't cooperate. I sat on the floor, head in my hands. I would capture Troy, but there was no way with how he fought off my warriors. He took down 14 of my best fighters and he can't even see. I feel completely humiliated. So the only other option is to kill Troy. The easiest way to kill him would be to remove his mate Mark from Lou. The pain of their souls separating should be enough to put him in a coma, and when he is weak I can send someone to kill him. Or the pain would kill him outright, which would be even better. I know that it will hurt him more than usual because he used to have a mate. I don't know her name, but I heard stories of a battle in this pack where the alpha went blind after losing his mate. A part of me wants to feel bad for Troy, but after he stole my mate and refused to let me see her, I wish him nothing but death. I crawled towards Lou and touched her face. Even in her state she managed to tilt her head away from me. It would be easy to take her while she is not awake to fight back. But my wolf enjoys the chase and the fight in her. She never stood up to us before, but now that she has a chosen mate she is fighting a lot harder. and I find that sexy. I'll take her mark now, and then when she is awake I'll give her my mark. That should slow Troy down and give me a chance to escape, plus it's a step closer to making her mine. I snickered to myself as I leaned in and brushed my nose against her neck, smelling that cursed alpha on her. I grazed my teeth against it and heard her whimper as I prepared to remove his mark. She would have to be bitten twice, once to remove the mark and once to make her mine. I was just about to do it when I got a mind link from my beta that Alpha is here with some warriors. They're breaching the building. We have to get out now, he warned. I cursed as I scooped Lou into my arms and opened the door, making a mad dash for the exit. Thankfully they were all at the back end of the house where my warriors are holding them off. I kept bolting through the trees towards my pack territory. Just a bit further and I would be there. I could easily keep them out since I knew my land and had defenses put in place. I was almost there when I heard a loud growl from behind me. That cursed alpha was right on my tail. I knew I couldn't outrun him and I probably wouldn't be able to beat him in a fight based on what I have seen and heard. So I did the one thing I could think of. Stop, or I'll kill her. I turned around with the unconscious Lou in my arms and held my hand just above her neck. I watched as the wolf stopped in its tracks. It took him a moment to shift as his clouded blue eyes stared at me. Give her back, he growled. No way. I need her to strengthen my pack, and the moon goddess fated us together. It would only be right for me to mate her. I smirked as the alpha took a step towards me. I pressed a claw to her throat as a warning and he stopped again. You rejected her. You can't just take her back after that. The alpha spit out. Well, I am, and whether she likes it or not she will be my mate, I growled back. Why don't you just choose someone else? He asked angrily. You know omegas are hard to find. It's not like I'll just run into one, I said sarcastically. What you're doing is against the wolf laws. I could go to the council about this, Troy threatened. Those laws only protect wolves who imprint on each other, not mate disputes, I deflected. We'll see what they have to say. He stood his ground. If you go to them I will kill her, I growled menacingly. We both know you won't kill her because she needs to be alive to produce pups, he stated factually. Care to test me? I said as I drew a bit of blood from her neck to prove my point. Please, just give her back, he sighed. Why should I? I glared at him. She chose me. We were happy, he said sadly. Happiness is just an illusion, I said before I sunk my teeth over Lou's mate mark. The action caused a chain of events that I mostly expected. Lou woke up, screaming in pain as her mark was removed. She thrashed about in my arms and her body shook violently as their souls were being separated. I removed my teeth from her neck, not bothering to close the wound as blood dripped down onto the ground. Lou had started crying now as she glanced over at her chosen mate. He had fallen onto his knees, clutching his chest tightly. Tears rolled down his cheeks and he was also shaking when Lou spoke to him. Troy, I am so sorry. Please forgive me, Troy. I don't want him, I want you. I'll always want you. She yelled and his gaze snapped in her direction. Please don't let him take me, she begged as she elbowed and kicked me, trying to escape from my grip. Come along, mate, I purred into her and she kept fighting me. Please just let me go to him. Let me help him, she screamed, but I kept her in a vice grip. A couple of men came over to the alpha, who had fallen onto his back. Each of them grabbed one of his hands and started saying things to him. With the alpha down and the warriors distracted, I ran away with my prize. And with how weak the alpha looked, I strongly suspect that this will kill him. I smiled from ear to ear. Now to start on some pups.
Chapter 19.
Troy's POV. I collapsed on my back, feeling the last of the mate bond severing. It was the same pain I felt 3 years ago when Martha was killed in front of me. My breathing came out in pants as I felt Liam and Terry come up to me, each of them grabbing one of my hands. Troy, you have to get up, Terry said shakily. Alpha, please. We need to go get Lou back, Liam pleaded. I struggled to breathe as they watched me with sad expressions. They may have taken her mark, but he didn't leave his own mark on her. There is still time if we hurry, Terry explained. It all hurts, I cried as I clutched their hands tightly. I know, but the pack needs you. We need you, Terry said. Lou needs you now more than ever. You can't give up on her, Liam growled. I looked up at the sky blankly, thinking of Lou. Even though I couldn't see, I imagined her. Her laugh, her smile, the way she might look. Memories of our short time together played in my mind. We had only known each other a few weeks, but she had already become so important to me. She didn't care about my blindness. She still wanted me. Even with my past and a previous mate, she overlooked it all and chose to be with me. I prayed to the moon goddess to protect her. and that she would be safe, but as usual I got no reply. Please, we have to go now, Liam begged. It was nice that she had such good and loyal friends. I forced myself to sit up, my body feeling like it had been hit by a truck. I'm sorry, Lou, I mumbled sadly. Liam and Terry helped me stand up, and many of the warriors had already run ahead to try and free their Luna. I don't know if I have the strength to fight them, I admitted weakly. You have to fight them. For her, Terry said sternly. You need to snap out of this. She isn't dead, at least not yet. This isn't the same as with Martha. You still have a chance here, he yelled. As usual, Terry always knows what to say to get me back to normal. I shook my head, trying to get the cloudy feeling out of my mind. Go get mate. Mate is ours. Brax screamed at me. Fight. I'll need your strength for this, Brax, I replied. We can do this together. Brax encouraged me. The first few steps I took were shaky, but then I started to run. I ran as fast as I could, Liam and Terry beside me as I jumped up, shifting into Brax midair before landing on my paws. I let out a howl, alerting my pack that I was coming. Now that the sadness had mostly passed, the rage started to seep in. White, hot rage stronger than I had ever felt. I'm coming, Lou. I thought to myself as I prayed that he hadn't hurt her too badly yet. We ran until we reached Chase's pack territory. There were no wolves out on the street, so I assumed that Chase is back and has ordered everyone to stay inside. We made our way to what looked like the pack house, assuming he would be there. We busted the door in and started searching the house. They were here because I could smell Lou's sweet scent, but it was faint, meaning they hadn't stayed long. I sniffed around and found that her scent was strongest at a door. I opened it and went down, sniffing around carefully. The room felt cold and damp, probably a basement of some sort. I felt around with my paws, feeling an old battered-up pillow. I froze as I realized that this was her room. There were pillows. Lou's voice echoed inside my head. I kept feeling around and found nothing else but some rags. I perked my ears up at the sound of other wolves and growled. It's just Liam and I. The house is empty, Terry said in my mind. This is where they kept her. She lived here, I told them, and they both growled. This isn't an acceptable room. It's so cold and damp down here and completely empty except for a pillow and some rag that she probably used as a blanket. Liam raged. Where do you think they went? Terry asked calmly. I don't know. Maybe a neighboring pack or an ally they have took them in. I questioned as I sniffed, inhaling Lou's scent to calm myself so I could think clearly. I'll go back and get a list of the neighboring packs and any allies that might be helping them, Terry explained. We need your help to search though, Liam whined. I can go back, he added. No, I know where everything is so I can be back faster. You two keep looking. They couldn't have gotten far, Terry said sternly before walking back up the stairs. Let's go, I said as Liam followed me out of the room. I kept following Lou's scent, trying to pick it up again throughout the pack grounds. Alpha, we found one of the pack members who claims they saw the Alpha. A warrior mind linked me and I felt some hope. I ran quickly, following their directions and scent. Where did they go? I growled after having just shifted into my human form. There is a rogue camp nearby up in the mountains. It's heavily guarded and hard to break into, but I am sure that is where the Alpha is headed, a strange voice explained. He is working with the rogues. I asked angrily. I don't know. The camp is said to be abandoned, but there could be rogues still living there, the voice thought out loud. Why are you helping us? I asked, not sure if I could trust the strange wolf. I don't like the way Alpha runs this pack. I have been wanting to leave for a while now, but had nowhere to go, they said sadly. If this information is right and you helped save my mate and Luna of the Evergreen Pack, you are free to join, I stated confidently. But if your information is a lie or a trick, you will pay with your life, I growled and smelled the fear come off of the strange wolf. I swear on my life that I am not lying to you, Alpha, the wolf said as it rustled around, most likely bowing. I was unaware that she was your Luna, or I would have tried harder to stop them. I am sorry, Alpha, they added. You'll be kept in a room back at my pack until this information is checked. Don't think about escaping. Things could still go well for you if you're telling the truth, and I don't hurt innocent people, I said calmly yet threateningly. Yes, Alpha, the strange wolf said quietly. And I nodded in the direction where I smelled a couple of my warriors to take the wolf back to the pack house. Where are all of your fellow pack members? I questioned as they were taking the wolf away. The Alpha came through like a madman. He said if any of us came out onto the streets we would be in danger. He told us all to stay inside, even the warriors, except for the beta and the ones he took with him. The wolf answered, and I nodded to the warriors to take the wolf away. Alpha, I will keep searching the pack lands with a few warriors if you want to go check out the information. Liam asked hesitantly. Agreed. I will take the majority of the warriors and head up the mountain. Liam and a few others will stay behind to search here and wait for Beta Terrence. Once the Beta has returned and you are sure she is not here, head back to the pack for protection. There are only a few warriors back home and I don't want to leave the pack undefended, I ordered. And a bunch of people responded with yes, Alpha, before proceeding to follow my orders. The doors are all locked, Alpha, Liam shouted during the search. No one will come out and they won't talk to us. This is a waste of time, one of the warriors complained. Keep looking. There may be more clues here, I ordered. I really hope that this strange wolf is telling the truth and not leading me into a trap. But what other choice do I have? I'm coming for you, Lou.
Chapter 20.
Lou's POV. My neck still burned as Chase forcefully held me to his chest. He was carrying me so that I wouldn't run away. And there were only 3 or 4 guards following us. We had stopped at the pack house briefly for Chase to collect some supplies, and I tried my best to rub my scent so that Troy would be able to know that I had been there. I wasn't sure if he was still alive or if he was coming for me now that the mind link and bond between us had been severed. Out of all the punishments and everything I had been through, nothing hurt as much as my bond with Troy being taken from me. Lilac had only spoken to me briefly after it happened to let me know that she felt Brax was still alive. But she was so weak that she could not maintain a conversation with me, and had fallen asleep in the back of my mind. I kept asking the moon goddess to explain what happened, why I had to go through all this, but she was silent as usual. So I shifted my prayers to Troy, hoping she could numb his pain a bit and help him. I don't know if I would be able to live with myself if I found out that severing our bond had killed him, and he has already lost a mate. Usually when mates are lost, the remaining wolf dies of sadness. Troy was strong though. He survived it, but there was no way he could survive it a second time. The only reason he was still alive was probably because we had not fully mated. If we were, I am sure that he wouldn't have made it. I felt tears stream down my cheeks as I thought about how I had last seen Troy. The pain on his face as he clutched his chest. The way he fell onto his knees. I never wanted to see him in that much pain ever again. I would take all the pain from him if I could, even though it was painful for me as well. You promised you wouldn't hurt him. I screamed at Chase and punched at his chest. That was me being merciful, Chase growled. You should be thanking me. That was not mercy, I yelled back. It was because if I had left that mark on you, he would have felt everything you felt. He would have felt pain every time I mate with you and touch you. I was saving him the pain to fulfill my promise to you, you ungrateful brat, he scowled. I was quiet for a bit after that, thinking over his words. It's true that Troy would have felt everything. It would have hurt him. I didn't want the bond severed or the mark removed. But maybe it was better this way. I sighed in defeat as Chase smiled down at me. Suddenly I got an idea. I pressed a claw to my wrist and made a large slit. Not enough to kill me, but enough to drip onto the ground below and leave a trail for Troy. That way he would smell it and be able to follow us. Sadly, Chase smelled the blood, which I had not thought about, and growled at me. Why are you bleeding? He asked. It must be from when you attacked me earlier. You jostled me too much and broke the scab open. I snarled back, hoping he would believe me. For a split second I thought I saw guilt in his eyes, but then they hardened again as he slapped my cheek. Don't talk to me like that. I am an alpha and you will submit to me, he said. I whimpered as I felt his alpha command being used on me. I had no choice but to stay still in his arms as he carried me into what seemed like the mountains. I let the blood continue to drip from my wrist, and anytime the cut would heal I would slice it open again. The small sting of pain was nothing compared to the pain I felt when losing Troy. After what seemed like forever, Chase took us into a small wooden shack and threw me on the bed, crawling on top of me. I would say I'll be gentle, but with how much you're fighting me I probably won't be. He smiled at me and I wanted to puke. Now be a good little Omega and let me do what I need to, he added as his hand ran down to grope my breast. Stop, you monster, I screamed at the top of my lungs. He clapped a hand over my mouth to silence me. Now, there is no need to be this feisty with me. Perhaps marking you will calm you down, he threatened, and I laid still. Now that's better. Stay like this and be a good little wolf and I won't place my mark on you, he said happily. I glared at him but did as he said. I would not let him mark me, if it is the last thing I do. His hands started roaming my body, grabbing at me greedily. I said a silent prayer to the moon goddess to stop this, but again she was silent. A while later, I laid on the bed feeling numb and violated. I felt like I was betraying Troy every time Chase laid his filthy paws on me. As I said to him before, I got no pleasure from it at all, only pain and blood. The only reason I had managed to stay awake through it all was by closing my eyes and imagining that I was somewhere else. I wish that it had been Troy for my first time. I wish that I was in his arms, cuddling with him after some sweet lovemaking, not this nightmare. My head was pounding and I constantly felt sick after everything that had happened. Sadly, Troy wasn't able to save me before this, and I knew that he would probably blame himself. The only blessing was that since the bond was severed, Troy didn't have to feel the pain. I whimpered as Lilac finally reappeared. "This is not our fault," she cooed. "Troy will still want us. He is kind and his wolf is the most gentle alpha I have ever met. He will come for us and he will save us from this," she said to try and cheer me up. "But I am so violated, so tainted. What if he doesn't want me back?" I cried to her. "He will. I can sense that his wolf is still looking for us," Lilac purred. "You better eat, we have to get moving soon." Although I am glad we had time for a break, Chase wiggled his eyebrows at me suggestively as he sent a bowl of cereal beside the bed. "You were such a good little wolf," he praised. "I hate you," I growled, refusing to eat the food in case it was drugged. "It's not poisoned, and if you want to live you need to eat," Chase growled back. He had been very rough with me, but he made sure when he penetrated that it was slower. I guess he doesn't want any damage to the pup-making part of me. "We need our strength to fight him. Please eat," Lilac begged. "For you I will." I complied as I picked up the cereal and started eating, a huge grin forming on Chase's face. I felt sick again, but forced myself to keep eating. What I wouldn't do for a bath right now to wash his disgusting smell off of me.
Chapter 21.
Troy's POV. I went with the warriors up towards the mountains and was about halfway up when I smelled Lou. I sniffed around the ground until I realized that it was her blood that I was smelling. "Terry, Liam," I called and they came running over. "Is that?" Liam asked sadly. "Yes, it's Lou's," I sighed. "It looks like the drips leave a trail. We could use this to find her," Terry replied. "What if she is badly hurt?" I whimpered. "Or she did this on purpose to help us find her," Liam said, and I gazed in his direction. "She might be trying to leave us clues," he explained. "That could be ... It's a pretty neat trail and there are no huge amounts of blood." "I think Liam is right," Terry agreed, and I felt pride that my mate was so clever. "She can't keep it up forever. The blood loss will make her weak. We have to follow the trail quickly," I ordered. I lead the way, sniffing the trail that would hopefully lead to Lou. "Mate is smart. And she is still alive, I can sense her," Wolf Brack said hopefully. The trail eventually led us to a small building of some sort. It smelled like wood mixed with Lou's blood. I was the first one in and all I could smell was blood and her scent mixed with the alphas. I froze. "Does this mean he mated her?" "Terry," I shouted through the mind link as I smelled him enter with Liam. "Oh God," Liam said through a cracked voice. "What do you see?" I asked Terry. "There's blood on the floor, but most of it is on the bed. The blankets are thrown on the floor and there is a dirty bowl beside the bed. It looks like Lou was here and that she was fed something," Terry explained. "So you smell the mixing of their scents too?" I asked desperately. "Yes," Terry answered honestly, and my heart broke as I rested my hand against the wall to steady myself. I was too late. I couldn't stop him from. "She must be so scared." "This is all my fault," I said through a cracked voice, willing myself not to cry. "None of this is your fault," Terry said as he placed a hand on my shoulder. "She is strong, she'll get through this as long as you stand by her," he said sadly. "I won't ever leave her. I know it's not her fault that this happened. I hope she isn't blaming herself," I said worriedly. "I will always want her. Mark or no mark, she is my mate," I said as I pushed myself off the wall. "We should keep moving," Liam said sadly as I nodded at him. I could tell that he cared for Lou a lot, and if he was interested in women I would be worried he had a crush on her. We walked out of the shack and picked up the blood trail again when I remembered the strange wolf that helped us was at my pack house. The information was right. "See that the new wolf gets set up in our pack," I mind-linked one of my warriors. "Yes, Alpha," he replied as I focused back on the blood trail. "It looks like it leads through this valley and back down the mountain," Terry informed me. "Do you see them?" I asked. "No," he replied sadly. I nodded as we continued our pursuit. Every so often we would find Lou's scent brushed on some trees or large rocks as we made our way down the mountain. It gave me hope that she was still alive and that she was still leaving clues for us. We followed the trail as fast as possible when it began to get dark. I think we're close, I told Liam and Terry as we approached a small clearing at the bottom of the mountain. It's some sort of building and the lights are on, Terry said happily. Brax is going crazy, they must be in there, I told them, and Liam's wolf yipped happily in my mind. Surround that building, we believe that the Luna is inside. The goal is to get her out safely and take Chase into custody. But if he has to be killed, that is fine too. I mind-linked the warriors and heard some light rustling. In position, Alpha, I heard one of them respond after a few minutes. Terry, take the back of the building and Liam and I will go in the front, I ordered, and they started to move. I followed Liam's scent and the smell of Lou got stronger as we got closer. When I tapped Liam's shoulder, I shouted now, through the mind link, and the warriors approached from all sides as we burst through the door. I followed Lou's scent when Liam's arm stretched in front of me. There is trip wire about inches off the ground, he explained, and I nodded. I stepped carefully over the wire and walked towards Lou. The smell of blood flooded my nostrils as I reached my hands out. Any sign of Chase? I asked. No, he must have left to get food or something, Terry replied. The house is rigged, everyone be careful. And watch for traps, I warned everyone through the mind link as I shifted back to my human form. Liam, what do you see? I asked. Alpha, Liam hesitated, his words coming out in choked sobs. What do you see? I yelled. Troy, there is a large gash on Lou's head that is bleeding a lot. She seems to have hit it hard on something or been attacked. She is unconscious, but with the blood loss she might not make it if she doesn't receive medical care soon, Liam explained. She is naked and her body is pretty beat up. She seems pale, but she is alive. We have to get her back to the pack doctor as soon as possible. He added, but I could tell he was leaving something out. And? I asked. It looks like he had just mated with her before he left, but there is no mark, he said hesitantly as I growled angrily. We have to go. Now, I yelled loud enough for everyone to hear as I gently picked Lou up. She seemed even lighter than I remember. I would check her body for injuries later, for now we just have to get her back. Terry, Liam, stay here in case Chase comes back. Capture if possible, if not kill him. If you are outnumbered then retreat, I ordered. Also help me strap Lou to my back after I shift. I'll be faster in wolf form, I added before I set Lou down carefully and shifted. I felt them set Lou on my back, hardly weighing anything as some straps went tightly around my stomach. Okay, go, and try not to shake her too much. I have her head secured, but any sudden movement could cause more damage, Terry said. And I bolted as soon as he was done talking. I followed the blood trail back to the enemy pack and then was able to find the rest of the way there myself. Even though I had not slept in days, I pushed myself hard until I got to the hospital. I need a doctor now. I growled through the mind link and heard footsteps approach as soon as I entered the building. I felt them unstrapping Lou, and once she was off the doctor said, prepare the operating room. We have to get to this head injury. Then I heard retreating footsteps. I shifted and someone handed me a pair of clothes as I slipped them on. I made my way to one of the chairs and fell into it, feeling exhausted. I prayed to the moon goddess, begging her not to take Lou from me as I waited for news. Before Lou was found, Chase's POV. I buckled up my pants and sighed as I looked over Lou's naked frame on the small bed. I wanted her to fight, but with how weak she was I didn't expect her to be that violent. I had no choice but to knock her unconscious. In the heat of the moment I had picked up the lamp beside the bed and bashed her head, causing a nasty head wound. I wish that she would just cooperate and adjust to her new life already. I will have more of a chance when that Alpha is dead. I looked through the cupboards and growled when I saw that there was no food. I hunted around for other supplies and decided to make some traps. If I was going to leave the cabin I wouldn't want Lou to be taken. I set up a trip wire and some silver nails by the windows. I wasn't planning to be long, but this should work to stop a blind Alpha. He won't see the traps. I needed to have a word with the rogue leader who had allowed me passage through his land and the use of this cabin. Maybe he could lend me some wolves to fend off the evergreen pack. There was no point in dressing Lou because I would be back for another round later. I took one last look at her before leaving the cabin and shifting into my wolf. I ran several miles to meet with the rogue leader and managed to catch a few rabbits that I could collect on my way back. I shifted back when I came to the rogue camp and a few of them recognized me. I need a word with your leader, I shouted. They nodded and led me to him a bit reluctantly. What brings you here? Their leader asked. I have a problem. The evergreen pack is proving to be a challenge. The Alpha won't let my mate go. I need some wolves to help fend them off, I explained. I don't want to risk the safety of my wolves over your mate. Evergreen is a very powerful pack and I don't have the numbers. If they come for us, I need all of my wolves here to defend, he growled. What if I offer supplies from my pack? My answer is no. We will provide you land and lodging, but I won't supply my wolves, he shook his head. You'll regret this, I shouted before I stormed out of the tent. I know I can't leave Lou for long, so I shifted and ran back, collecting the rabbits. The alpha is here. My beta mind linked me. I had him and a couple other warriors I trusted watching the perimeter. See what he does and keep me informed, I replied. There are too many wolves with him for us to fight Alpha. He is taking the Omega, my beta said a few minutes later. We need to regroup, I growled as I pushed myself to run faster.
Chapter 22.
No sign of Chase Alpha, I heard Liam's voice in my head. Keep waiting. If he doesn't show in 24 hours you can come back to the pack, I replied. Any news? I heard Terry ask. Nothing yet, I sighed. It had been 2 or 3 hours since they took Lou into surgery and I was desperately waiting for an update. I sat twiddling my thumbs and no one dared to approach me. She will make it. You got her there in time, Terry encouraged me. Then I heard footsteps approach and I shot up from my chair. Alpha, the doctor started nervously. She made it through the surgery and she will live, he rambled. But we are not sure when she'll wake up and she may have amnesia from the extent of the head wound. We are not sure how much she will remember. If anything, there is a chance that they could come back over time, but it's rare, he sighed. And her body? I asked nervously. The cuts and bruises will heal and everything should still function as normal. She will not bear a pup because she wasn't in her heat when this occurred. But the emotional and mental trauma will be present when she wakes up. She will probably be scared and skittish, but she won't remember why. It is important that she is not too stressed when she wakes. We don't want her to move too quickly and risk further brain damage, he concluded. Thank you, doctor. Can I see her? I asked. Yes, the first door on the left. And Alpha? He hesitated as I looked in his direction. You did well. Another 20 minutes and she would have been gone, he said sadly as I nodded at him. She is going to live, but she might not remember anything, I said sadly to Terry and Liam. As long as she is alive, that's what matters, Terry replied sadly. You'll win her back, Liam encouraged. I sighed, walking into the hospital room. I walked towards the wall and felt around until I found a chair, which I brought up to her bed. I sat down and reached until I found her hand, which I held onto gently. Brax purred in my mind when tingles erupted through my body. Mate, he whined. How is this possible? I gaped as I felt the sparks continue to flow up my arm. I rubbed her hand gently as both Brax and I sat there baffled. I'm not sure when, but after a while I must have fallen asleep to the rhythm of the beeping, the exhaustion finally catching up to me. I was shocked when I saw a beautiful white light appear in my mind, followed by a strange woman. Fear not, I am the moon goddess, she said, sensing my fear and confusion. Why are you here? I asked. I wanted to tell you. I have given Lou to you as your second chance mate. In my eyes you two are destined mates, she smiled at me. Why did you pair her with Chase? I growled. I was hoping that her kindness would change Chase, make him a better alpha that treated his people better. But Chase was not even willing to give her a chance. I was amazed when he rejected her right away, she said sadly. Will she remember me? I sighed. No, she won't remember anything after she ran away from Chase. It will be up to you to guide her, but she will recognize you as her mate because of the mate pull, the moon goddess said hopefully. Why did you put us through this? I asked. It was not in my plans originally for you two to be mates. But after seeing how quickly you bonded, I knew that I could not keep you apart. Lou is a strong wolf, even if she is an Omega. But she will need your love and protection to get through this. Chase is still out there and looking for Lou. Unfortunately, it will be up to you to find him, she explained. Will others be after her? I asked. Yes, because she is an Omega, others will seek her out, she admitted sadly. But, because of this I am granting you a gift, she smiled. What gift? I asked. If she chooses to be marked by you again and you by her, I will make it permanent. It can never be erased, whether you have fully made it or not, she smiled again. That is kind of you, but what if Chase gets her again? I don't want her to be violated again, I pleaded. Very well. I will alter her form so that she can physically accept no other. If Chase does decide to attack her again sexually, her womb will close, making it impossible for him to penetrate her. Only you will have that ability, she said cryptically. Thank you, moon goddess, I bowed. I am sorry, child, for all of your pain. You have had many hardships compared to my other children, she said somberly. Thank you for helping Lou. I smiled softly at her. Our time has ended. Take care of Lou for me, she said right before I woke up. I lifted my head up, rubbing my temple as I thought about the strange dream I just had. I listened to Lou carefully and heard that her breathing was still even and her heartbeat was steady. She was still unconscious. I sighed, rubbing my fingers gently across her hand. Come back to me, Lou. Please, I begged. The moon goddess didn't mention when she would wake up, but she hinted that Lou would wake eventually. I'm not sure exactly what everything meant that she said, but I am sure that I'll figure it out eventually. Anything yet? I mind-linked Terry. No. How is the Luna? He asked. The same. I sighed. She'll come back to you, I know it. Terry replied confidently. The doctors said 20 more minutes and I would have lost her, I sniffled. But you didn't, he replied. She won't remember me, Terry. Or you or Liam, I cried. She will come to know us again. And she will warm up to you just like she did when you met the first time, Terry said factually. How can you be sure? I asked. I just know. You two were so happy together, you'll find your way back to each other. She loves you. I could almost feel Terry's smirk at the last part. Thanks, Terry, I mumbled as I laid my head on the bed, still holding Lou's hand. I would sleep, but there is no way I am leaving this room. When she wakes up, I have to be here to help her.
Chapter 23.
Lou's POV. I woke up with my head pounding painfully. What happened? I asked Lilac in my head, still unable to open my eyes and look around. I don't remember. The last thing I can recall is running away from Alpha Chase, Lilac replied, and I frowned. Do you think we got away? I asked her. Let me check, I heard her reply as she used her nose to sniff around. I smell our mate, which means he could have gotten us. But he rejected us and we accepted it. We shouldn't still feel the mate bond, Lilac said, clearly confused. Thank you for checking, I replied as I started to crack my eyes open. I groaned at the bright lights and prayed that Chase would not be the first thing I saw. I kept trying and eventually opened my eyes. I looked around. It looks like I am in a hospital of some sort. The last thing I remember was passing out in the snow. There were wolves there and I asked them to help me. Lou. I heard a strange voice that sent shivers down my spine. Mate, Lilac purred. I looked over at the man. He was the one I saw before I passed out. I scurried back on the bed and looked at him. Who are you? Where am I? I asked. He looked pained as he spoke. My name is Troy and you're in my pack hospital. You're safe here, you don't have to worry. I was running from an alpha, I mumbled as I looked at Troy. He was a really attractive wolf, but his blue eyes looked like they were clouded over. Is he blind? I gasped at Lilac. He is, Lilac confirmed. The alpha who chased you is gone. No one knows where he went, Troy explained. I ran because I was his mate, but he rejected me. Then he banished me. Oh goddess, where will I go now? I started to panic. Lou, you're safe here and if you want you can transfer into my pack, Troy offered. Why does my wolf say you're our mate? I asked. Because we are mates. Second chance mates, that is. I had a mate a long time ago, but she died, he said sadly. I'm so sorry, I said as I looked him over again. He was tall and muscular, and he gave off a feeling of power, meaning he is an alpha. Is that why you're letting me stay? Because we're mates? I asked and he nodded. Yes, but I won't force you to stay here. I would like you to stay though so my wolf, Brax, and I can get to know you. Is that something you would be willing to try? Troy asked nervously. I think we can trust him and we have nowhere else to go. Besides he is so hot. Lilac encouraged. Okay, I mumbled. Thank you, Lou. You won't regret it, I promise, Troy said happily. Would it be okay if you met a couple of my pack members? Not today but maybe tomorrow. It won't be the whole pack, just 2 wolves, he rambled nervously. Maybe. Will I still be in the hospital? I asked worriedly. You've been here for a while now. The doctor said that you can go home as soon as you woke up, Troy explained. Are you okay with staying in the pack house for now? He asked. I nodded hesitantly. Okay. Troy stood up excitedly as rushed to the door and grabbed a wheelchair from the hallway. Can I help you up? He asked politely. I smiled at how kind he was being to me. He's already so much nicer than our last mate. Lilac said approvingly. Yes, I finally answered him as he moved closer, his scent engulfing me as I took it all in. Do I smell okay? Troy asked worriedly. You smell amazing, I admitted and then blushed at what I had just said. You smell amazing too, Lou, he replied with a huge smile as he went to lift me up. As soon as his hands touched me, I took in a sharp breath. The tingles and sparks flowing through me felt absolutely amazing. I closed my eyes and enjoyed it as he lifted me and held me against his chest protectively. I felt so safe with him. He went to set me down in the wheelchair. But I wrapped my arms around his neck. Don't let me go, I whined, not wanting to break contact yet. He chuckled and brushed one of his hands against my lower back. I won't ever let you go, Lou, he whispered, and I blushed as he started walking. How do you find your way around so well? I asked curiously. Sorry, that was rude. I shook my head and waited to be slapped, but it never came. That's okay. I use my smell and hearing a lot. I was captured after my mate died and they demanded that I fight and win in order to be free. I was there training for about a year until I finally won and came back to the pack, he explained. Plus I know the way around my pack lands really well, he chuckled. I am so sorry that happened to you, I said as I clutched the fabric of his shirt. Who are the wolves you want me to meet? I asked. One is my beta, Terrence, but everyone calls him Terry. And the other is Liam, one of the patrol guards, Troy said with a smirk. I took in my surroundings as he entered the pack house. I gasped in surprise at how beautiful it was. This place is amazing, I muttered. Troy nodded and kept walking as he led me upstairs. He opened a door and his scent immediately overwhelmed me. This must be his room. He walked me over to the bed and set me down gently. This is your room. I frowned. Yes, but I thought you would be more comfortable here with someone you knew. I'm sorry if it was too presumptuous of me. If you want, I can stay in a different room. But I promise I won't do anything you don't want, Troy rambled nervously. What do you think? I asked Lilac. I want to be with mate. He's an alpha. He can keep us safe, Lilac replied. You can stay, I said hesitantly. Troy beamed at me before he pulled up a chair and sat beside the bed. I am so glad that you're giving me a chance. But please know that you don't have to. I know a blind partner can be a lot, he said sadly. It doesn't matter to me that you're blind ... but what happened to your eyes, if you don't mind me asking? I asked curiously. Troy sighed and began to explain his past to me. And what a heartbreaking past it was. I knew if he ever lost another mate it would kill him.
Chapter 24.
It felt weird staying in an alpha's room, and in such a nice pack house. I tried to take it all in, but there is so much to look at. I was excited to have a second chance mate and to give it a try, but I didn't know much about him other than a bit of his past. I didn't know if he knew I was an Omega or not, and I'm not sure if I should tell him. He says that I am safe here and I do feel that way, but what if it is all a trick? What if he doesn't normally act this way and is just trying to keep me here? I think we can trust mate, Lilac said. He even slept on the couch and let us have the bed. He didn't try to touch us or hurt us, she reasoned. I know, but I'm worried that once we learn more about him he will be like Alpha Chase, I shuddered. We should give him a chance. We have nowhere else to go, I sighed, knowing she was right. Hey, you're awake, I heard Troy's voice and looked over at him. He was standing in the doorway holding a tray of food. How are you feeling? He asked as he walked towards me. A bit better, but my head really hurts, I groaned, sitting up a bit. I didn't mention the pain I was feeling in my lower area. Had Alpha Chase violated me after I went unconscious? But that doesn't make sense. I remember seeing Troy before I passed out. I brought you some breakfast and some painkillers from the hospital for your head, Troy said as he set the tray down on my lap. Thank you, Alpha, I bowed my head respectfully. I am sorry for how I acted yesterday. I shouldn't have acted that way. It was disrespectful, I said, remembering how I had clung to him. And the things I said. No need to apologize, Lou. And you can call me Troy. We are mates, Troy said with a sad smile, and I nodded. To my surprise, he pulled up a chair and sat beside the bed while I ate. I wanted to ask him what had happened to me after I passed out, but I didn't think it was my place. Is it okay with you if I invite the 2 wolves I would like you to meet in after you finish eating? Troy asked. 2 more male wolves, Lilac said worriedly. Does anyone know that I am an Omega? I asked nervously. Yes, the pack is aware that there is an Omega here because of your scent. But don't worry, no one will hurt you here, Troy said calmly. I also have your medicine here that prevents heat. I imagine that would be tough for you. I had your things sent from your old pack and this bottle was inside, he explained as he gestured to the pills beside the bed. Thank you, Alpha. I smiled a bit at him and he frowned a bit. If there is anything else you need, just let me know, Troy stated. I am worried about meeting more male wolves, I admitted in between bites. Troy laughed and I was surprised, but I liked the sound. Although I was confused as to why he was laughing. Don't worry. The wolves you are meeting are not interested in female wolves. Oh, I blushed in embarrassment. It should be okay to meet them then. I sighed. Okay, they should be in shortly. But before that, have you given any thought to staying in my pack? Troy asked hopefully. I haven't decided yet. But I do want to give us a chance as mates, I said nervously, worried that I had angered him. I waited for the hit to come, flinching away a bit. That's okay, take your time, Troy said with a sad smile. He was looking directly at me and it was almost like he could see me. You know, I noticed you didn't have many things from your old pack. Why is that? Well, since I am an Omega, I was given the house chores. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, I sighed. But there are so few Omegas left, especially female ones. How could they treat you that way? He asked and I shrugged. Well, my pack doesn't work that way, so you'll be treated like every other wolf. Troy smiled as I finished my food. But I would like to know if there is anything you would like to pursue. A certain job or hobby? He asked. I do love to cook, I said shyly. You can do that. Troy grinned at me. He looked like he wanted to reach out his hand but he stopped himself. Liam and Terry are here. Can I let them in? He asked and I nodded, forgetting that he couldn't see me. Yes, I said as I set the breakfast tray aside. 2 wolves walked in, seeming powerful. They had fairly large builds and were relatively attractive men. Hi, I'm Terry, Troy's Beta, the older of the 2, spoke first. Nice to meet you, Beta, I bowed respectfully. And I'm Liam. I'm one of the new patrol guards here, the other said with a huge grin on his face. Nice to meet you too, I said with a slight bow. And Liam laughed. No need to bow to me, I don't have a high rank in this pack, Liam explained as he sat in the chair beside the bed. So, I was wondering if you could help me with something, he asked. We'll be back later, Troy said with a smile as he and Terry left the room. What could I possibly help you with? I asked, surprised. I want to make a deal with you, he asked curiously. And I nodded. I really like Terry, and I think he knows, but I want to get him to be my chosen mate, he started. How can I help with that? I asked. Well, since you live here in the pack house and seeing as you're in the Alpha's room, usually no one is allowed up here. If we spend time together, I have more chances to run into the Beta, he smiled happily. Okay, I tilted my head. And in return I'll help you win over the Alpha and give you information about him, Liam bargained. You mean my mate? I asked and Liam's jaw dropped. Your mates? He asked, confused. Well, second chance mates, but yes. I blushed. Does the Alpha know? He asked and I nodded. This is amazing. I am so happy for you and the Alpha, Liam cheered as he pulled me into a hug. What a great blessing in all this mess. So here is the plan, he started and I laughed. I could see us being good friends.
Chapter 25.
I had gotten the bandage off my head a few days ago and I was feeling a bit better. The Alpha has been really kind to me, bringing me meals and checking in on me. Lilac and I agree that he is a very caring mate. Terry had talked to me a couple times about pack rules and how I wasn't supposed to let others into the Alpha's space except him or Liam. He was strict, but fair. He seemed to care for the Alpha a lot too, which was a good sign. Compared to my old pack, this one was treating me like a princess. The Alpha even went out and had a bunch of clothes brought in my size, although I don't know how he knew my size. Liam had just come over after I got ready for the day, saying that he was off patrol and wanted to plan something. Hey Liam, I said as he walked into the room. So here is what I was thinking, Liam started as he sat on the bed beside me. I had gotten a lot more comfortable with Liam after I learned he was only interested in male wolves. The thought of having pups right now made me sick for some reason, even though I have never gone all the way with a guy before. You said you can cook, right? I realized I had zoned out for most of it. Yeah, I can, I replied curiously. Liam seems like a troublemaker, but he makes me laugh a lot. Well, I know that the Alpha absolutely loves cherry pie, Liam smiled. He had been giving me random facts about the Alpha like this one for the last week or so. So, I asked, so we should make him one. A way to a man's heart is definitely through his stomach, Liam said as he patted his non-existent belly, and I giggled. And what do you get out of this? I asked. Besides time with my best friend and free food. He asked and I laughed more, nodding. Well, I was hoping you could show me so that I could make something for the Beta. Although I don't know what kind of pie is his favorite, Liam hummed. My guess is apple, I said. Why? Liam asked. Because he is always eating an apple when I see him or he has one in his hand, I stated. You are a genius, Liam said as he picked me up and spun me around. This deal was so worth it. Let's get started, he said excitedly as he grabbed my hand and started leading me downstairs while I kept laughing. However, on the way down Liam got distracted and we ended up running right into the Alpha. Sorry Alpha, Liam immediately apologized. Sorry Alpha, I said as I bowed. He frowned as his eyes looked in my direction. Where are you two off to in such a hurry? He asked with a raised eyebrow and Liam shrugged. You know I could command you to tell me, he stated, and I shuddered. But you won't. Besides, it's a surprise. Liam smiled and I was amazed he was talking to the alpha like that. All right, just don't mess up the kitchen too much, the alpha said with a smirk. How did you know we were going to the kitchen? I asked in amazement. Just a wild guess, the alpha smiled at me and chuckled as he started walking to his office. And be more careful next time, he called over his shoulder. We will, Liam called back as we kept going down the stairs. Okay, lead the way, he said as he gestured to the counter. It was a very nice kitchen, but I didn't know where anything was. Are you sure this is a good idea? I asked as we dug through the cupboards to find what we needed. Positive, Liam said with a grin as we started working on the pies. You know, he said as he picked up a piece of scrap dough from the crust. You are way too serious when you cook, he said before throwing the dough at me. Hey, I shouted as I grabbed a piece and threw it at him. We were so busy attacking each other that we didn't hear the beta come in. You have got to be kidding me. I swear I have the worst luck, Terry said as he tried to wipe the flour off of his shirt. Sorry, beta, I said and bowed. We didn't hear you come in, I admitted. Sorry, beta, Liam said but still had a small smirk. Just make sure you clean up after, Terry said with smile and shook his head as he walked out of the kitchen. Well, I thought he would be angry with us for that, but he seemed oddly happy, I said as we put the pies in the oven and started cleaning up our mess. It brings back good memories for him, Liam said cryptically. A while later. Remind me never to have a food fight with you again, I groaned as I finished mopping the last of the floor. But it's so much fun. We should get cleaned up though before the alpha sees us, Liam smiled. All right, this place is huge. I'm sure there is a guest room or something you can shower in, I said. That doesn't fix my clothes though, Liam pointed at his shirt. I'll just run home and clean up. You don't need me there to give the alpha his pie though, Liam wiggled his eyebrows and I blushed. What about your pie? If you leave it sitting out, someone will take it, I frowned. Then I will bring it with me, Liam said as he grabbed the pie. Good luck with the alpha, he teased as he left the room. I grabbed the pie and brought it upstairs, setting it beside the bed as I hopped in the shower. I was suddenly nervous about approaching Troy. What if he is busy? I sighed, getting myself clean and dressed before unlocking the door and going back into the bedroom. I didn't see the alpha anywhere, so I thought I would take it to his office. I grabbed the pie and strolled down the hall, taking a deep breath and knocking on the door. I heard some talking and arguing before the door was opened. Hi, beta, I bowed as Terry looked at me. He saw the pie in my hand and smiled. I'll leave you to it then. Wish I had pie, Terry grumbled. You will, I said, and he smiled before strutting down the hallway.
Chapter 26.
Troy's POV. I was discussing progress, or rather lack of progress, on finding Chase when I smelled my mate at the door. Terry must have realized it was her as well because he walked over and opened it for her. They exchanged a few words and I noticed she was carrying a cherry pie by the smell. I smiled to myself. Clearly Liam is trying to recreate Lou's past experiences before she lost her memory. It has been really hard seeing her and remembering all of the things we did together that she can't. I wish she would remember me, but I also am glad that she has forgotten all of the terrible things that happened to her. As her chosen mate before this, I should have protected her better. I should have fought harder. I shouldn't have let her give herself up to save me. If she hadn't, then none of those horrible things would have happened to her, and I would most likely be dead. I heard the door close and focused on the sound of my mate. Hi, Alpha, she said softly. I wish that she would just call me Troy, but I have to be gentle with her. I know it will take her time to get used to me again. Hi, Lou, please call me Troy. I smiled at her and heard some shuffling as she got a bit closer. Is there something you needed? I asked when she was still quiet. I made something for you, she said. Oh, what did you make? I asked as I walked towards her, slowly destroying the distance between us. I heard her shaky breaths as she got nervous or excited. It was hard to tell. She stuttered. Some pie. I hope you like it, she said cutely. What did I do to deserve this surprise? I asked curiously. Well, you have been nice to me, helping me with food and things, she said as a blush coated her cheeks. I enjoy doing those things, Lou. It's my responsibility and pleasure as a mate to look after you, I smiled, trying to reassure her. Oh, she said, seeming stunned. I stepped closer, leaving less than a foot between us. She was nervous. I forgot a fork, she admitted sadly. I chuckled at her reaction. Well, let's go get a couple then, shall we? I smirked at her and started walking to the door, making sure I heard her footsteps behind me. You know, it has been a while since I have had cherry pie, I admitted. How did you know I made cherry? She asked curiously. It smells delicious, I chuckled and heard her shuffling around as I grabbed some plates and forks. Cherry is actually my favorite pie, I smirked and I could feel her grin as we sat at the table. I know, she said proudly. And where did you get your information from? I asked, quirking my eyebrow as I unwrapped the pie. Someone told me, but I won't say who, she said stubbornly. Liam, was it? I asked and chuckled when I heard her huff. I was glad she was being more relaxed around me. I scooped a large piece of the pie onto my plate and handed her a fork. What else has he been telling you about me? I asked curiously. Well, a little about your wolf, Brax, some foods you like, how you run the pack, she listed, and Brax purred. You know you can always ask me that kind of stuff, right? I asked worriedly. I know. You're just usually busy running the pack, and Liam mentions things I wouldn't think to ask, she admitted as I heard her scraping some pie from her plate. I took a bite of the pie, enjoying it before I frowned at her words. Are you saying I don't spend enough time with you? She gulped nervously. No, Alpha, she said as she bowed. I have noticed that she calls me Alpha when she is afraid of me, which breaks my heart. I want her to know that I would never hurt her. Would you like me to spend more time with you? I asked, looking in her direction. But the pack? I know you have a lot you need to do, she said nervously. Yes, but Terry can do it. I can take a few days off and spend more time with you, I said casually as I started eating more of my pie. I don't want you to feel ignored or neglected. You're important to me, I said clearly. I don't want to cause any trouble, Alpha, she said in a whisper. It's no problem. I have been wanting to spend more time with you, but I didn't want you to feel smothered, I admitted. Ever since she has been up and walking, Brax has been very protective of her. I was afraid if I spent too much time following her around, she would feel trapped by me. You can always tell me when you need or want something, I added. Thank you, she said as I heard some more scraping on her plate. So what did Liam tell you about Brax? I asked curiously. He is black, huge, and likes to get his way. He also said that Brax is scary when he is mad, she said. She has no reason to be scared of me. I wouldn't hurt her, Brax huffed. You do like things your way though, I chuckled at him. Most of that is true, but you don't have to be afraid of him. He would never hurt you or your wolf, Lilac, I stated. How do you know my wolf's name? She asked. I just do, I smiled at her. You know, I finished up my work for the day. Why don't we take the rest of the pie upstairs and we can spend some time together? I suggested. That would be nice, she replied. What will we do? Whatever you want, I said as I stood up. Really? She asked and I nodded. Can we go outside? I really want to explore the pack grounds and Lilac has been bugging me for fresh air, she seemed excited. I was worried. Chase is still out there. Are you okay with running into people? Some of the pack members will probably want to talk to you, I said. Maybe just out to the garden around the pack house then, she suggested. Sure, just let me put the pie away. And we can go out, I smiled at her and went to wrap up the pie. I was pleasantly surprised when her tiny arms pulled me into a hug. I pulled her against my chest and breathed in her scent happily. She must have noticed Brax start purring because she quickly backed away. I frowned, putting the pie away as I started walking towards the door. Are you coming? I asked. Yes, she squeaked as I heard her footsteps behind me.
Chapter 27.
Lose POV. I followed Troy out of the kitchen with a frown. I hope he isn't angry at me for pulling out of the hug. It's just that the noise he was making scared me. I'm not sure why, but Lilac and I have been very jumpy and on edge lately. I know we should be able to trust him because he is our mate, but as an alpha he still scares me, I said to Lilac as I followed Troy, admiring his muscular frame. After Chase rejecting us and our banishment, we have every right to be scared of alphas. They have their alpha command too, which if they ever use, we have to do what they say, Lilac growled at the last part. Do you think Troy will ever use that on us? I asked worriedly. From what I have seen so far, I don't think Troy would do that to us. He had been kind and gentle to us ever since we woke up, Lilac replied. But if he does, our rank as Omega means we can't say no to him, she warned. I'll try to be careful around him for now then, I said as Troy abruptly stopped. I frowned when I noticed I was so lost in my thoughts that I hadn't realized that we were already outside. I looked around and admired the garden as Lilac purred happily in my head, wanting to get out and go for a run. When I looked back at Troy, I realized that he was already starting to remove his clothes. I stared longer than I should have at his toned chest and the scars that littered it. When I saw his hands move to his pants, though, I squeaked and turned around. Even though we were mates, I didn't feel like I should be seeing all of him. He chuckled at my reaction. Are you going to shift too? He asked and I nodded. Then why haven't you got rid of your clothes yet? He added. I don't know if I should with you standing there, I mumbled as I played with the hem of my shirt. You know I can't see you right. Blind guy here, Troy said with a chuckle. But I wish I could see you, he added sadly. I reluctantly started stripping behind some bushes and set my clothes neatly to the side. When I came out and got ready to shift, I saw that Brax was there, his dark fur blending in with the darkness of the night as his blue eyes seemed to glow, looking straight at me. I gulped nervously as the alpha wolf walked over, feeling the power and dominance roll off of him. I whimpered a bit before I laid down on my back and bared my neck to him. Even though I was naked and hadn't shifted yet, I felt a strong need to submit to him. I was scared of the alpha aura he gave off and didn't want to upset him. I decided to wait until I had permission to shift. I shivered as the wolf walked around me, seeming confused by my actions. I felt it nuzzle its nose against my neck before trying to get me up. I took that as a sign that I was allowed to shift. So I slowly sat up, expecting to be growled at, but the wolf just sat there, seeming confused. I wasn't sure why I couldn't hear the alpha in my head, but I quickly shifted, letting Lilac take over. She approached the alpha cautiously, tail between her legs as he sat there unmoving. Once she was close enough, Brax stood, stepping towards her before rubbing his head gently against us. It was an act of marking and affection as he rubbed his scent on me. Lilac seemed to relax a bit and let the alpha do as he pleased, until he nipped playfully at her ear. Lilac stepped back, wagging her tail as she yipped at him playfully. Then the chase was on. We used our smaller speed to run between hedges and fit into smaller areas that Brax had trouble getting to. We ran and swiveled with the alpha close behind. He was clearly letting us stay ahead and not using his full power because he could have easily caught us by now. I don't know how long we played like that, our wolves running freely with each other. It was nice, and even when the alpha did manage to tackle us, it was gentle and he licked our snout affectionately. Then I felt his nose nuzzle our neck, taking in our scent again before he nudged at Lilac to get up. Lilac followed him happily, and as we got closer to the pack house, he suddenly started shifting again. I turned away, not wanting to catch a glimpse of something I shouldn't. Lou, we're mates. I don't mind if you look, he chuckled. Lilac whimpered a bit before giving me back control and allowing me to shift. I quickly snatched my clothes and started throwing them on. Even though I knew he couldn't see me, I felt like he could, with his eyes in my direction. I walked back over to Troy, who was thankfully fully clothed. Thank you for the run, Alpha, I said as I bowed respectfully. Troy sighed as he closed the distance between us. I took in his scent as our chests were only inches away from touching. He gently lifted my chin to face him, sparks erupting where he touched. Lou, please, call me Troy, and you don't have to submit to me. We are equals, he said sadly. I'm sorry, Alpha Troy. I'm just so used to how things were in my old pack. Not submitting to the Alpha is a death sentence, I mumbled. He pulled me into a tight hug, catching me off guard. It felt nice, firm yet gentle. I decided to hug him back, earning a purr from him. I smiled into his chest. Troy is more like a puppy than a scary alpha. You don't need to apologize, Lou. I can only imagine how bad things used to be for you. But you're here now and I'll protect you, he said. You're a part of this pack. And I'm your mate, he added as he rubbed his hands across my back gently. We should probably get inside, he sighed. Okay, I replied, not knowing what else to say. I felt Troy's hand find mine as he intertwined our fingers, leading me back inside. I had a feeling that if I gave it a chance I would really fall for Troy.
Chapter 28.
Troy's POV. Lou and I had such an amazing time together, and Brax was over the moon to be able to run with Lilac. I was surprised by her behavior though. She was unusually submissive. She seemed slightly afraid of me still, but when I hugged her before we came inside she didn't pull away. And she let me hold her hand. There you guys are. You should taste this pie Liam made me. It's so good, Terry said in between bites as Liam blushed. A pie is my favorite too, he smiled, and Liam mouthed a thank you to me. Thanks, Terry, but I have my own pie, I said as I smirked, walking to the fridge and grabbing it along with a couple of forks. Oh, I see, all right then. You two have fun, Terry winked, and I knew Lou was blushing. I started walking up the stairs, leaving Liam and Terry in the kitchen, but Lou followed me. Are you okay staying in my room still? I asked as I opened the door. Yes, Lou admitted but didn't explain. I wish I knew what she was thinking. Good, I'll set up a movie for us, I smiled as I set the pie down beside the bed and went to grab one. But how will you be able to watch it? She asked as I heard the slight squeak of the bed, meaning she had sat down. Audio visual. Basically they explain all the actions with words as they happen. Is that okay with you? I frowned. Yes, Alpha Troy, Lou said softly, and I nodded, putting the DVD in the player. I wish she would just call me Troy, but at least now she was using my name. I sat beside Lou on the bed, leaning against the headboard. You can just call me Troy. I smiled at her and heard some rustling. Troy, I know it's only been a few weeks since I woke up, but it's bothering me that I don't know what happened after I blacked out. Could you explain what I missed? You said I was in the hospital an entire week, Lou asked, and I paused the movie in a panic. Should I tell her everything? I asked Brax. We should be honest with her. If we lie and don't tell her, she'll be angry, Brax reasoned. Okay, I sighed. I'll tell you everything, but promise me you won't run away. I asked desperately. Why would I run away? She asked, confused. Because I am a failure of a mate, I said sadly. I will never forgive myself. I hung my head. I promise I won't run, Troy. You've been nothing but kind to me since I woke up. Lou smiled reassuringly. Okay, I'm here for you no matter what, and I want you to know that I will never leave you and you can't blame yourself for what happened, I warned her, and she nodded. Okay. I took a breath and recounted everything that had happened between us and what happened with Chase. She started to cry and nodded at me. I knew something was wrong. When I woke up, it hurt down there, she admitted. I reached a hand out to comfort her but pulled myself back. I am so sorry, Lou. I understand if you don't want me as your mate. I failed you and those terrible things happened to you. I don't know the exact details of what happened with Chase, but I know enough, I admitted sadly. My heart broke as I listened to her sobs. I couldn't do anything but sit and wait for her. I was desperate to hold her. Thankfully, she put me out of my misery by jumping at me and wrapping me in a tight bear hug. I wrapped my arms around her, rubbing her back as I felt myself tear up. I am so sorry I failed you, I said as my voice cracked with emotion. You saved me, Troy. You got me out of there. Nothing that happened was your fault. Thank you, she stuttered out between sniffles. I put my nose against her neck, inhaling her scent to calm myself. I had to be strong for her. This must have been hard for you. Since I can't remember anything, she added sadly. It has been. But part of me is glad that you don't remember the terrible things that happened to you, I admitted as a few tears rolled down my cheeks. I don't understand. How did Chase remove my mark? And how did we both survive it? Lou asked, but made no move to get off of my lap or release me from the hug. He bit over your mark, and if he had bit you again you would be wearing his mark, I explained with a shiver. I'm not sure how we survived it. Maybe because we never completed the bond, I said thoughtfully, but it was the most painful thing I have ever experienced. I never want to lose you again. I hugged her tighter to my chest. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, she said, and I chuckled. No, Lou, I am sorry for what you went through. I can't even imagine. I tried to swallow the lump in my throat. Was I? Will there be a pup? Lou asked as she went stiff, shaking in fear. No, you weren't in heat, I said, and she let out a breath she was holding. So, I'm part of this pack, and we were chosen mates before this, she clarified, and I nodded. And you still want to be my mate? Even though I am tainted, I cut her off by leaning back and tilting her chin up to look towards me. You are not tainted. I think you are the strongest she-wolf I have ever met, and the most selfless. The only reason you went with him was to save my life. You went through it all because of me, and I will spend every minute, until my last breath, trying to make it up to you. If anything, I am not worthy of you, my little Omega, I said honestly. I felt tears drip onto my hand and I loosened my grip. You didn't hurt me, it's just, I've never had anyone say anything like that to me before. You're the mate I have always dreamed of, Troy. I can see why I chose you, she said, and my heart fluttered at her words. I promise I won't rush you into anything. We can go at whatever pace you want. That is if you are willing to give me another chance. I asked nervously, and she nodded against me. Thank you, Lou. I won't fail you again. I would rather die. I held her hand against my heart. I swear to you as your mate and alpha I will protect you with my life. I made the sacred oath to her and she gasped. Alphas used to make the sacred oath to their mates and betas as a sign of devotion and respect in return for their loyalty and obedience. It wasn't used anymore, but Lou deserved this and it felt right to offer myself to her this way. I know that I would die for her without a second thought. She and the pack are my whole life. Troy, you don't have to. Those vows are for life, Lou asked worriedly. I promise, I said as I bit my finger, just enough to get a bit of blood out, and offered it to her. With this offering of my flesh and blood I pledge myself to you as your protector and mate, to treasure you and honor you, to try to be the man you deserve, I said firmly. I can't accept your life. This is too much, Troy, she sniffled. Please, Lou. Will you accept me? I asked as I held my breath, a drop of blood neatly pebbled on my fingertip. Alphas also didn't make this pledge because of the risk. If the person deems you have failed them or broken the oath, the alpha will be sentenced to whatever punishment they see fit. It was good to keep alphas in line and keep them from being power hungry, to look after their people. I accept you as my mate, Troy, but I cannot accept your life this way. I can't bear the thought of having to choose a punishment for you if anything happens," she said sadly, and I licked the wound on my finger. "I understand, but I meant what I said," I replied. "Being your mate is already more than I deserve." "Thank you," I smiled sadly and pressed my forehead to hers.
Chapter 29.
Lose POV. I sat here with Troy pressing his forehead against mine as I tried to process his words. He had just made the sacred alpha vow to me. I had no choice but to refuse. I can't be responsible for his life that way. I'm glad that he trusts me and he wants to be my mate. I just never realized how far he is willing to go for me. So, I reassured him that I still wanted to be his mate. The alpha vow surprised me because I thought that tradition had been extinct. Alphas stopped using it because they wanted power. The alpha vow gives away their power to someone else. Basically, the alpha gives their life to someone and makes a promise such as protection. If the alpha fails, then the person who they made the vow to gets to select a punishment. Usually severe lashings or death. I couldn't be responsible for that, for Troy's life, so I refused. "As if you could refuse such a kind and gentle alpha," Lilac scoffed. "I'm glad that the moon goddess gave him to us. He is the kind of mate we have always wanted," I sighed. It might be too soon to start the process of mating, but I can tell he was honest with us and told us everything. "I just wish we could remember him from before everything," Lilac replied. "So if you're accepting me as your mate, will you be staying in the pack?" Troy asked nervously. "Yes, I would like to stay," I smiled at him and he grinned at me. "Great, can I join you to the pack mind link or would you rather wait?" Troy asked happily. "I think I should be joined. If I ever got taken or anything, it would help you find me," I stated factually. And Troy nodded. "It might sting a bit," Troy warned, and I nodded as he grabbed a small knife from the drawer beside the bed. "You ready?" he asked again. "Yes," I mumbled, and he sliced his palm first. "Do you trust me?" he asked, and I nodded again. "I hate having to hurt you," he said before he leaned closer. "Can I kiss you?" he asked in a rough voice. "Yes," I squeaked nervously. And he nodded. "It will be over soon," he said as he leaned in and pressed his lips to mine. He was passionate yet gentle as he moved his lips skillfully. I moved my mouth back, leaning into him more as I clung to his shirt. I felt him smirk into the kiss as I slowly trailed one of my hands up to his neck, leaving the other one palm up and motionless. I felt his hands move against me as he brushed his tongue against my lips for entrance. I pulled away when I suddenly felt a connection click in my head. I gasped, looking down to our intertwined hands, our bloody palms touching each other. I didn't even feel it, I admitted, as I felt voices flooding into my head. "Just focus on the image of a strong wall in your mind and the voices will be blocked out," Troy said in my mind. I did as he instructed and the voices stopped. "Better?" he asked and I nodded. "It can be overwhelming sometimes." "Welcome to the pack," he said before releasing my hand and grabbing a cloth beside the bed to clean off the blood. "It's nice to be part of your pack." "Thank you," I smiled at him. "It will be our pack after the Luna ceremony. Whenever you're ready for it," Troy smiled back at me, cleaning my hand gently. "Do you have any more questions for me?" he asked, setting the dirty cloth aside. "Has Chase been caught yet?" I asked worriedly. "No, but I have people looking for him and extra wolves on patrol. If he shows up, I will stop him. You have nothing to worry about here in the pack house," Troy said as he brushed his hand along my cheek gently. I nodded. "After hearing everything, I think I need a shower. I feel dirty all of a sudden," I admitted, and Troy frowned. "There is a bathroom attached to our room through that door," Troy said as he pointed to the far left side of the room. "Wait, our room?" I asked, slowly getting up from the bed. "You're welcome to stay if you want. I just figured you wouldn't want to be alone and this way I can protect you. But if you're uncomfortable, you can go back to your old room. I promise I won't touch you or do anything inappropriate if you stay." He raised his hands in surrender. "Do you want me to stay?" I smirked at him. "Yes, of course, but I don't want you to feel pressured," Troy said as he stood up. "Yes, I will stay. I trust you," I said, and he grinned from ear to ear. "Right, I'll show you where the towels and things are and I'll let Terry know to move your things in here," Troy said excitedly as he rushed over to the bathroom door. I giggled at him. Troy is definitely more of a puppy. "Thank you," I said, and he nodded. He had shown me where everything was and went to leave when I stopped him by grabbing his shirt. I need a change of clothes," I blushed. "No problem, I'll grab some and set them outside the door and I'll lock our bedroom door while I go talk to Terry," Troy said with a smirk. Thank you, I blushed at the words our bedroom. No problem, Lou, and take your time, Troy smiled, and I nodded, closing the bathroom door. I got undressed and turned on the water when I heard some rustling. I jumped nervously before I heard Troy. Clothes are here. I'll let you unlock the bedroom door when you're done, he shouted, and then I heard his retreating footsteps. I relaxed and used the full-length mirror to examine myself. There were no visible injuries left besides some old scars, and I didn't feel sore down there anymore. I can't believe our first time was with that monster. He raped us, I said to Lilac. I'm sorry I couldn't fight him off of us. Stupid alpha power, Lilac huffed. That's okay. Thank you for trying. I just wish I didn't feel so tainted. I know Troy loves us, but it will take me some time to be able to get intimate with him, I admitted. That's understandable, Lou. As long as you take that medicine to stop our heat, I should be able to control my mating urges until you're ready, Lilac said supportively. Or maybe not, because Troy is so hot. I'm excited to mate him and make him ours completely. Lilac purred. One step at a time, horny wolf, I huffed, and she laughed at me. I smiled and got into the shower, trying to scrub the dirty feeling from my skin. I let the warm water wash over me as my mind wandered, and I burst into tears thinking about all that Chase could have done to me.
Chapter 30.
Troy's POV. I walked into the kitchen and sat down at the table with a thump. What happened? I heard Terry ask with concern. I told Lou about everything that happened. Well, everything I know happened when she was kidnapped. She deserved to know the truth, and I felt like I was always lying to her by leaving out details, I explained sadly. Well, it's good that she doesn't remember what that jerk did to her, but I know what you mean. It's hard seeing Lou and knowing how things used to be before she lost her memory, Liam frowned. How did she take the news? Terry asked as I felt his hand on top of mine. As well as can be expected. She thought I wouldn't want her anymore because she is tainted. But I don't think that is the case at all. None of what happened is her fault, I said angrily. So is she still going to be your mate? Terry asked. Yes, thankfully, although I pledged myself to her using the sacred alpha vow. And she rejected it. She said she didn't want to be responsible for my life like that, I said thoughtfully. I could practically see their jaws drop as I heard some stuttering. The sacred alpha vow. No one has used that in forever. Why would you pressure her like that? Liam asked. I want to make sure she knows I'm not going anywhere and that she is important to me, I explained in a duh tone. I felt her being connected to the pack. Why would she do that if she rejected the vow? Terry asked. Because she wants to give us a chance as mates and be with me. Thank goodness, I ran my hand through my hair. She also wanted to be able to mind link with me in case anything happened, but she isn't ready to be marked yet. Understandably. So I joined her to the pack mind link. That way if she is taken again or Chase shows up, she can tell us, I sighed. So there won't be a Luna ceremony anytime soon then? Liam asked sadly. No, and I don't want to push her. We can have the ceremony and complete the process when she's ready, I said firmly. I'm glad that she still wants to be the Luna after everything. It makes sense that she needs time to process, though, Terry nodded. It's weird that you two ended up being second chance mates too. I mean, I'm not complaining, but that doesn't happen too often, Liam shrugged. Yeah, it's strange, but I'm glad the moon goddess arranged it. It felt amazing as a chosen mate, but the connection feels stronger and deeper now, I smiled. We're happy for you both. The pack will be happy too after the Luna takes her rightful place, Terry smiled back. There was another piece I can't put together though. The moon goddess mentioned something about her being able to physically accept no other. I've been thinking about it, but I'm still not sure what it means. I leaned over the table. Not sure, but it does sound strange. Liam hummed. Maybe it means she can't be mated by anyone else. Terry asked, and I turned my head in his direction. What do you mean? I asked. Well, Terry stuttered. If another male tries to, then maybe they won't be able to slide in. Like her entrance will close up and keep other males out except you. I could tell Terry was embarrassed talking about it. Whoa, Liam said in surprise. That would make sense. And it would protect her from being violated again. I did ask the moon goddess for help with that. That means if Chase gets her, he can't breed her though. I gagged on the words. And once he finds that out, he'll kill her, I said with disgust. Well, then we can't let him even get the chance to try, Terry said firmly. Has there been any sightings yet? I asked. No, Liam shook his head. The patrols haven't seen him or any of his pack members around the territory. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. I just want him found so that we can end this, I said as I stood up. Keep me informed. I'm going to go check on Lou. Sure thing, Liam said as I walked up the stairs. I made sure to knock on the bedroom door before I walked in case Lou was getting changed. Not that I could see anything, but it was a polite gesture nonetheless. Lou, I called out. I waited and didn't hear an answer, so I decided to go in. I smelled her, but all I could hear was the water running. Is she still in the shower? Lou, I called again, knocking on the bathroom door this time. Just a minute, I heard Lou's cracked voice through the door and could tell that she had been crying. I sighed and went over to the bed to sit and wait. I knew that she would take the news hard, but the longer I sit here, the more worried I seem to get. Is this my fault? Should I have left her in the dark about all the things she forgot? I was distracted when I heard a sort of tapping noise coming from the window. I assume it's just a branch hitting it or something. I got up to investigate and ran my hands over the window frame. Why is the window open? I remember it being closed and locked before I left the room. I ran my hands over the window sill and gasped in pain when I felt sharp claws dig into my hands. I heard the door open, baying me, and hissed in pain, "Stay in the bathroom, Lou, lock the door. And get Terry and Liam, they're downstairs," I shouted. "But Troy," she said frantically. "I can handle it, go." I yelled before I felt the claws yank me through the window.
Chapter 31.
It was like watching a horror movie as I stepped out of the bathroom and saw Troy's face twisted in pain. He was shouting something at me, but I was too busy trying to figure out what was happening. I walked to the side to get a better view when Lilac spoke to me. "Mate is hurt." I gasped when I saw shifted werewolf claws digging into Troy's hands. It looked painful. I watched the blood start dripping down the sill and clapped a hand over my mouth to keep from crying. I tried to speak, but Troy just kept shouting orders at me. He wanted me to get Terry and Liam. "They can help," Lilac whined. I rushed out of the room and down the stairs. "Help, help," I screamed as I ran into the kitchen. Thankfully, Terry and Liam were both sitting at the table. "What happened?" Terry stood up from his seat. "There were claws. The alpha. Someone is attacking Troy." They got up to the window and were digging into his hands. There was blood. I sniffled, feeling a huge wave of pain hit me at the thought of Troy being hurt. "Liam, stay with her. I'll go help the alpha." "Mind link the warriors to come to the pack house," Terry ordered before racing out of the room. "Come on, we have to get to the safe room," Liam said as he rushed over and grabbed my hand. I felt scared and worried for Troy as he dragged me into the basement and locked us both in a concrete room. "We'll be safe here," Liam panted as he leaned against the wall. "Did you see who it was?" he asked. "No," I shuddered as I took a seat on the floor. "They were in wolf form and Troy was being hurt." "How did they get up to a second-story window?" I sniffled. "It's going to be fine. Troy is a strong alpha. He can handle one wolf," Liam said as he walked over and sat beside me. "I'm scared." There was blood and the claws looked so sharp. "What if it's him? What if it's Chase and he's after me?" I shook violently in fear. "Hey, it's going to be fine. Troy would never let him get you again." Liam rubbed my arm to reassure me. "That's the problem. I know Chase won't stop until he has me, and I know that Troy would die for me. What if he kills him?" I started sobbing. Liam pulled me into a hug. "I mind-linked the warriors to come and help. Troy will be fine. He has you to fight for." But I started. "Why don't we mind-link Terry and ask what's going on?" Liam suggested, and I nodded. I focused on taking a wall down in my mind and slowly heard the voices come into my head. "Terry, what is the status? Who is the attacker?" I heard Liam. "It's Chase. He pulled Troy out the window. They both fell pretty hard, but Alpha seems to be okay. It looks like they're going to have a one-on-one challenge for this pack since Chase didn't bring back up," Terry explained, and my heart sunk. "Please don't let Chase kill him," I thought. "I won't, Luna. The Alpha is in good hands and the battle hasn't started yet," Terry answered. "Are you sure he came alone?" Liam asked. "It seems like it, but I have guards searching the border just in case," Terry replied. "Okay, be careful out there and keep us updated," Liam said before disconnecting the mind link. "Can I mind link Troy too?" I asked desperately. "No, he needs to focus to win the battle against Chase," Liam sighed. "Please, I need to know he's okay," I begged. "Okay, fine, but it has to be quick." Liam raised an eyebrow and I nodded. "Troy, I tested the mind link to see if I had him. Lou, are you okay? Did Liam take you somewhere safe?" He replied, and I let out a shaky breath. "Yes, I'm fine. Liam is here with me. I wanted to make sure you were okay." "I saw blood," I replied. "I'm okay. We fell out the window, but I promise I will take care of this, Lou. Just focus on staying safe and I'll come find you when it's done," Troy said. "Okay, please be careful, Troy. Come back to me. I need you." I wanted to tell him I loved him, but it didn't seem right to do through a mind link. "I will. Stay safe, love," Troy replied before the mind link was cut. "I'm scared, Liam." I sniffled. He said he is okay, but I saw the blood and I'm worried that Chase will. I started crying again. I should have told him I loved him. I was instantly filled with regret. You'll have a chance to tell him after. Troy will come back for you. I just know it, Liam said as he rubbed my back. I wish I was there with him. I wish I could help, I cried. You are helping by staying here where it's safe. The Alpha wouldn't be able to focus on the fight if he was distracted because he is worrying about your safety, Liam explained somberly. I know. It just feels like this is all NY fault. Chase is here because of me, and if he dies, I mumbled. He won't die, Lou. He is the strongest Alpha I know, and none of this is your fault. Chase is just some crazy wolf who wouldn't let you move on after he rejected you. I mean, the reason he wants you is just to benefit his pack. It makes me sick, Liam said angrily. Thank you, Liam, I said. I'm really glad you're here. It's my job to protect you. I would rather be here and keep you safe than anywhere else. After all, what else are best friends for? Liam smiled at me and I nodded at him. I would do the same for you, I replied. I know you would, Luna, Liam said as he hugged me tighter to his chest.
Chapter 32.
Troy's POV. I had just ended the mind link with Lou when Terry came and helped me up. Chase had somehow managed to get up to the window and open it. Then when I went to check it out, he shifted mid-air and dug his claws into my hands, which still hurt. I'm not sure how he got past the patrol into the pack house, but I'm glad that I finally have a chance to end this. When did he get here? Terry asked as Chase struggled to stand up in his wolf form. I'm guessing he hurt himself on the way down. Not long ago. Thank goodness he didn't get to Lou again, I mumbled. Liam mind-linked me. He is with her in the safe room in the basement of the pack house, Terry huffed. Well, isn't this a cute little meeting, Chase suddenly said as he sat on the ground in his human form. How did you get to the pack house? I growled. I snuck my way in by masking my scent. And the rest was easy since you can't exactly see me, Chase laughed. Why won't you leave my mate alone? What you did to her was against all of the pack laws. I screamed. Someone is touchy, he tisked. She was my mate first. The moon goddess paired us together for a reason and you are just a bump in my way, Chase snarled. Well, you gave up any rights to her when you rejected her and banished her from the pack. I yelled. I didn't know Omegas were so good at producing pups, or I would have kept her for myself, Chase explained. I wouldn't have had to force her if you weren't in the picture. She would have come back to me willingly, he growled. As if she would ever go back to you or your pack. You treated her like a slave, I said angrily. I would have had a chance, but now we'll never know because you somehow brainwashed her into believing that you are her mate. Chase replied. All I did was be nice to her and treat her with respect. I also didn't turn her away or force her into anything. It's no wonder she doesn't want to be with you, I snapped. Yeah, right. Why would she be interested in a blind alpha? Chase laughed. But if you're going to stand in my way, then I guess I'll just have to challenge you and take this pack, he threatened. All right, I'll accept your challenge. But when I win, you'll get the death penalty, I snarled. So be it. But when I win, Lou is coming with me and you won't try and stop her, Chase said before he shifted into his wolf. We can do this. He hurt mate, so he must pay. Brax growled in my head as we shifted into our wolf form. I stood my ground and listened for where he was approaching from. I heard the sound of his paws coming directly at me, so I waited until I could smell his horrible stench and then swiped my paws in front of me. I didn't feel any impact though, so he must have dodged my attack. Let's go get him, I said to Brax as we started moving slowly forwards. I kept a slower speed so that I could still clearly hear Chase's movements. I heard something crunch to my left and spun in that direction. Then I felt the impact as Chase's wolf slammed into my side and knocked me over. I slid against the ground, my fur getting matted up with dirt and twigs. This will be easier than I thought. I heard Chase's wolf in my mind as I struggled to get up. I snarled at him when I realized that the crunching noise was something he had thrown to distract me. I shook out my fur and waited for his next move. I heard him approaching from the right this time and turned to snap my jaw at him. I was just in time as I tasted blood in my mouth, but the force that he ran at me with threw us both off balance, and we rolled on each other towards the pack house. I kept my teeth firmly latched onto his wolf, and the extra movements caused his skin to tear more as he let out a whine. When I was rolled under him, he swiftly kicked up his hind legs and clawed me in the stomach, leaving a nasty gash. My jaw released as a result of the pain and I felt Chase back away. You're weak. I don't know how a blind alpha can ever lead a pack, Chase yelled through the mind link before he ran at me again. I dodged just in time and rolled to the side. You're pretty brave coming onto my land and attacking me at my pack house to get my mate, I snarled back. Just before he got to me, I kicked up a large rock by my foot and successfully flung it at his face. There was a sickening crack and a yelp from Chase as I smelled blood. I must have really got him with that. Thanks to Chase's injury, I could smell him more clearly and had a better idea of where he was attacking from. I ran towards Chase and head-butted him so that he landed on his back. Then I pinned him by his throat and bit down hard. But Chase wasn't done yet. He wrapped his paws around me and flipped us over so that he stood over top of me. I stayed latched onto his neck and bit down with all the strength I had. I could tell that he was losing a lot of blood, but he still thrashed around and managed to claw me straight across my ribs. Brax whimpered in pain in my head and started to feel weaker. "Hold on, Brax. Our mate needs us," we vowed to her. I shouted at him and he managed to shake Chase's neck harder. "Even if you kill me, we'll both always know that I mated her first. I took a part of her that she will never get back." Chase laughed weakly through the mind link before I shook harder and snapped his neck. Then his body fell limply on top of mine.
Chapter 33.
Alpha, I heard Terry as I felt the weight of Chase's dead body suddenly lifted off of me. I shifted back, Brax unable to hold wolf form any longer because of the injuries we got from the fight. "I'm okay. It's just a few scratches," I coughed. "Yeah, right. We have to get you to the pack hospital or call the pack doctor," Terry scoffed. "Just call the doctor. I want to see Lou," I said as Terry helped me up. "She won't want to see you all beat up," Terry defended. "Fine, but I don't want to keep her waiting either," I sighed as I limped alongside Terry. "Great. Pack doctor is on the way. Sit tight and they'll get you patched up." "That was a great fight, Alpha. You kicked his butt." "I'm glad that jerk is finally gone," Terry said angrily. "What did he say to you before you killed him?" "How do you know he said something?" I asked with a chuckle. "Because I haven't seen Brax that angry in a long time," Terry replied. I nodded. "Yeah. He said that he took a part of Lou that she can't get back because he was the first to mate with her," I explained. "What a scumbag," Terry growled. "You did the world a favor by killing him. And that was not mating. That was forced." "I know, he was just trying to get in my head. It doesn't matter now that he's gone. Lou is free and safe and that's all that matters," I said, and I heard Terry nodding beside me. "I really think we should update Lou before I get locked in the hospital for hours." "I can update her. You need to get stitched up," Terry mumbled. "Is there a plan for the pack you just took over?" "What?" I asked, confused. "Well, now that you killed Alpha, Chase's pack is yours," Terry pointed out. "Right. I haven't come up with a plan yet, but maybe I can appoint someone to run it. I can't be in both packs at once and I don't want to lose you as a beta. I need you around here," I explained. "I can help you interview people for it or select from our warriors," Terry added, and I nodded as we walked into the pack hospital. I guess I was so distracted I didn't know that's where Terry was taking me. "Alpha, oh goodness, what happened?" the pack doctor asked as she rushed over and I felt her tiny hands starting to examine my side. "Another Alpha broke into the pack and attacked the pack house. Troy was able to kill him, but the enemy put up a good fight," Terry laughed and I hit his arm playfully. "Well, we have to get this stitched up before you pass out from blood loss." "Does the Luna know?" the doctor asked as Terry helped me onto a bed. "Not yet," Terry replied sheepishly. "Oh, someone better tell her. She is probably out of her mind with worry. Poor thing," the doctor scolded as she started cleaning the blood off of my side. "I'll go tell her. Look after the Alpha for me in the meantime," Terry said before leaving the room. In my defense, I wanted to go straight to tell her, but Terry said she shouldn't see me like this. I laughed. "You would have been right to tell her, but the beta does have a point. You look like you walked out of a bloodbath," the doctor scoffed. "Now hold still please so I can stitch," she said as I felt a poke in my side. "Why would another Alpha attack anyways?" "He was after the Luna because she's an Omega," I growled. "Well, serves him right. People shouldn't be going around stealing other people's mates," she replied. "Thank you for protecting the pack, Alpha. I know that you still get challengers after all this time and it's just not right. You do so much for this pack and sacrifice so much. I only hope that after this mess you finally get some happiness with our new Luna." She smiled at me. "Me too. She has been through a lot lately though and I don't want to force her into anything. If I could I would have the Luna ceremony tomorrow," I sighed. "You are a very attentive mate, Alpha. I'm glad that Luna will be taken care of," the doctor replied. "Thank you for addressing her as the Luna even though she doesn't have the title officially yet," I said shyly. "Oh please, everyone has seen you witten the Luna. We all see how happy you are and we all know she will be a great addition to this pack. I know everyone has met her and I appreciate that everyone seems to like her so far. You are right that she'll make a great Luna," I smiled. "I feel horrible that I haven't been to see Lou. I told her I would come for her when it was over, I groaned. Well, you'll be in trouble with her for sure then. Don't worry, I'll have you stitched up in no time, she laughed. Thanks, I smiled at her as she continued her work. Update. I mind-linked Terry. I'm just getting to the pack house now. I'll let you know as soon as I have told Lou and Liam the news. But I may be a bit before I'm back at the hospital. I just want to make sure Liam is okay after everything, Terry said and then paused. What else? I asked, sensing his hesitation. I think you should assign Liam as Lou's personal bodyguard, Terry said suddenly. Why? I asked curiously. Because she will need protection. People will be after her because she is an Omega. I just think you should think about it, Terry explained. And you wouldn't have to worry about him stealing your girl. Plus they are best friends, he added quickly. I like the idea. Only when I am not with Lou, of course. And we should ask both of them about it first, I replied. Sure thing, Alpha, Terry said happily before breaking the mind link. All said Alpha. You can go see the Luna now, but avoid shifting so you don't tear the stitches and don't move too quickly, the doctor warned, and I nodded, crawling off of the bed. Thank you, I smiled and left the room to go find Lunad, tell her the good news about Chase.
Chapter 34.
Lou's POV. Why haven't we heard anything yet? I asked Liam as I paced around the room. These things take time. I'm sure the Alpha will come as soon as there is any news. You know he can't resist you, Liam smirked. What about Terry? Aren't you worried about him? I asked nervously. We shouldn't be talking about this now, Liam sighed. Please, Liam, I need something to distract me. I am going crazy with worry, I begged, and he sighed. Of course I am, but Terry is also a beta and the Alpha is out there with him, Liam said as he ran a hand through his hair. How are things going with you and Terry? I asked as I took a seat on the floor across from him. He shrugged. Okay, I think. We've spent a lot of time together lately. And we have gotten closer. I just don't know if I should ask him to be my chosen mate yet or not. And I don't really know if that is what he wants. Of course it is. Why would he turn you down? I say you just go for it. I mean, look how Troy and I turned out. I know I don't remember it, but he said I asked him to be mates first, I chuckled. Yeah, you did, Liam smiled, but I could tell he was sad. See, if I can do it, then you can definitely do it. Besides, from what I have heard from the Alpha, he really likes you, I said to try and cheer him up. Really? Liam asked hopefully and I nodded. So what should I do? Should I just ask him or should I plan some big gesture? I would plan something. Maybe a date at a nice restaurant or something. I suggested. No, that sounds too cliché. What if I make him something? Liam asked. Well, you already made him a pie. I mumbled. True, but I want it to be something different, Liam sighed. You should take him for a run somewhere on the full moon coming up. Then you could spend time in wolf form and human form. Plus you might get to see him shirtless, I chuckled and Liam blushed. Yeah. He waved a hand at me. It is a good idea though. I think I might go with that. But the full moon is in less than a week, so I'll have to ask him soon. Just ask next time you see him, I suggested, and Liam nodded. You can't back out though, promise. I raised an eyebrow at him. You never know how long you will get with your mate. You shouldn't waste any more time, I sniffled. Troy will be fine, he is a strong fighter. And he won't leave you like this, Liam replied as he rubbed my back to help calm me down. Thank you for distracting me, Liam, but you have to promise me you will ask Terry, I sniffled again. Promise, Liam said just before there was a knock at the door. That must be Alpha Troy, I said happily as I ran and grabbed the door handle. No, Liam shouted as he took my hand off the door handle. It could be Chase, Liam explained. Who is it? He shouted. Beta Terrence. We heard Terry from the other side of the door and I smirked while Liam's face paled. You promised, I mouthed to him and he chuckled as he opened the door. What's the news? Is Alpha okay? I asked worriedly when Terry walked in. Terry chuckled. Alpha is fine. He has some good news for you. He was just getting checked out at the hospital. The hospital? I squeaked nervously. Terry nodded and then Liam spoke. I'm glad Alpha is okay. And I'm really glad that you're okay, he blushed. I was wondering, now that some things are settled, if you'll go on a run with me on the full moon coming up. Liam spit out nervously. Sure, that sounds like fun, Terry smiled. Have fun, you too. I am off to see Troy, I shouted as I pushed past the beta and ran out the door. I looked around and started running around the pack grounds. If only I could remember where the hospital was. I hope mate is okay, Lilac chimed in. Well, Terry said he had good news, so he must be okay, I replied as I rushed around a building. Lou, I was just coming to see you, I heard Troy before I saw him. When I turned around I saw that he was slowly walking towards me. Alpha, I felt myself tearing up as I ran over and wrapped him in a hug. Ouch, I heard Troy say, and I released my arms from him. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I asked worriedly as I saw him clutching his side. I'm okay. Great, actually, just a small cut, Troy said as he smiled at me. Are you okay? He added. I'm okay, I was just worried about you. Terry said you were at the hospital, I said nervously. Yeah, I just wanted to get looked at, Troy shrugged. But I have great news, he grinned. What? I asked. I killed him. Chase is dead. He won't be after you anymore, Lou. You're free, Troy said, and I gasped, feeling tears start rolling down my cheeks. Hayes, he's really gone? I asked in shock. Yes, he's really gone, Troy smiled. I'm glad that I could get that jerk before he had the chance to hurt you again. I leapt at Troy and wrapped my arms around his neck, pulling him in for a kiss. Thank you, I said breathlessly when I finally broke the kiss. It was my pleasure, mate, Troy purred, and I leaned my forehead against his. I don't know what I did to deserve you, I sniffled. You're amazing, Lou. And you'll be an amazing Luna to this pack, Troy said, and I blushed. And now that the issue with Chase is settled, I wanted to tell you that I love you, I gasped. I should have told you sooner, but I didn't want you to feel pressured. And you don't need to say it back yet if you're not ready. But I had to tell you. I'm crazy about you, Lou, he smiled brightly. I love you too, I replied through my sniffles before pulling in and kissing him again. Thank you for everything you did for me, for allowing me into the pack, and for avenging me with Chase. I spat out his name in disgust. What else are mates for? Troy joked. Seriously though, I want to be connected to you, Lou, and I will wait until you're ready, as long as it takes. But will you let me know as soon as you're ready for marking? Brax is driving me insane, he chuckled. After everything, I think it will be soon. Maybe next week on the full moon, I suggested. Are you sure? We don't have to rush, Troy said gently. I'm sure, I smiled, and Troy grinned happily. There is something else. Troy sighed. What is it? I asked nervously. You mentioned how horrible it was in your old pack. Now that I killed Chase, I am the rightful alpha. Someone will be assigned to take over while we lead here. But could you identify the wolves who treated you badly? I don't want to go back there, I admitted. They should be punished for how they treated you. He sighed. What if I show you pictures of the pack members and you point them out? He offered. I can do that, but they don't deserve to be killed, I stated. All right, Lou. I'll have you point them out and then handle them accordingly. Thank you for letting me do this, he said as he pressed his forehead to mine. Thank you for protecting me, I whispered back. I don't know what I would have done if I lost you. You didn't lose me. I am right here and I will never leave you, he replied softly.
Epilogue.
Troy and I did mark each other on the last full moon, and it felt wonderful. I feel so blessed to have Troy as a mate, and he has been so patient through my nightmares and all of my struggles. I know that I couldn't have asked for a better mate. It's been a couple of months since then, and Troy and I still haven't completed the mating process or the Luna ceremony, but I finally feel ready. After all of the love and support that I have gotten from Troy and the pack, I know that I'm ready. Liam and Terry ended up marking and mating each other on the full moon, and they are the cutest couple. They have been having a gift war lately where they give each other a small gift every morning and a love note. They are so in love and it is amazing to watch. The pack was super supportive of them being chosen mates, and it was amazing to see. After the full moon, Troy also asked Liam and I if I would be okay with having Liam as a personal bodyguard. Both Liam and I agreed, and it has been amazing spending extra time with my best friend. As for Chase's pack, they buried him and had a small service before Terry's cousin Drax came to take over. Troy and Terry interviewed people and talked to the pack about it before they chose someone. It seems like Drax will be a great leader, although it isn't hard to beat Chase on that. Drax is also hoping to find a mate in the pack since he has had no luck finding one yet. Hi, Lou, I heard Troy walk in as he placed a gentle kiss on my cheek. How did your day go? He asked as he wrapped his arms around my shoulders. Good. I was doing a lot of thinking, I started, and Troy raised an eyebrow at me. We had made ourselves comfortable in the alpha suite of the pack house and decided it would be the best place for us to stay. About what? Troy asked. I'm ready, I blurted out. What do you mean? Troy asked curiously. I'm ready to fully be your mate, and Luna, I blushed. Troy's mouth fell open and he seemed very surprised. Really? Are you sure? He asked nervously. I'm sure. I finally feel like I'm in a better place now after everything. And the pack deserves a Luna, I explained. Do you want to have the Luna ceremony and the mating in the same day? Troy asked, and I blushed hard. I nodded, if that's okay with you. I wasn't going to tell Troy, but Liam and I had been secretly planning the Luna ceremony for a couple weeks. Of course it is, Troy said excitedly as he came and picked me up, twirling me around. This is amazing news, Lou. I couldn't be any happier to be yours completely, he said as he set me down and placed a few kisses on my neck. When is the ceremony? He asked in between kisses. Wait, hold on before you answer that, he said, and I frowned. Then he stepped back and took off his shirt, revealing his muscular chest. What are you doing? I squeaked. Just adding some incentive. So when is the ceremony? Troy asked again as he wrapped his arms around me. Tomorrow, I asked. Tomorrow sounds perfect, he said before he kissed me. Then he broke away and frowned. Don't you need time to plan? Liam and I may have planned already. He just said to let him know when, I chuckled nervously. What a sneaky mate, Troy tisked as he started rapidly pressing kisses to my face and neck. Well, this looks cozy. Why is your shirt off? Liam asked as Terry chuckled beside him. You know he isn't into guys, Liam, I scolded. Someone is jealous. Terry shook his head and I shrugged. You know I only have eyes for you, love, Troy said as he pulled me against his chest. So why do you look so happy? Terry asked. Lou has decided she wants to have the Luna ceremony and fully become my mate. Troy grinned happily. Congratulations. When is the ceremony? Liam asked. Tomorrow, Troy chuckled. Tomorrow, goddess. Come on, Lou, we have to go pick your dress, Liam said as he hurried over. Let me say goodbye first at least, I pouted, and Liam rolled his eyes. Fine, but if you're not out in 5 minutes I'll come in and drag you out, Liam threatened, and I nodded. I thought you had everything prepared, Troy asked. Everything except the dress and the flowers, I shrugged. All right, well, I won't keep you then. Although I don't think you need a dress to look beautiful, Troy said, and I blushed. Thank you, mate, I smiled, and Troy hugged me. I'll see you for dinner in a bit, Troy asked. Yes, I should be back by then if Liam isn't too picky about the dress. I rolled my eyes and Troy chuckled. I love you, I said as Lilac purred in my head. I love you too, Lou, Troy replied as he kissed my nose. Now go on and do whatever you have to do to get ready. I can't wait to make you the Luna officially. Just make sure the dress is easy for me to take off, after he winked. I blushed. Okay, sure, I said nervously. It was a joke, Lou. Although not really. If it's too tricky I might just have to get creative, Troy grinned. I'm excited too. Your preview definitely helped, I chuckled. That was the plan, Troy said before Liam walked in. Time's up, Liam said as he tapped his wrist. Bring her back in one piece, yeah, Troy said threateningly. I have noticed that he is extra protective since the mating process isn't fully completed. Don't worry, I will, Liam said. Bye, Lou. Be safe and call me if you need anything, Troy said as he handed me his credit card. I know you don't like me giving you things, but I want to spoil you every once in a while. And the ceremony is the perfect chance to do it, he smiled innocently. Okay, I sighed. Thank you, I said before Liam dragged me out of the room. I love you, I shouted. I love you too, Troy chuckled and gave a small wave as Liam laughed at us. You two are so cute together, Liam said, and I smiled.
Bonus chapter.
Flashback to the Luna ceremony. I followed Liam a bit reluctantly as he dragged me away from my mate and out the door. What's the hurry? I chuckled at him. We have so much to do in so little time. Liam scoffed as he opened the car door for me and helped me inside. I watched as he went around to the driver's side and hopped in cheerfully. So, I asked Terry to be my chosen mate, Liam blurted out as he started driving. And, I asked with a smirk. Well, I took him out to a nice restaurant and paid for the meal, and then once it was dark I asked if he wanted to go for a run. Liam started. He agreed thankfully, and it was amazing. The moon was so bright. We even changed into our wolves for part of the run, he sighed dreamily. And then we got to this small waterfall and there were fireflies everywhere and I just couldn't wait anymore. The moment was too perfect. I got down on one knee and asked him to be my chosen mate. He smirked. And, I gasped. And he started tearing up right before he said yes. We are official now, he can't get rid of me. Liam smiled brightly. I am so happy for you, Liam. That sounds so perfect, I cheered. It was, but imagine my surprise when I got back and realized you only had a few hours until the ceremony. He scoffed. I didn't want to leave Terry, but you need my help and that's what best friends are for, he smiled. I really don't need to do much, I was just going to fix up my hair and get a dress, I mumbled. Oh please, there's makeup and nails and hair and shoes and jewelry. And the dress. Liam started rhyming off things we would need. Wow, I didn't realize that there were so many other pieces. I've never had anything like that done before, I said with wide eyes as Liam looked over at me sadly. I can see why Alpha wants to spoil you so much. You haven't experienced a lot of things because of that old Alpha jerk, he said angrily. He doesn't even deserve a name, he added as we pulled up to the mall. Right, so here's the plan. Liam started going through the order of stores and what we should do first. Makeup and hair are last because you don't want it to get ruined from all of the shopping, he explained. All right, but I don't want to go too crazy with Troy's credit card. I feel like I am taking advantage of him, I sighed sadly. Trust me, the Alpha is going to think it was worth it. Besides, he wants to do this for you. Liam put a hand on my arm to comfort me. All right, I sighed, knowing he wouldn't give in. A while later, we came out of the mall carrying a few bags and loaded them into the car. That was exhausting. Liam took me to almost every store there was, or at least that is what it seemed like. We had found the perfect white, off-the-shoulder, floor-length dress. It had sparkles on it and a bit of a poof to the skirt. The neckline was modest and it felt comfortable. The Alpha is going to have a heart attack when he does that feeling thing to see. His hands are gonna be all over you, Liam chuckled, and I blushed a bright red. I wish that he could see me, but I know that he has other ways to tell what I am wearing, I chuckled. Or not wearing. He probably can't wait to complete the mating ceremony with you. Liam wiggled his eyebrows. What? If I was straight I would be all over you. Yeah right, I giggled, blushing even harder. Okay, so I timed this perfectly. We just need to get to the pack house and get you changed and then it will be time for the ceremony, Liam said. And I started to panic. I didn't know we had taken that long. I don't want to be late, I said nervously. You're fine, Liam said as he pressed a little harder on the gas. Thankfully it wasn't a long drive so we were able to get back quickly. Liam and I grabbed the bags as we rushed inside. Troy actually bumped into us on the way to his room, probably to get changed into a suit. Liam had planned to take me to my old room to get ready. Sorry, are you okay? Troy asked as he reached his arms out to steady me, but Liam moved his hands away. No seeing the bride before the wedding. Liam scolded. You know I can't actually see right. Troy chuckled. Yes, but you can see by feeling and that counts. Liam argued and Troy laughed. I'll leave you two to get ready. See you at the end of the aisle. Troy smiled and I blushed. I can't wait, I admitted, and Troy's face broke out into a huge grin. All right, no more time, we gotta go. Liam snatched my hand and led me into my old room, the sound of Troy's laughter behind us. That was a close one, Liam mumbled as he closed the door. All right, now go get changed and then I will touch up your hair and makeup, he ordered, and I nodded as I went to a separate area to change. The dress felt amazing as I slipped it on, followed by my shoes and the couple of pieces of jewelry we got. I didn't want to get any, but Liam insisted. How do I look? I asked nervously as I walked back over to Liam. Absolutely stunning, Liam said with a huge smile. Alpha is going to be so happy. Liam chuckled and I blushed. Liam proceeded to fix my hair a bit and make up as he walked around me, doing one final inspection. You look perfect, now time to go, he said as he held his arm out to me. I nodded at him and smiled as he started walking me to where Troy and the whole pack had gathered. My heart stopped in my chest for a second when I saw Troy. He looked amazing in a simple black tux, so strong standing in front of the pack waiting for me. He must have heard me coming because his head whipped in my direction and a smile formed on his face. Liam smirked at me knowingly as he walked me to the end of the aisle. Hi Lou, Troy smiled as he held his hand out for mine. I took it and smiled at him. Hi, I said nervously. Troy nodded and turned towards the pack. We are here today to officially welcome my second chance mate Lou as the Luna of this pack. Does anyone have any objections? He asked and then waited a minute. To my relief, no one had any objections. All right, we can begin then. We will first do the blood exchange, he said as he pulled a small knife from his pocket. I'm so sorry. This may sting a bit, but I will try to make it quick, Troy whispered. Okay, I said nervously as he slashed his own palm and then carefully sliced a small cut on my palm before pressing our hands together. Do you promise to protect this pack and all of its members to the best of your ability? Troy asked. I do, I said nervously. Do you promise to be loyal to your Alpha and this pack? He stated, seeming serious. But I could tell he was smiling. I do, I smiled at him. Do you promise to care for the members of this pack to the best of your ability? Troy asked. I do, I stated. Do you promise to help guide the Alpha in pack matters and be an equal leader in the pack? Troy asked. I do, I stated seriously. Lastly, do you promise to stand with the Alpha through the good and the bad times, as you would stand by every pack member? Troy asked. I do. I smiled as I felt the warm thoughts of the pack members flood my mind. I now officially announce Lou as this pack's Luna, Troy shouted happily as the crowd broke out cheering. Troy helped me clean up the blood on my palm and gently wrapped it as we started walking down to greet the pack members. There had been a meal prepared and various pack members came up to me to welcome me as Luna and congratulate me in finding a mate. They congratulated the Alpha too and everyone seemed so happy for us. The meal lasted a few hours and Troy had danced with me a bit throughout the night. Can we go back to our room now? I asked nervously, knowing that we would be completing the mating bond. Are you sure? Troy asked, seeming surprised. Yes, I said nervously. Troy announced to the pack that we would be heading in for the night, and there were several whistles from the crowd. I blushed as we started walking back to the pack house, when suddenly Troy scooped me up and held me to his chest. You would not believe how badly I have wanted to hold you. He brushed his cheek against mine and I giggled. He took me carefully up the stairs, straight into our room and closed the door. Thank you, I said as he set me down gently on the bed. Are you sure you are ready to do this? Troy asked worriedly. I am. I want to, I replied, and Troy nodded as he laid on the bed with me. He started running his hands up and down the length of my dress. You look amazing. But I can't wait to get this off of you. Troy smirked and I blushed. I promise that I will be gentle, and if anything hurts or you want to stop, let me know, he said seriously as his hand hovered over the zipper of the dress. I will, Troy, I said as I heard Lilac start purring in my head excitedly. Troy started undoing the zipper as I waited nervously. Just relax, Lou. You can trust me, Troy said, and I nodded. Thank you, I replied as I ran my hands up and down his chest, causing a loud purr from him. Brax is happy, Troy chuckled, and I laughed back. Well, after all, why wouldn't he be? You're officially my mate, and Luna, he smiled and kissed me gently on the cheek. I still can't believe how lucky I am to have you as a mate, I said in awe. Trust me, I am the lucky one. I love you so much, Lou. Troy smiled brightly. I love you too, Troy, I replied before he pressed his lips gently to mine. His kiss felt amazing as I moved my lips back. He was so strong, yet so gentle and caring. I let myself relax as Troy slowly worked on removing my dress, making sure that I was okay the entire time. I knew with my whole heart that I loved this Alpha, and from the taste I got so far I knew this would be an amazing night with my mate. The end.